The first 5 games of Plat The Series were recorded on Steam. This was to test the concept before I had the hardware to record on PlayStation. Everything following will be recorded on PlayStation. Enjoy the show. The Kingdom Hearts series has a total of 7 playable games on modern consoles. 8 if you're nasty. With another on the way hopefully before my 1-month-old graduates college.
Hey, I doubt it!
These 7 games are all parts of various packages. The first being 1.5 and 2.5 Remix, containing Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, and Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix, as well as 2 movie versions of DS games. The next one, cleverly titled Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue and Knuckles, containing Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance HD, and Kingdom Hearts 0.2 A Fragmentary Passage, as well as a movie version of a mobile game. Then finally, Kingdom Hearts 3 and its Remind DLC all on its own. Then yeah, also there's technically Melody of Memory, but thank God that isn't on Steam, because it's just a rhythm game and there's some important story stuff at the end, but you can just look that up. Amongst the available games, there are a total of 317 achievements for us to hunt, with a total time allowance of 470 hours.
Damn.
197 of those achievements come from 1.5 and 2.5 Remix. First up on the docket is Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, with a total of 55 available achievements, 56 on PlayStation if you're including the Platinum. The part time for this game on its own says it's 40 to 50 hours, so we'll stick with the lower estimation given my prior game knowledge. So without further ado, let us begin our journey into one of my favorite game series of all time, Kingdom Hearts. Close your eyes and go back to 2002 with me. Xbox Live had just come out. Eminem and Nickelback dominated the music charts.
Look at this graph!
Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings ruled the box office, and all the cool kids walked around with their second-generation iPods. Yes, I said iPod, not pad, not phone. Pod.
It's been 84 years.
Many of you probably closed your eyes and just pictured darkness because you weren't alive yet. And then there was me. A 6-year-old boy who had just gotten a PS2 for Christmas. A massive upgrade from the Super Nintendo. I was already aware of what Final Fantasy was, and I was obsessed with Disney, so needless to say, when I somehow found out about Kingdom Hearts, being a crossover between the two, I had to have it. I ended up being able to show the game to my parents at Epcot since they had a booth for Kingdom Hearts and Interventions. RIP Interventions. My parents were convinced, so I went to rent it on our next trip to Hollywood Video. Many of you probably don't even know what that is. Then I decided to continue playing it for the next 20 plus years, which brings us to today. For all achievements in this game, we'll be doing 2 different playthroughs. A 100% playthrough on beginner, and finishing the game as fast as possible on proud mode. To hit 100% in this game, we'll be completing Jiminy's Journal, which will require us to find every Trinity, find 99 missing Dalmatian puppies, find all Ansem reports, encounter every Heartless and character at least once, play every minigame at least once, obtain every Keyblade, obtain every staff, obtain every shield, and finally synthesize one of every item in the game, along with a handful of other miscellaneous achievements that we'll get along the way. The reason we chose beginner for our first playthrough is because there are 3 main achievements that are massively easier to do on beginner. Unchanging armor, where we can't change equipment for the entire game. This includes Keyblades and Donald and Goofy's equipment. Undefeated, where we can't press continue on the death screen, but we could load game, so saving's important. And Speedster, for finishing the game in under 15 hours. Now, while it's definitely possible to achieve all of these on proud mode, it is not what I would say is easy for the average gamer, which is our goal here on this channel, absolute mediocrity. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll start the 40-hour timer in 3, 2, 1, now. We begin our first playthrough with the most important speedrunning trick of all time. It's called DMCA skip, and we hit it first try. Man, nothing hits better than not getting sued in the first 10 seconds of a game. We start the game taking the staff, which gives us +1 MP and sacrificing the shield because who needs it, I guess, and make our way through the tutorial. When we reach the section where we answer insanely deep questions for a child, we make sure to choose the third option for each character to put us on the Knight EXP route, which essentially makes it easier to level from 50 to 100. This is actually the way to need the least amount of XP to reach level 100, which we need for an achievement later. After we spam our beginner mode gift items and smack the shit out of Darkside, we wake up on Destiny Islands with Riku and Kairi. We run around Destiny Islands collecting things to make a raft and end day 1. On day 2, we have a race with Riku and lose for maybe the first time in my life because I was nervous while I was recording, which actually sucks because then we don't get a pretty stone as a reward to sell later. We then give the remaining items to Kairi and that ends day 2. Overnight, the island gets attacked by a big floating ball of darkness and we go run up to Riku standing over on Love Island and we are then given the Keyblade. And it is with this Keyblade that we will be spending the rest of the game thanks to the Unchanging Armor Trophy, making one of the best elements of this RPG completely unusable. Hooray achievements. We fight Darkseid again IRL this time, and then the big ball of darkness swallows us and brings us to Traverse Town. We meet Sid and go fight some Heartless before fighting Leon, Squall for the real ones out there, and then meeting Yuffie. I opened 2 chests here despite actively trying to avoid collectibles until later. There will be a few other times that this happens which I will point out. We were aiming for 100 chests total for an achievement, but there are many, many more than that in the game. Leon tells us to ignore the small fry as he runs away to probably find the leader and help us defeat it, surely. We head into the 3rd district to fight said leader, alongside Dolan and Gooby, the lovable Disney characters. After defeating him, we confront Leon on his cowardice, gain some stuff, learn about Trinities, another type of collectible, and exit the world. Once we're on the world map, we head into the gummy customization menu and delete our ship to make it just a cockpit, engine, and a weapon, because speedrunners do that, so surely it's for a purpose, right? With that, we pop our first achievement, Customizer. Only 54 to go. You may notice that my Steam achievements look like PlayStation trophies. That is thanks to Steam Achievement Notifier, where you can customize your Steam notifications to look however you want. I want them to feel as close to PlayStation as possible because that's the sound that gives me the most dopamine. Leave me alone, I don't have a problem. We then gummy ship our way over to the first world, making sure we pick up any gummy ship blueprints we can along the way, and destroying as many ships as possible to make progress toward these 2 achievements. We land in Wonderland, where we chase some rabbit booty and shove a bed before talking to a door and taking a shot of that sweet, sweet Tennessee whiskey to be shrunk down, where we then go and be told to find evidence of Alice's innocence for I don't know what, and so we do. The game wants you to find a bunch of these small boxes, but you can just find one and then go back and be like, this is it, oh well. Goffy gets arrested, and we do some peaceful protesting against the Queen to find out Alice is now missing. We then head over to light some candles, which spawns Trickmaster, our boss for this world. After he's down, we obtain a Navi G piece, which we don't know what to do with, so we just choose to ignore it as a unit. Go team. Upon leaving Wonderland, we pop our second achievement, and at this rate, we'll be done in no time. We take off again, heading to the next world, which is Deep Jungle. We get jumped by Sabor, but quickly show her what dreams are made of and meet Tarzan the Ape-Man. Tarzan leads Sora to a skippable minigame that not many know is skippable, and then the duo collects slides to impress Tarzan's girlfriend. Sora meets back up with the duck and the dog, and I accidentally grab another treasure chest, whoops, and then the trio takes off to find Tarzan's dad, and then heads to the treehouse to find that Clayton was going to hunt gorillas. We head back to the camp to yell at him and then run around the world and save the good monkeys from the heartless monkeys. We go back in and out of the tent and then go fight Sabor a second time, which is much harder this time, but it's still fine. Then we go back to the tent again and find that Jane has been Jane-napped, and then I try to do a cheeky save warp and I'm met with this weird vine door I've never seen before, so I stay humble and go back the regular way. We find Jane and ignore all the enemies to beat the shit out of this big fruit and then head down to fight Clayton. Clayton literally tries to shoot a child several times and fails, so he summons this giant invisible lizard that I don't remember from the film, and we knock him off of it and then finish him off. We then make our way up the waterfall cavern on the first try for sure, shut up, and then seal the keyhole for this world. Tarzan then gives us a new keyblade to use that you won't see until much later in this video, and then we head off to the next world, popping our 3rd achievement in the process. Our next world is Olympus Coliseum, except it's not actually, because we immediately ignore it, because believe it or not, you don't actually have to do this world for the story, so we'll come back to it later. Going from Olympus to Traverse Town, we pop another trophy for accidentally completing the first gummy mission for this route. That was 100% an accident. I didn't know I was going to do that. We dock back in Traverse Town and head to Leon, who's hanging out in the sewers for some reason, and on the way we are forced to activate a red trinity for story purposes. This is one of the several trinities that are required to progress in the game. I'll make sure to call them out. We talk to Leon and Aerith, who gives us our first summon stone of the game, which we'll use in a bit, and then we head back to Sid, who will install the gummy blocks for us after we deliver a book for him. We head over to the big fire door and expertly solve the puzzle to open it, and head into the old house where we meet Merlin and watch him dance. Then we give him the book, and the fairy godmother turns the summon gem we got into Simba. We head back to Sid, who has finished installing the navigation gummy, and the gang tells us about a bell we should ring 3 times, but we don't care, so we go visit Sid once more before leaving and sell a bunch of stuff, which we could have sold the Pretty Stone if we had won the race at the beginning of the game, to buy a Haste G, to make the gummy missions even faster. We head out and make our way through the portal over to Agrabah. We land here to find Jasmine, who gets attacked by Heartless, so we save her, and then break into some guy's house and free his living rug and follow it into the desert. We save Aladdin by having Simba yell at the enemies, and then head back to the house we broke into, which happens to be Aladdin's, but don't tell him. We find Jafar, and he shoves Jasmine into a pot, which then becomes alive, and then we smack it a bunch until she's set free, but oh no, our princess is in another castle, so we head back off to the desert. The Cave of Wonder comes alive because everything has to be a boss fight, and good god, this fight is infuriating. He just moves around so much, and you have to hit him in his eyes, and it's just the worst. With him being back to being a stagnant cave, we head inside and go underground to break this pillar before heading up and through the treasure room. Jafar refuses to stay too close, I'm so sorry, making this yet another irritating boss fight, and after he's down, he becomes a mega gym bro, and we destroy his creatine and escape the cave on the magic carpet. Aladdin tries to come with us to find Jasmine, who's still missing but can't, so we instead gain Genie as a summon, and Aladdin gives us another Keyblade we can't use, and that marks the end of Agrabah. Q achievement number 5. We're just over an hour in, and I'm feeling really great about this playthrough so far. I would say that this is the end of the early game. We're heading into the mid-game now. Our next world, we get swallowed up by a big whale named Monstro. We meet Geppetto, and then head to save Pinocchio by traveling through Monstro's organs. We run into Rico, and he helps us fight Parasite Cage to save Pinocchio, but he just escapes. We head back down to where Geppetto was, and snag another important chest with a high jump ability, and head up into the throat, where we run into another rare Heartless called the Rare Truffle. The goal with these guys is to bounce them without letting them hit the ground, which I'm terrible at in this area. Into the mouth we go, where we fight Parasite Cage again, and free Pinocchio before getting shot back out of Monstro, popping our 6th achievement. Onwards we go to the next world, which is Halloween Town, but a quick tip is that this route from Agrabah to Halloween Town is a great route to farm gummy ship kills on. Landing in Halloween Town, we earn some sweet new digs and head over to Professor Finkelstein's lab, where we find out he's trying to make a heartless dance for Halloween. We appease the idea against Dolan's wishes and set off to find ingredients to help bring this idea to life. We start by finding Sally, who gives us a forget-me-not, which I'm assuming is intended to be memory, but it's been ages since I've watched these cutscenes. After bringing that back to the Mad Doctor, we go find the mayor, who helps us blow up a pumpkin by playing a memory game, and that leads us to yet another required chest for story purposes, so that sets us at 5 chests so far out of 100. And then our experiment is stolen by Lock, Shock, and Barrel Roll, so we chase after them. Now you can just open this door and cast a spell to go up the manor, but real ones know to jump here and... As I was saying, you just jump over here and fuck. So we just open the door and cast a spell, which is the definitive way to go up Oogie's manor, and then we interrogate the children who tell us where to find Mr. Boogie. This is a gimmick boss with annoying immune phases, but he goes down after way too many phases. Oogie wasn't done with just one gimmick, so now he becomes the manor itself with big purple blobs all over it that we have to destroy to finish this dude off.
Hey, yo, what the?
It's a good thing platforming hasn't been a single issue for me, because this entire fight is exactly that. Honestly, I don't feel like I did too bad here. I'm pretty happy with it. Once he's down, Jack gives us yet another Keyblade, and we make our exit as Halloween Town is saved and another achievement is ours. We then head towards the next world, where we get intercepted by a big ship, which you guessed it, happens to be our next world, Neverland. Neverland is actually a really quick world when you know where you're going, so we make our way over to yet another necessary trinity and fight Anti-Sora. This is the first fight where I could really feel all the fights I had skipped so far. It felt like I was doing like no damage at all. After fighting Anti-Sora, we do a quick lap around the ship to go outside, where we are ambushed by more Heartless. I try to have Simba yell at them again, but they're less bothered by it, so we finish them up before fighting Captain Hook. It's also important to note that I have the ability to fully fly now, but only while I'm in this world. After vandalizing Big Ben, we lock the keyhole here, grab the glide ability, and then return quickly to grab an orichalcum from the clock tower. The way that this works is based on in-game time, which is shown at the bottom left of the pause screen. Since we are still just under the 2-hour mark, an orichalcum spawns here, and there will be a different item every hour up to 12 hours. These items help to reduce grind, but they are by no means required, so if you didn't get here as fast, don't stress. Popping our achievement for beating Neverland and heading back to Traverse Town, we can now go see what they meant about the bell from earlier since we're overpowered, and we use another required trinity to spawn the keyhole for this world. We get jumped by Guard Armor again, who turns into Opposite Armor, but we make quick work of him and move on. Sid now installs a gummy for us to take to Hollow Bastion, which is where the fun begins. Hollow Bastion is one of my favorite worlds in the series, as it's truly original and the music just slaps. Upon arrival, we run into Riku, who steals our Keyblade and our friends, and leaves us with a wooden sword, then goes and hides behind a locked door, like, bro, you just stole my weapon, don't be a bitch. Beast joins us, and we head over to solve a quick puzzle to unlock the gate and head back to say what's up to the homies. Nolan and Gooby decide that they don't want to let Riku murder us, so the Keyblade says that's dope and comes back to us. Riku gets possessed by the big baddie of the game, Ansem, and Ansem makes him wear a skirt now and makes him really irritating to fight. After the fight, Riku takes off and we're left to read books in a library where yet another required trinity is. Up on the balcony above, we do a series of tasks to gather 4 emblems for the exit door and proceed climbing up Hollow Bastion. After reaching the top, we beat up on Maleficent and she gets pissed and turns into a dragon, which is literally so cool. We summon Tinkerbell to heal us throughout this fight and just brute force this boss that I struggled with so much as a kid. After she's done, we head over to finish the world and... Actually, no. We won't finish the world because once we do, all the other worlds' battle levels increase a ton. So instead, we're going to go finish the worlds that we had skipped before while we're drastically overpowered for them. Remember that we have 15 hours to reach the end. We're only about 2.5 hours deep right now. Although we won't use all the 15 hours because I would like to equip other Keyblades. Our first stop is another world we skipped earlier called Atlantica, which can be one of the most frustrating worlds if you don't know where to go. We first learn to swim and then head over to meet King Triton. He gets mad because we're outsiders, so Ariel takes us to her secret grotto. And then we head off to a sunken ship to find more human stuff for her and find this crystal trident and a shark. We spray the shark with shark repellent and head back to put the crystal trident into the perfectly shaped slot in Ariel's grotto. Triton destroys it, so Ariel goes off to be consoled by the sea witch Ursula, and we go after her. We spam her cauldron with magic, then watch her get the zoomies before doing it again, and then she runs away. We chase after her with an ability they really should have given you by default, and then find her, and she's grown into mommy, so we smack her head a bunch until she's down. Triton then decides we're not so bad, so he comes and tells us to seal the keyhole, and Sora's like, bro, that's literally why we were here to begin with. Ariel gives us another Keyblade for our Keyblade museum you'll never see, and we head out with another achievement pop. We then head back to Olympus Coliseum, which we skipped earlier. We break some barrels and get an entry pass from Hades so that Danny DeVito will let us into the games. We spam Thunder through those before fighting Cloud, who for some reason has wrapped his sword up with bandages. After beating Cloud, the arena gets attacked by Cerberus, so we old Yeller his ass and exit the world, only to go right back in. This world is our Horde mode of the game. There are 3 tournaments we can make our way through right now before finishing that first visit to Hollow Bastion, so that's exactly what we do. The Phil Cup, the Pegasus Cup along with its solo run and time trial run for important synth items, and then the Hercules Cup. This earns us 5 total achievements for completing them. After leaving here, I realize I still have time to burn before hitting 4 hours for an item I want from the Clock Tower, so I head over to Deep Jungle to do the Jungle Slider minigame. Now with this minigame, we only need the first 3 rewards technically, but getting all of them gives us another power-up which will make the final boss significantly easier. After finishing that, I research online to see at what point the Clock Tower becomes unavailable to get those items we talked about earlier. A secret boss is there, and until we beat him we can't get those items. The internet said sealing the keyhole to Hollow Bastion is what makes this a thing, so I decided to go finish that first visit because you don't seal the keyhole on the first visit. Back in Hollow Bastion, we approach Riku a second time. The cutscenes would tell you that Kairi is a princess of heart, and that's why they've been kidnapping all the princesses, and that he is going to stab her to unlock her heart, but that part of her heart is also inside Sora. It's been a long time since I've paid attention to the stories of these games, so I'm probably wrong, and if I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments. Your hatred fuels my metrics. Sora thwacks Riku only to stab himself, turning himself into a Heartless. We chase down our crew in Heartless form and get saved by Kairi, so I guess we're square now. The gang escapes back to Traverse Town, and Sora tells Sid he needs to go back to Hollow Bastion to seal the keyhole. The gummy we need to do so is back in the sewer, so we head there and snag it, and then Kairi gives us another Keyblade we can't use, but it pops an achievement, thanks girl, and then we head out to go back to Hollow Bastion. Now at this point, I still had some time before hitting that 4-hour mark, and even then I have until the 5-hour mark to finish getting back to the Clock Tower, so I decide I'm going to hit all the Trinities and many of the chests on our way back up the castle at Hollow Bastion. Did you know you can freeze the bubbles? After making it back to the castle chapel, I head back out from that save point and go back to the... Wait, what the fuck? The internet lied to me. This is actually my fault, because I knew about the changes that happened after beating Riku 2 and still believed what I read.
Oh, don't cry, are you...
So we press on and seal the keyhole in Hollow Bastion, popping another achievement. This unlocks the final world, which is called End of the World. We pop another achievement upon landing for clearing all gummy routes. I decided that the level of difficulty I was feeling at this point from having no equipment felt good, so I decided to get all the chests I could find here. The only important one early on is this one, which has a staff for Donald. Then I went into the world terminus and decided to stop at every world and fight stuff because honestly I was just having a lot of fun at this point and I didn't know if I'd ever done this before. Typically, you can skip all the worlds where you've sealed the keyhole, so Olympus was the only one we had to do here, and also Neverland because of the chest with the shield for Goofy. We stop in this world you haven't seen yet to save, and then go on to fight Chernabog. This is one of my favorite fights in the series just because I love the music. It's so good. Chernabog is so baller, I love him. After he's down, we finally get Super Glide, our last movement ability in the game. We make our way into a big room and get stomped by another behemoth. After he's done, this door starts peeling apart and then buckle up because this fight lasts forever. After fighting wave after wave after wave after wave of Heartless, the door to Final Rest is finally unveiled, so we head inside. This is officially our point of no return, and we got here in just over 5 hours. This game has roughly 4 hours of cutscenes in it, so even if you had watched all of them, you would have had a huge cushion. I also want to point out that at this point, if you struggle with these final fights, that's okay. Head back out and grind a bit, no judgment, just bear in mind your in-game timer. You want to give yourself probably close to an hour to finish up the final boss fights. We head inside the point of no return and get into our first fight with Ansem. I love these final fights because it's so clear that Square told Disney that they have no jurisdiction here. This is just pure Final Fantasy anime nonsense and I love it. After fighting through Ansem 1, Dark Side again for some reason, Ansem 2, and Ansem 3,
Daddy, chill.
and this weird squiggly thing that shoots crap at us, we begin to find our friends again. Goofy joins back first and we take on the head of Ansem's ship, and I really wish we could get Goofy's reaction to this somehow. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at this thing. We go and snag Donald, then kill this blob thing, which must be important, and then fight Ansem one more time as a group. With him down, we pop our Speedster trophy so it doesn't hold the unskippable ending against you, and then watch through the ending and credits. After the credits, we pop our Novice Player, Unchanging Armor, and Undefeated trophies. Then, since there is no clear data save in this game, we just load our game back before the final boss. Our next goal is to head through each world and get all collectibles and such to work on checking things off in Jiminy's journal. Keeping in mind we don't need every chest, but I don't know what's in all of them, so I open as many as I can find. In addition to that, we'll be farming out synth items from Special Heartless, of which there is one of each in each world. Other than Atlantica. Thank God. We start in End of the World, where we already are, with the Neo Shadow enemies, which we just spam Strike Raid or Ars Arcanum. They drop Stormy Stones, of which we need 4. Heading over to Neverland, intentionally skipped Hollow Bastion until we get a certain Keyblade later, we fight this big stupid balloon guy that steals all my money, who drops Dazzling Stones, of which we need 6. We also wrap up Trinities and chests here before heading out. In Atlantica, we need to go into the sunken ship and get the white mushrooms to spawn, as this is the only area that I know of in the game where you can get stop arts. We need one of each of the arts items, which is done by playing charades with these guys with each of the different spells in the game. We need to cast the same spell on the same mushroom 3 times to get an arts item. Here we snag Stop Arts and Thunder Arts and get a couple other items here and head out toward Ariel's Grotto. In the grotto there are a few chests, but the only important one is the one with a torn page. Remember that book we brought Merlin earlier? We need 5 torn pages to complete that world, so we will snag 4 of them before heading back to Traverse Town where we will get the last one. Heading towards Triton's Palace, we stop at the White Trinity here and leave this world and head over to Monstro. Monstro is home to another summon gem for Dumbo, yes Dumbo,
Even Dumbo!
several trinities, and a special heartless called Grand Ghost. The gimmick with this guy is that he takes damage from healing items, so we just throw a Mega Elixir on him and it one-shots him and drops the Frost Stones we need 7 of. We explore the rest of Monstro, grabbing more puppies and trinities before heading over to Agrabah. P.S. I missed a chest with Dalmatians in it in Chamber 6. I have no idea how. I'll notice later and come back for it, but you can be better. Agrabah is home to the Pot Scorpion special Heartless, which has annoying immune phases, but essentially just guard him when he lunges at you and then attack. You can also smack the pots in the room that move for a chance at an extra Mithril Stone, of which we need 8, which sucks. The rest of Agrabah is pretty basic, just flying around collecting chests and trinities, and here's where we also pop the achievement for 100 chests. We also stop in the treasure room for a white mushroom that can give us the Gravity Arts item. There's also another torn page in a chest underground in the Cave of Wonders. Back to Halloween Town, our first stop is the lab from earlier because in this bookcase is our 4th torn page. Afterwards, we head back over to Oogie's Manor, but on our way we pop the achievement for having 10,000 money. The manor is gone now, so we jump down and defeat some white knights to spawn this area's special Heartless, the Chimera. When we lower his initial health bar, he spawns in these orbs that were intended to bounce back at him, which is really difficult for me for some reason, so most of the time I put on arrow and just smack him and it seems to work just fine. This guy drops blazing stones that we need 7 of. The worst part of this grind is the fact that you have to go 2 rooms away to respawn him, which is a pain here in particular. I should also mention this glaring red Trinity that I don't grab while I'm here. I thought this Trinity was bugged, but turns out you just have to hit it after you defeat the Chimera. I'll come back for it later. After wrapping up the blazing stones, I head back over to the graveyard looking for white mushrooms again. These ones specifically are good for arrow arts, so we snag that and head out. Starting in Wonderland, we snag a couple Trinities before farming the Giga Shadow special Heartless by spamming Strike Raid. These drop Fury Stones, of which we need 5. After cleaning up the rest of the world, we head back over to Deep Jungle to farm this stupid Bell enemy that I'm usually terrible at, but I think I did alright this time. We need 5 Lightning Stones from him. A trick you can do that I didn't bother with this time is to record him with your phone while he jumps around, then pause and rewatch it on your phone scrubbing through slowly. That has helped me in the past, but he still sucks. Now I head up to the treehouse collecting trinities and chests along the way and try to spawn a special Heartless called the Pink Agaricus, probably butchered that. I couldn't find the 3rd white mushroom here though to save my life, so I just give up and decide to come back later when we have a summon that will help with it. Next, I head over to Olympus Coliseum and hit all the trinities in the courtyard, as well as cast Blizzard at all these torches to spawn a chest. Now, to break up the collectible grind a bit, we're going to go through the Hades Cup for the first time. This is a 50-round cup with a boss fight every 10 seeds, aside from a couple more random ones like Yuffie at 44th. I'm doing this now because I have to do it 3 times total, and I don't want to do it back to back to back. During our run-through of this, we snag the achievement for killing 2,000 Heartless. After we're done with Hades Cup, I leave the world and decide to finish up collectible farming with Traverse Town. Before I do that, I realize now that I forgot that chest back in Monstro with Dalmatian, so I head back to get that. Back in Traverse Town, we clear out the trinities and chests and find all 10 postcards, which I thought was an achievement, but it's not. Woohoo! We also fight the special Heartless here by spamming blizzards at it. If it sees you, it will relentlessly attack you until you leave the room. These drop Power Stones, of which we need 5. I visit Merlin, and since I have all the spell arts items, he gives me a Keyblade. I also give my summon stones to the Fairy Godmother and get the Dumbo and Mushu summons. After getting all the chests for Dalmatians, we pop the Top Dog achievement and go to deliver them, but on the way something super important happens. We get a Wizard's Relic drop from the Wizard enemy. This is a super rare staff for Donald that counts toward the All Staffs achievement, so super glad to get that RNG out of the way. I should also note that I stopped by Geppetto's new house, who gives us gummy blueprints depending on how many Heartless we've beaten. Since I know I have over 2,000, he gives me 3 for now, but we'll be back later. I also snag a Keyblade out of a chest here. Then, after getting all the trinities done here, I realize that the achievement didn't pop, so I missed some somewhere. I know the yellow one I'm missing is in Olympus, so I start backtracking to find the red one I'm missing, and lo and behold, it's that one that I thought was bugged in Halloween Town. I had just checked Agrabah and decided to normal drive over to Halloween Town to farm enemy kills and pop the achievement for shooting down 2,500 enemy ships. Big W. After cleaning up that Trinity in Halloween Town, I head back to Olympus to do the yellow Trinity there, which pops the achievement for all Trinities, and leaving the world pops the achievement for sealing the keyhole there. Since I just got that other gummy achievement, I decide to go for mission 2 and 3 for Traverse Town, unlocking another blueprint and 2 more achievements. Back to Traverse Town, we finally head into 100 Acre Wood, our last world that I was putting off forever, and we clear all the 5 torn pages to seal the keyhole for the world and get the Bambi summon as well, which is super important for wrapping up synth farming. During 100 Acre Wood, we pop the Minigame Maniac achievement for participating in all the minigames this game has to offer. We also pop the achievement for clearing 100 Acre Wood and the Storyteller achievement since we've cleared all worlds now. Now at this point I knew of one more Heartless that gives me a specific item I need, but it's easier to obtain when you have the Keyblade for defeating the Ice Titan, so we head back to Olympus to fight him. The gimmick with this fight is to deflect the icy shards back at him with guard. It's pretty easy and takes a while, but he goes down and we pop an achievement for beating him. We then head back over to Deep Jungle to get the item I was trying to get earlier, where you cast Stop on these 3 mushrooms and then a big pink one spawns and you cast Stop on him, and then for every hit you get on him while he's stopped you get a point. It sounds complex, but just cast Aroga on yourself and then cast Stop, then Ragnarok him, air combo, Ragnarok, air combo until you run out of time. He'll drop the item Serenity Power, which is the last special item that we need 7 of. We still have a bunch of synth farming to do, but now that we have Bambi, it can be made a lot easier. Before we do that farming, I get impatient and decide to try to go synth 15 items to get the Encounter Plus ability so that enemies respawn by just exiting and entering a room rather than having to go 2 rooms away. I'm only able to synth 14 items because the universe hates me, but I popped 2 achievements in the process. Now we're going to head back to farm specific synth items using Bambi. Essentially, Bambi works as so. You summon her, then fill the meter by killing things, and she shits out items that you would otherwise have to defeat specific enemies for. This allows you to farm for multiple different items at once. Starting in Neverland, for example, if I go down to the basement, I can summon Bambi, and then while I'm killing Heartless that drop Lucid Shards, Lucid Crystals, and Power Gems, Bambi is shitting out Spirit Shards and Spirit Gems. It's beautiful. Also, while we're here, we're going to go ahead and fight the Phantom at the Clock Tower so we can grab our last spell upgrade. This boss is such a slog. The gimmick here is that you can only attack him with one of 3 spells, Fire, Blizzard, and Thunder, or with a physical attack if he glows white. Add in the fact that he casts Doom on you and you have to cast Stop on the Clock Tower or you die, and honestly this fight is just the worst. After a million years he goes down and we finally get our Stoppera upgraded to Stopka and we pop an achievement. While we have the momentum, I want to go ahead and head over to Agrabah to fight another super boss, Kurt Ziza. The deal with this guy is that he has 2 phases, one where he can only be damaged by physical attacks and you can't use magic, and one where he can only be damaged by magic and not physical. Once you knock him out of each phase, you can damage his actual health bar. After he goes down, we pop an achievement, and then we go farm synth items in a few different worlds. At this point I have no idea what I really need because I synthed that random stuff earlier, so now all my counts are off. I go ahead and synth some more stuff and pop the achievement for making 15 items, then continue to farm for a while. While farming, I get the rare Defender shield drop, and then I pop the achievement for synthing 30 items before realizing that I need to synth 1 more dark matter than I had thought. Seeing my in-game timer is close to the 16-hour mark, I remember why I wanted to go to the clock tower at 4 hours much earlier in the run. So, I had to burn some time by doing Sora's solo Hades Cup, popping the achievement for getting all of Donald's staves, and then make my way over to the clock tower to obtain the dark mat. Once again, my memory has failed me in my old age. So instead, I go to farm what I need to synth 2 more mithrils and then the dark matters. This allows me to synth the ultimate weapon, popping the achievement for synthing every available item in the game. This leaves us with just the Hades Cup time trial, which we just spam Thunder through with our beautiful final Keyblade. The Platinum match against one of Final Fantasy's most infamous antagonists, Sephiroth, voiced by the gruesome, fearsome Lance Bass. Then we head back and finish farming to level 100 before heading over to Hollow Bastion for the final secret boss. The unknown figure is usually a very tough boss fight, but we have way over-prepped, but I'll also give you some pro tips. Number 1, use gravity on him as it stuns him and is the only magic that works on him. Number 2, use summons like Bambi and Simba as he is unable to cast his Doom spell which can easily destroy you. And number 3, if that doesn't work, just spam attack and heal when needed and honestly you'll probably be fine. Defeating him gives us some cool foreshadowing for future titles and also pops a slew of achievements. It's after this that I realized that I forgot to talk to Geppetto again after hitting level 100, as we have now killed enough Heartless to get the rest of the available blueprints from him. He gives us 3 more, which happens to be exactly enough for us to pop the final achievement of this playthrough for getting 30 gummy blueprints. We now have 53 out of our 55 achievements needed for Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, and we have over 25 hours left on our timer. Bear in mind that this series has a cumulative timer as well that could become problematic later. This is by far my most familiar game in the series, and I still have made loads of mistakes, so it's likely all downhill from here. This is the first time in a long time that I've played Proud Mode casually, as usually I'm trying to do all the previous achievements in this playthrough, so I'm honestly super excited for this. I have plenty of time left on my timer, so I really can take my time and enjoy this playthrough. The only big changes I make in this playthrough is that I choose the shield and dump the staff, as well as answer the questions with the first answer, which makes leveling 1 to 50 faster since we won't be needing more than that. I have to point out that I get my revenge on Riku in the race as well. Being able to change equipment really makes Proud Mode way more enjoyable, and I haven't done a run being able to do that in such a long time. I cruise through the game as casually as I've ever played it, and I remain deathless until... As I was saying, it really isn't that bad, but you do die pretty... No, but seriously, once you get certain abilities and items, it becomes pretty much a breeze. Once I reach End of the World, I'm able to abuse Mushu a bit, using the EXP0 ability. Despite gaining no XP with this ability on, it actually improves your stats a bit in the background as well, as it's intended for level 1 runs of the game. It also has a hidden perk called Damage Storage, where if you hit a finisher in a combo, then spam magic, every hit from that magic will do the damage of a finisher rather than a regular attack. This is amazing for the Mushu summon in particular, as you just spam his fire breath and it will melt bosses. Even if it doesn't fully finish bosses, it will get you most of the way there. This is especially helpful in Ansem 1 and Ansem 4. After we defeat Ansem once again and he says the thing, we watch the credits and pop the final 2 achievements for this playthrough. We had 20 hours and 22 minutes remaining, but I'm going to deduct time for 2 playthroughs if we would have watched the cutscenes. There are about 4.5 hours of cutscenes, so I'll reduce the timer by 9 hours. That brings our total time remaining for this game to 11 hours and 22 minutes. So this game took us 28 hours and 38 minutes to complete. That brings our total time remaining for the series to 441 hours and 22 minutes. We earned 55 achievements in this game, which leaves us with 262 across the remaining 6 titles. Overall, this was a blast to play. I love being able to play the game in 2 playthroughs for the Plat rather than brute forcing 1 playthrough. As I've mentioned before, this is the game in the series I'm most familiar with, so from this point on, the time will get a bit tighter. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Also leave a comment and tell me what you did or did not like about the format of this video, seeing as it's my first one back. Even your complaints will feed the algorithm. The next game in the series is Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories. The gameplay in Kingdom Hearts is amazing, so it's great that they'll never change the core mechanics of the game to something horrible. The wheel picked Elder Scrolls as the series will play alongside Kingdom Hearts, so we'll start that next week. Bye bye. We have 6 remaining titles in the Kingdom Hearts series, with a total time allowance of 441 hours, 22 minutes, and 262 achievements/trophies still left to earn. Yes, this means I'm not planning on doing Melody of Memory, at least for now, as it's a copyright nightmare. If you missed the first game in the series, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, go watch. I'll wait. Good, you're here to stay. Today, we'll be conquering Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories. Our part time for this game is a whopping 70 hours, and we have 47 trophies to hunt, not including the Platinum, which we technically don't have, because we're playing the game on Steam, but all the achievements are still the same as PlayStation. For some reason, certain cards in this game are locked behind having watched the 358 Half Days movie. Luckily, you can skip through it to save time, but if you haven't seen it, you probably should watch it. I will loosely try to explain the story of it later in this video. I went ahead and docked myself 3 hours in case you actually want to watch it, and then we'll also dock an additional 5 hours, 39 minutes, and 26 seconds for the cutscenes we're skipping throughout the game. That leaves us with 61 hours, 20 minutes, and 34 seconds to run through this game. That's right, I'm taking the dialogue penalty before I start, so if you feel strongly I shouldn't do that, head down to the comments and let me know. It's still early on in the channel's life, so I'm kind of figuring out best practices as I go. I also want to point out right away that I do technically have a mod installed for this game. The mod allows me to soft reset the game, which is a feature that PlayStation has by default. There is a lot of RNG in this game, so having the ability to soft reset makes resetting that RNG much faster and cleaner. Without further ado, let's dive into one of the most divisive games in the series, Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories was originally released for the Game Boy Advance back in 2004. This game flew pretty under the radar for me, as I had very limited access to the internet as an 8-year-old, so I didn't know it even existed until the remake came out in 2008 and I got it for Christmas. I remember being so excited for new Kingdom Hearts content I hadn't experienced yet.
Oh, Anne, you beautiful, naive, sophisticated newborn baby. What?
We're going to be tackling this game in a few steps. The first step is Sora's story on Proud Mode. No escapes, no continues. This essentially means we can't run away from any battles once we're in them, and we can't hit continue on the death screen, similar to Kingdom Hearts 1 for these 2 trophies. The second step is going to be Sora's card collection. We'll be able to get all of Sora's cards besides a handful, so we'll knock that out before heading over to the next step. Step 3 is Riku's story on Proud Mode and his level farming. Yes, that's right, Riku is playable in this game, and thankfully his story is actually much easier than Sora's. Riku's level grinding, however, is the worst part of this platinum, so I want to get it out of the way as early as possible. And finally, we'll finish Sora's level grinding and miscellaneous trophy cleanup. Sora's level grinding goes much faster, but we'll likely have a few more miscellaneous grindy trophies to grab, as well as a few cards that aren't obtainable until after you finish Riku's story. Now, I meant it when I said this game is divisive. There are people out there who think this game is great. I am not one of those people. But who knows? Maybe this playthrough will shift my opinion on it. Maybe Kingdom Hearts 4 will come out before I die. Hey, no, don't click away. You're locked in this now with me. Here we go. We go ahead and start on Proud mode here because there isn't a difference in the post-game stuff on Proud versus Beginner. So since difficulty trophies stack, there's just no sense in playing on anything but Proud. The entirety of this game takes place in Castle Oblivion, a castle that is being run by these mysterious guys in black coats. Sora is told as soon as he steps inside that he literally lost all of his memories because plot, baby. With our first world card, which is Traverse Town, we head inside. The concept here is that there are different cards made from Sora's memories, so we're essentially just making our way through the same world as Kingdom Hearts 1. Thrilling. Here in Traverse Town, we snag an easy miscellaneous trophy for hitting an enemy with an in-world item. Shortly after, we get another one for just editing our deck for the first time. That makes us one step closer to the ridiculous trophy to edit your deck 500 times.
Why?
Most of this world is tutorials on how the game's combat works. If you think about it less like a Kingdom Hearts game and more like a card game, it softens the blow of suck a little bit. You essentially just play a higher card than your enemy to break their card, or they can break yours. A 0 card can break any card, and you can also stack 3 cards to play a slate, which can be just a regular combo or a special attack that we earn from leveling up in chests. In each world, we'll need to open at least one bounty room, which is essentially a room with a chest in it. Each world has a specific card or slate that will only drop for the first time from one of these chests. With all that out of the way, we make our way to fight guard armor. Inside each boss fight, there's what's called a gimmick card. I always called it a Mickey card because, come on. But this gimmick card will essentially make damaging the boss much easier for the time that it's activated. It's always a 0, so wait to break the boss's card before playing it. Each time you level up, you can choose to upgrade health, CP, the amount of cards you can equip, or earn a slate, which you can only do after specific levels. After each boss fight, you get a Conqueror's Respite room to save your game before exiting the floor. Right away, we're introduced to one of my favorite characters in all of Kingdom Hearts, Axel. Axel is a member of Organization 13, in our first boss fight between worlds. There'll be a few of these after finishing specific floors of the castle. Each floor is a world and blah 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 blah. We pop a trophy after beating Axel and make our way to the next floor. The game just kind of pulls up worlds as you approach, but you can technically do them in any order. We choose to do Agrabah next. In each Disney world, the story essentially goes like this. Sora finds the friends he made in the first game. They don't remember who he is, and Sora's confused. Then they become friends again by replaying some of the events of the story from the first game. Some Disney worlds have extra friend cards and battles besides Donald and Goofy. This one is Aladdin. Obviously. Aladdin is good because every time he gets a hit, he pops out Moogle points. Moogle points are used to buy card packs in Moogle rooms, which we won't be doing for a long time because we have to have 10,000 on hand at once before we spend any for a trophy. Then we need to spend 20,000 total for a different trophy. After beating jacked out Jafar again, we exit the world and head to the next one. This time, we choose Olympus Coliseum. We make our way through business as usual, collecting the 3 key cards and fighting Cloud and Hades. Next up is Wonderland. This world always pisses me off because the Crescendo enemies and the Flower enemies have really high cards for this point in the game. It feels like the encounters here last way too long. After fighting the playing cards again and Trickmaster, we head into Monstro. This feels like as good a time as any to talk about enemy cards. Enemy cards can drop at the end of fights instead of map cards. The gimmick here is that the last enemy you defeat has only a very, very small chance at dropping one of these cards. The cards themselves provide various bonuses if you add them to your deck, but I wouldn't say it's worth farming for that reason alone. However, we do need one of each enemy card in the game. So we'll revisit this idea after we finish up the story. I do manage to snag a handful by just random chance. After clearing Monstro, we head into the final world for the first half of the game, Halloween Town. Oogie comes back with another specific gimmick to him where we have to break cards to lower the gate in front of him to damage him. That being said, I kept getting the Mickey card here and it made this fight mega easy. After finishing up Halloween Town, we have to fight another of the Organization 13 members, Larxene. Larxene is lightning themed and is also super sassy and constantly insults Sora's intelligence. What is happening in the background is that the organization is forcing this girl named Naminé to rewrite Sora's memories, replacing his memories of Kairi with herself. The idea here is to turn Sora into their puppet so he can collect hearts using the Keyblade to summon Kingdom Hearts. Larxene, alongside Axel, Vexen, and Marluxia, both of which we'll run into later, have been assigned to oversee this Castle Oblivion operation. Once she's down, we head into our next set of worlds starting with Atlantica. An important new thing to note is that starting with this world, a card called the Key to Rewards will start appearing. You can only hold one of these at a time, and every world, including the ones we've already visited, has a door that needs a Key to Rewards. Inside these doors, there will be 2 chests with rewards specific to that exact room of rewards. If there is not 2 chests while you're playing, then you need to go back and make sure you've watched the whole 358 Half Days movie, and gone through the whole journal and character sections after. I'm not going to show every single visit to one of these, but essentially once I get one, I go to floor 1, use it, then get another one and go to floor 2, etc. This will make these next few worlds seem to take a bit more time than they should, but it's because I'm constantly running back to use the key to rewards in each world. We make our way through Atlantica once again, fighting Mommy Ursula at the end. After emerging from floor 7, we run into Riku again, except he's being super aggressive about protecting Naminé, and also thinks Sora's in the way, so he tries to off him. He fails and bails, and we make our way through Neverland. The only important thing of note that happens here is that we pop our trophy for getting 150 preemptive strikes on battles. After defeating Hook, we fight Riku again, where he's a little bit harder this time, but Sonic Blade spam makes quick work of him. Hollow Bastion's up next, and we pop our trophy for opening 10 chests inside secret rooms. Nice. Now, it's minigame time. In 100 Acre Wood, there is a specific trophy that we need for each minigame in the world. We need 150 points on this minigame, a perfect score on this one, 120 on this memory game, which takes forever and super boring, and then 2,000 points on this falling minigame. Then we pop the All Minigames trophy after finishing the Bees one, but for some reason you have to redo it for it to track your time. So after finishing this in under 1 minute and 40 seconds, we can finally leave the 100 Acre Wood. Upon exiting, we're stopped by Vexen. Vexen is interested in Sora because he's a scientist and wants to study him. Sora's 14, so this guy definitely belongs on a list somewhere.
Please. I'm Chris Hansen. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am.
After he's down, we make our way into the first new world of the game, Twilight Town. Here, we find and fight Vexen again, leaving him in a vulnerable state. Then Axel shows up and finishes him off. That's one organization member down. Axel, Marluxia, and Larxene all have this plot to take over the organization, and they knew Vexen would never be a traitor. Axel finishes off Vexen to ensure Marluxia and Larxene fully trust him. Then he sees an opportunity to let Naminé escape and lets her. Maybe he's not so bad after all. Meanwhile, Sora and friends continue their quest and run into Riku Replica once again. Sora, now realizing he's a fake, tries to convince him his motives aren't real, but obviously Ro doesn't believe, so he Sonic Blade him to death. Now heading into the penultimate world, Destiny Islands, we fight Darkseid in a fight that really doesn't feel like it was designed for this combat style, and then we make our way out for our final fight with Riku Replica. I did just realize that I've been saying Riku Replica, and I never really explained what that means. Essentially, Vexen just created a replica of Riku to try and distract Sora and help their mission. After, yes you guessed it, we Sonic Blade him again. Naminé shows up and tries to explain everything the organization has forced her to do to Sora. Then Larxene shows up and tries to off Naminé, but Riku Replica, despite accepting he's a fake, still jumps in front of the blast and takes the hit for Naminé. We then fight Larxene. This fight can be a pain, but somehow I don't really seem to struggle with it, probably due to Sonic Blade. That's 2 organization members fully defeated. I say fully because in these kinds of games, winning a fight almost never means they're fully dead and gone. Now, we traverse into Castle Oblivion itself for the final floor. Throughout my time here, I'm semi-intentionally grinding to reach level 57 so I can unlock the Mega Flare slate. We also pop the trophy for making 20 premium cards. Easy peasy. As we progress through the long world, we pop the trophy for 1500 card breaks and eventually run into Axel again, and he attacks us for one of the hardest boss fights in the game. But wait, attacks us? I thought bro was good now. Let me explain. Before this fight, Marluxia is holding Naminé captive, and Marluxia told Sora that Axel would tear through Naminé to get to him, which isn't true, but Sora's not the brightest, so he believes him and attacks him. Now, while the second half of this game is going on, the 358 Half Days movie is happening simultaneously, so let's hop over to that and explain a bit. 358 Half Days, originally released on the Nintendo DS in 2009, covers the story of Roxas. Roxas is a nobody who happens to be able to wield the Keyblade, but I thought Sora was the only one who could wield the Keyblade. No. Just no. Roxas, who has no memory, is recruited by the leader of Organization 13. He's instructed to travel to different worlds and defeat Heartless with the Keyblade to release captive hearts to help the organization summon Kingdom Hearts. Roxas is placed under Axel, and the two become good friends, always stopping to eat sea salt ice cream together after each mission. Shortly after, another member is recruited as the 14th member of Organization 13. They just didn't feel like changing their name. Her name is Xion. Xion can also wield the Keyblade, so now Organization 13 has doubled their output. Xion and Roxas go on missions together while Axel is sent off to Castle Oblivion. Xion starts to open up to Roxas over time, which reveals to Roxas that she bears a striking resemblance to Kairi, who Roxas doesn't know, but it's so confusing to him that he goes into a coma. We'll pause here and return to this later. During the fight with Axel, we pop the Tightrope Walker trophy for healing when lower than 5%, and then after he's down, we press on to the final fights of this half of the game with Marluxia. Marluxia has 3 different fights with a checkpoint after the first one. His first fight is pretty standard with his normal self, whereas the second and third fights are a bit more super non-Disney anime nonsense. After the first fight, we pop the Sora Storyteller trophy, a pretty good sign we're at the point of no return. The problem with these last 2 fights is that A, they're really hard, and B, you can't die on the second one because you still need the trophy for not using a continue. After many deaths and much trial, we finally give him the go-around, and that's officially 3 members of the organization defeated, and we pop the trophy for clearing the 13th floor. A weird spot to pop that, in my opinion. The ending shows that Naminé locks Sora in this pod-looking thing so he can recover his memory. This also means that he's going to forget everything that happened inside of Castle Oblivion. This happens about the same time as Roxas going into his coma.
Coincidence? I think not!
After watching the credits, we pop a bunch of trophies. Proud player Sora for finishing the game on Proud, Undefeated for finishing the game without hitting any continues, Natural player Sora for finishing the game on Standard mode, Novice player Sora for finishing the game on Beginner mode, A Slumber to Remember for finishing Sora's story, and finally No Escape for not running away from any battles during the game. Now, before moving on to Riku, we're going to take a brief intermission from the story to finish collecting all of Sora's available cards. There's a super useful guide on how to get enemy cards with this video here by Derekov, I'll link it in the description. You can essentially manipulate the RNG of the game so that the enemy cards are nearly guaranteed to drop. This is what makes the worst part of the Platinum not so bad at all. This is done by resetting the game by pressing L1, R1, L2, R2, and start and select all at the same time. This makes it so you don't have to fully close out of the game. Then, you have a specific deck and specific room cards in the given worlds with the Heartless, followed by using the Warp Slate either once or twice and it'll pop the enemy card you need. Sometimes you don't get the enemy pattern you need, so that's where soft resetting comes in really handy. The first thing we need is enough arrow cards to make 3 Warp Slates. While buying card packs for this, I popped the trophy for having 300 battle cards. I'll probably come to regret buying these packs before hitting 10k Moogle points later. Now take this White Mushroom for example. I have the room set up and the deck set up and then I save. Then I load the save and then dodge roll 10 times, then go to the mushroom and attack it and then use warp, and here's the enemy card. Also, since this was the last Heartless we hadn't seen yet, we get the character Professor Sora trophy. Convenient. The enemy card manipulation isn't guaranteed though. Most of these popped on my first attempt at it or a different combination somebody put in the comments of that video. 2 in particular, the Green Requiem and the Neo Shadow, took me probably close to 20 plus resets each before I finally got them. So we make our way through collecting enemy cards and finishing nearly everything in this side of the story, aside from a handful of cards that we can't get until after we finish Riku's story. Full transparency though, I couldn't get the game to fully reset despite deleting saves and relocking the Steam achievements. So when I was using some bounties earlier on, I got a couple of those cards that you aren't intended to get until after Riku's story. We never use them, so it doesn't matter. But I just wanted to be honest with y'all. Before I move on to Riku's story, I wanted to sell all my cards to see how close I can get to getting back to 10k. I got super close, so I finished that off and then reloaded my save. We'll push harder for the 20k spent later. Now the other half of this game stars Riku, Sora's friend who was last seen being stuck inside the Realm of Darkness with Mickey at the end of the last game. Mickey and Riku got separated, and while lost in the Realm of Darkness, a card appears transporting Riku to the basement of Castle Oblivion. The story here is pretty basic, as we see Riku struggling with the darkness inside of him. Ansem, the final boss from the last game, shows up and teaches him how to use the darkness rather than fear it. Ansem is dead though, so this is just in Riku's head. After making our way through the first world, we pop a trophy and then slug our way through the Disney worlds again. The biggest gameplay differences with Riku are that he doesn't have to make his own deck, you just kinda get what you get and it changes with each world. Also, when you level up, you can level HP, attack power, or darkness power. The darkness power spiel is that after you break a certain amount of cards, you go into dark mode Riku, affecting your damage output and slates. The last biggest difference is that most worlds basically only have the boss fight and don't take much time at all. We go through Agrabah where I was literally thinking to myself, hopefully we don't have to farm for the random joker, and boom, it drops. That on top of the luck we just had at the end of the enemy card grind is just unreal. I can't wait for the comments to tell me I'm cheating. Go for it. It feeds the algorithm, you fools. After clearing Agrabah and Monster, we have a tussle with our boy Vexen. This is where he gathers the data he needs to make Riku Replica, by the way. Neverland is up next, where I can go ahead and explain the duel mechanic. Specific to Riku, when you play the same card as the enemy, you can duel them. This requires you to outplay their card 3 or 5 times, and if you win, you do a cool move that does big damage. We need to do 100 of these, but there's a great spot to farm for it later. After Neverland comes Traverse Town, and after the guard armor fight, we fight Riku Replica. Dang, Vexen works quick. We pop a trophy after beating him, and then move into our second set of worlds. I spent a good amount of time farming in Atlantica before fighting Ursula, and then moving on to Olympus Coliseum. This is the world where we can farm out the 100 duels. You have a good deck here to work with. If you pop a Bottomless Darkness room, there will only be shadows to fight. Shadows will always play a 1 card, and then the duel will always be a 6, 7, or an 8. So you just do that over and over until eventually the trophy pops. Then we head over and fight Hades before making our way out of the world and into Wonderland. I always blitz through this world because the deck they give you here is terrible. Next up is Halloween Town. I make sure to just fight the Heartless here that is specific to the world and head to the boss room. After taking down Oogie again, we make our way out and run into Lexaeus. Sora had Larxene, Axel, and Vexen to deal with. Riku has Lexaeus, Zexion, and Vexen to deal with. This fight is most easily won by just doing duels over and over. With him down, that's 4 total organization members in the dumpster. Next world is Destiny Islands. We make our way through and fight Darkseid again. Nothing special here. Afterwards, we're tricked into believing Sora is there, but surprise, it's Zexion. Zexion can be an annoying fight because he steals a bunch of your cards, but he goes down pretty easily. That's 5 organization members fully down. Into Twilight Town we go, where our boss fight is the Riku Replica again. He puts up a pretty decent fight this time, so go prepared. After, we have a quick cutscene with the Key of Guidance where Riku finds Sora in his sleep pod and Naminé offers to lock Ansem away for good from Riku's heart. Riku chooses to handle Ansem on his own because he wants to be able to tell Sora that he was being a little bitch for sleeping too long. We head out, popping the Riku Cardmaster trophy for getting the last world card, and then the Storyteller trophy as we ascend to the final floor. In Riku's Castle Oblivion floor, we nearly immediately pop the Record Keeper Riku and Character Professor Riku trophies for finishing his version of Jiminy's Journal. We did this by having now met every character, which in this case meant encountering the last Heartless type. I spent a bazillion hours farming here, as this is where we're going to farm Riku to level 99. I do not think that this is needed before the final boss, but my wife and I were watching TV at the time, so it just made sense to knock it out. During that grind, we get the Hard Hitter trophy for getting all of Riku's attack power upgrades, and then after a million trillion bazillion hours, we pop our Riku Level Master trophy. God, that grind is just fucking awful. Now we head up to the final door to fight Ansem again. Now that we farmed so much, he goes down pretty easily, he pops a trophy, and we watch the ending. Ansem explodes with this giant darkness thing, and Mickey saves Riku for the 900th time. This guy named Diz, who's super cool looking, had given Mickey and Riku organization cloaks so they can prevent the organization tracking them. As they head out of Castle Oblivion, Diz offers Riku two paths, the Road to Light and the Road to Darkness. Riku chooses the Road to Dawn, which is a super cool answer but was not one of the options. We then fast forward to see an older Riku fighting a mysterious boy with two Keyblades. So let's back up a bit. So after Roxas wakes up from his coma, Axel, Shion, and him become close friends. Then, Shion finds out that she's an imperfect replica of Roxas created by Vexen, hence why she can wield the Keyblade. As Naminé works to restore Sora's memories, Shion begins to physically look like Sora, which freaks her out so she bails. Axel and Xigbar, another organization member, go to hunt her down and Shion beats Xigbar easily, though not fully. Soon after, Roxas decides to bail on the organization and Axel is caught between his work and his friends. Shion then tries to absorb Roxas, which if that happens that would mean that Sora would never reawaken. Roxas defeats her and she spills the tea that the organization is trying to use him to summon Kingdom Hearts. As she fades away, the memories she had go back to Sora and leaves her Keyblade with Roxas. So now Roxas can wield two Keyblades, which is dope. So, the mysterious boy that I mentioned earlier, that Riku runs into is none other than Roxas. The two fight, and Riku wins, but only by fully letting the darkness take over. Riku brings Roxas to Diz, and they wipe his memories and place him inside Twilight Town, where Sora is brought by Diz and Naminé to complete the process of memory restoration. End scene. There are definitely a few key things I left out intentionally, because call me a purist, but I think you should play Kingdom Hearts 2 before watching Days. That's just my opinion. At the final screen after the credits, we pop Proud Mode Riku, Riku Standard Mode, Riku Beginner Mode, and then the trophy for finishing Riku's story. Back over on Sora now, we go ahead and clean up the two cards we still need for him, one of which is in Twilight Town, and the other is in Destiny Islands. This pops us Record Keeper Sora and Cardmaster Sora. Now there are 5 trophies left, and all of them are shit. One is for editing your deck 500 times. I had to edit mine 450-ish more times, so throughout the entire game, I only did this 50-ish times naturally. Nevertheless, trophy earned. The next is for spending 20,000 Moogle points. For this, I sell everything in my deck aside from one attack card and my Mega Flare slate just in case, and then I buy out a Moogle store, sell everything, buy out etc., until eventually the trophy pops. Now our last ones are for creating 300 rooms and hitting level 99 with Sora. You create like 100-ish rooms total in the story, so you literally just have to make rooms every time you max out while level farming. But before I do that, I realized that I never popped the All Slates trophy for Sora. After doing some research, it turns out I never talked to Piglet in 100 Acre Woods, so that unlocks the last slate needed and the trophy. Future me here. I forgot to mention that during the level grinding trophy, I ended up popping the room synthesis trophy. I mentioned the trophy itself earlier, but didn't mention that I popped it for some reason in the script, so here it is. The fastest leveling route with Sora is to use Looming Darkness on Destiny Islands, but regardless, this grind is much easier than Riku's because it's relatively mindless.
One eternity later.
After another million years, we pop Sora Level Master, our final trophy for this game. Remember that we're playing on Steam, so there is no 100% trophy for finishing this title, as we have to earn everything in 1.5 and 2.5 Remix to get that trophy. We had 34 hours, 22 minutes, and 33 seconds left on the clock upon finishing this game. That means it took us 35 hours, 37 minutes, and 27 seconds to finish this game, including the dialogue penalty, nearly half the estimated time from PSNProfiles. That brings our total time for the series from 441 hours and 22 minutes to 405 hours, 44 minutes, and 33 seconds. Of the 317 trophies we have to earn for this series, we now have 102, which means we're still not quite a third of the way through.
Alright, I'm gonna go cry.
I have to be honest with you guys. I was having a decent enough time with this game up until finishing Riku's story. I still think the card system is terrible, but it's not unplayable and still abusable. Also, I went ahead and studied a bit on the story prior to this game so that I could have a bit more to talk about given how straightforward this game can be. Let me know in the comments how you feel about me trying to story recap while bum rushing trophies. This game's real issue will always be in the post-game or lack thereof. It took me forever to get Riku and Sora to 99 and there's literally no purpose for it. No cool reward, no secret boss made easier, nothing. In fact, most of the trophy list in this game just feels like a colossal waste of time. That being said, it apparently wasn't nearly as much of a waste of time as PSNProfiles believes it to be. It took me about half the time it said it would, and that's after deducting nearly 9 hours for skipping the Days movie and cutscenes in the game. But alas, there is good news. The next game in the series is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Next week, however, we'll be finishing up the Elder Scrolls series with Skyrim before coming back here. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe. It's free. Do it. You won't regret it. And bye-bye. We've got 5 games left in the Kingdom Hearts series to platinum and 405 hours, 44 minutes, and 33 seconds to do it. We also have 215 trophies still left to snag, not including the platinums themselves. No, I'm not doing Melody of Memory, at least for now, but feel free to leave that comment you're typing, friend. It pushes my metrics. Today, we get to tackle Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, one of my favorite games of all time, but not one I've platinumed very often because it takes a lot longer than Kingdom Hearts 1. PSNProfiles says this is going to take us 90 hours.
You sure about that?
I want to point out that I changed the timer to count up on this video because honestly, I've been so far from the PSN profile times on most games that I figured it would be more interesting just to see how long it actually takes. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments. Without further ado, let's hunt some trophies in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. It's going to be hard to break down this playthrough into specific steps, but here's all the things we need to tackle. First off, of course, we need to finish the story in all of the worlds. We also need 100% on Jiminy's journal, which means we need all the character files, all the Heartless encountered, all the Nobodies encountered, all the minigames, all Ansem reports, all missions, all drive forms maxed, all Mushroom 13 members, all treasure chests, all limit breaks, all gummy ship blueprints, all puzzle pieces, all tournaments, every item sent at least once, hitting level 99, and then we need to get our shit rocked by every secret boss, and a handful of miscellaneous trophies. We're going to be doing this playthrough on critical mode, which means we're doing everything possible in one playthrough. That definitely doesn't have to be your prerogative, but I feel like the endgame bosses in this game are insanely hard regardless of the difficulty, so you might as well play on critical. There are no weird trophies to play the game fast or not die in this one, so feel free to let critical mode kick your butt a little bit and learn the fights. Our story starts with a different protagonist, Roxas. Most of you probably know who he is if you watched the Chain of Memories video, and if you didn't, then enjoy being as confused as I was as a 9-year-old kid. I'm not going to try nearly as hard for a story recap in this game, because I was wrong about so many things in the last video. I promise I was not rage baiting. That was me genuinely trying my best to understand the story of this game. Our first day as Roxas has us learning combat basics where we have to pick one of these bats to beat this guy with. We obviously pick the strength one because Unga Bunga. After battering the bully, we end up chasing this white squiggly guy through the forest and try to fight him, but we can't. Then we get a Keyblade, and suddenly we're not useless. The next day, we do some mail delivery and then try to go to the beach. You're intended to make a certain amount of money, and as a kid I actually did a bunch of these jobs to save up money, but you can just do one and then lowball your friends. Then we end up in the same place at the beginning of the first game with the stained glass platforms, where we choose the shield because of the abilities it will give us a bit earlier than the other options. After fighting our way through a bunch of dusks, we fight Roxas's version of Darkseid called the Twilight Thorn. This fight is intended to teach you about reaction commands, but it's also kinda tough on critical. I failed to one-cycle him, but it leads to this hilarious ending that almost looks like I accidentally killed him. The next day, we participate in the Struggle Tournament, where we beat the balls out of our best friend. Ending a match by getting all 200 orbs pops this trophy, our first one for the run. We then fight Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, which you haven't played, you should, it's great. Then the world freezes, and we fight more Dusks and our best friend that we don't know is our best friend, Axel. Time unfreezes, and then we fight Setzer for the final struggle match. The problem is that the item you get for losing is better than the one you get for winning, so we just let him smack us a few times. The next day, we head to another area to solve the 7 Wonders of Twilight Town, which are actually just a bunch of glitches because this version of the town isn't real. We smack this wall, fight a bunch of Vivi clones, fight Anti-Roxas, and then ride this sack.
Suspicious as fuck.
Back in Twilight Town proper, we head to the mansion for the last wonder, which is actually Naminé just being a peeping Tom, and end the day. Now this is where shit hits the fan for our boy Roxas. As we exit the usual spot, Axel has more things attack us and then he freezes. We then battle our way to the mansion again and head to the White Room, where Naminé informs us that we were never meant to exist. Now listen here a bit. Then we head down into the lab where Roxas gets pissed and smashes these computers. We fight a bunch more nobodies and then Axel shows up again. He's trying to take us back to Organization 13, I'm pretty sure, but this fight is sick because Roxas gets 2 Keyblades. After beating the brakes off him, we find ourselves in the pod room, and honestly, I know this is intended to be as fast as possible, but there are a few cutscenes that I just had to watch. They just hit. Observe.
I hate you so much.
You should share some of that hatred with Sora. He's far too nice for his own good.
No! My heart belongs to me! Sora. You're lucky. Looks like my summer vacation is over.
Cinema. Absolute cinema. Oh, and a trophy. Now, we finally have our boy Sora back. I'll point out here that I was getting chests with Roxas just to give myself more stuff with Sora, but none of those chests actually counted. Everything from this point on does. We make our way to the station where we find a seemingly endless amount of nobodies. Then, King Mickey saves us in a cutscene I skipped, and then we head to the mysterious tower on a train. Upon arrival, we see this big guy outside named Pete. Anybody who knows Disney knows Pete is bad news, and lo and behold, we're now fighting Heartless. We make our way up this tower, fighting Heartless along the way, and find ourselves meeting Yensid, the master that trained King Mickey. Also, his name is Disney backwards. He teaches us about lore stuff we don't necessarily need because we played other games in the series already, and then we head into the fairies room to get a sick new outfit. This gives us our first dry form, which allows us to be able to dual wield Keyblades now. We exit the world and head over to the only available world, Hollow Bastion, though it looks a bit different than I remember. We land, grab this sticker, another type of collectible in this game, and then we make our way over to this fight. As we make our way over to the next area, I pop Valor Form, the dry form we got. This form levels by getting hits on enemies, and it grants us the high jump ability as we level it. We can only get as many levels as the amount of forms that we have, so base form and Valor Form allows us to get up to level 3 for now. Subtle foreshadowing that there are more forms later. We head into this house where all of our Final Fantasy friends from the first game are hanging out, and then head up to the Bailey. This fight can be a pain because we have to defend this gate while fighting everything, but at least we have Leon with us. We abuse the dual stance reaction command to slice through these guys and finish the fight. This is where Organization 13 reintroduces themselves to Sora, who doesn't remember anything about his time in Castle Oblivion, whereas I still hear Sora's Mega Flare in my sleep every night. It's hilarious though because there are only a handful of Organization 13 left because Sora and Riku slaughtered a bunch of them, and Sora has no idea who they even are. Oh, and yeah, now we're in a gummy mission. These are on-the-rails type things that we do for each world. I won't be showing these much until later on as there are a handful of gummy trophies, but we don't need to worry about them yet. Typically, I'll clear every gummy route on screen before entering a world just to get them over with. Our first Disney world is the Land of Dragons. We meet this guy Ping and head down to camp where we immediately are enlisted in the Chinese army. It do be like that sometimes. We fight through a handful of missions and then head to the last one where we have to make our way up this mountain path. Reaching the village up top, we head into this cave where we get stuck with Ping and fight a bunch of Heartless. We exit the cave to see the village burn to ash. I mean, Jesus, I don't feel like we were gone that long. Then we head up the mountain further to get into this huge fight with a bunch of these little yellow guys. This is a really great opportunity to make a ton of XP, but unfortunately, I'm dog shit. After this fight, Ping reveals that all this time she was actually a woman. We make our way down the mountain to go fight Shan Yu while protecting these doors. This is gonna be a recurring thing, isn't it? We kill him with swag and exit the world with a Keyblade that kinda sucks as a reward. Next up is Beast Castle. I always like this world because it's neat that we get to see the world where a party member from the first game lives normally. We go to look for Beast and find Belle, who tells us Beast is being a cranky pants. Then we push this wardrobe and head into the dungeon to fight this cool looking door. During this fight I died on purpose, for sure, because there are certain fights where Mickey will come save you and the first time he does it pops a trophy. You basically just pump Sora back up so it's like a free life sort of, I guess. With the door down, we save these living household items, then head through the dungeon lighting lamps along the way. Then we find Beast and fight him to calm him down. Make it make sense. We basically just spam clockwork in his face over and over, and somehow that calms him down so he can become a party member again. I'll just go ahead and mention here that with every Disney party member there's a limit break you can do, as well as a bunch with Goofy and Donald that we need to do at least once for Jiminy's Journal. After heading back to find Belle and finding the wardrobe again, we head to the ballroom where we fight the boss for this world. The first form is mega easy, just basically an edgy dark ball. The second form is this giant guy that goes invisible, and I actually die again here, but in comes the mouse who does a ton of damage so Sora can wake up and swag finish. After finishing that world, the gummy ship drives us back to Hollow Bastion where we find Pooh's book again. This world isn't so bad in this game as the minigames are much more enjoyable. But we can't do any of them yet because we have to find all the torn pages again, so we'll be back. Now we head over to Olympus Coliseum, which in this game is like an actual world taking place in the underworld, which is pretty dope. We can't use dry forms here because of Hades' magic or something, so we head over to have a talk with him about it. When we find him, we try to beat him into submission, but we can't because this is his world, so we decide to run for our lives instead. Oh, and also we picked up Auron from Final Fantasy X, who's probably one of the coolest characters ever made. Now comes a segment speedrunners call Hades Escape. Why is it called that? Well, we have to escape from Hades. This encounter is really tough on Critical, because Hades desperately wants you to
Daddy, chill.
I somehow make it through on my first try, and I generally don't know if I've ever done that before. As we make our way out, we are then attacked by Cerberus, the big doggo from the first game. I usually have trouble with this fight, but I'm not even sure I took damage this time. Heading up to the Coliseum proper, we break some pots with our pal Danny DeVito, and then a Hydra attacks, and Meg is kidnapped. So we go deal with Meg while Hercules stays back to solo queue the Hydra. As we make our way to Meg, we run into our first new organization member of this game, Demix. Demix looks, acts, sounds, and straight up just is a douche. He forces me to fight 100 water clones. I didn't know this was a Naruto game. With him gone for now, we head into this cavern area to protect Meg. They really love this protect tech, Jesus Christ. Then Herc shows up, so hopefully the Hydra is taken care of, and we fight Pete. Once we escape the cavern, we head back to see that Herc did in fact not defeat the Hydra, so now we have to. I've never had as much trouble with this fight as I did this time. Mickey kept having to save me over and over again, so now my percentage chance for getting him during an actually difficult fight is pretty low. Anyway, we swag finish the Hydra and head out with a new Keyblade that we'll actually use. Next, we head over to Disney Castle. First, we escort Minnie through the castle to the Hall of the Cornerstone to learn that it's been stolen. I guess this is bad. We go ask Merlin about it and then find this door to one of my favorite worlds in the series, Timeless River. I love the heart behind this world. It really is unique, and the music and sound effects all sound old, and the profile pictures for Donald the Goofy are like a million years old, and yeah, it's just great. We find Old Pete, who's actually not a bad guy, and then we have to defeat a bunch of Heartless in each of these windows. The only one that gave me trouble here was the burning building, because I wasn't paying attention to the giant fireballs. My bad. Then we head to the riverside to battle New Pete, who's trying to steal the Cornerstone of Light and Steamboat Willie's boat. God, I love this world. With Pete on land, we then kick his ass in a bunch of different areas before exiting the world and popping a trophy. We also obtain Wisdom form here, which levels up by defeating Heartless and is a magic-based form. The growth ability you get from leveling Wisdom was Quick Run, which was this game's dodge roll until they actually just added dodge roll with a different form we get later. You may have noticed we haven't been getting trophies for the other worlds, and there's a reason for that, which I'll explain later. Next up is Atlantica, just kidding, we're doing that way later, so we can knock it all out at once, since this world is a rhythm game in this game. So it's a copyright city in there. So, we head to Port Royal instead. This world has a lot of flaws, but it's based on one of my favorite movies of all time, so I still love it. The mechanic where the pirates have to be in the moonlight to take damage is actually like really big brain for a PS2 game. Anyway, we go save Will from Heartless and then head out to sea with Jack Sparrow. Landing at the Isla de Muerta, we have to survive for some time and then protect this medallion, and while I definitely appreciate the moonlight mechanic, my god is it a pain sometimes. After we get back to Port Royal, we knock some barrels off the ship and then head back to Isla de Muerta to fight Captain Barista. Autocorrect. Barbosa. This fight can be a pain because you have to keep Jack alive as well, and in case you haven't noticed, the NPCs are also playing on critical, so they're dead literally all the time. We eventually take him down and exit the world, heading to a familiar one next, Agrabah. Heading into the Cave of Wonders, which thank Christ is not a boss fight in this game, we jump over some waves with a boo and then do this wave-based fight where we float down. Cool. Then after a dark battle in the treasure room, we head back up to the palace where we fight Who the hell are these guys? We fight Fat Fire Guy and Fat Ice Guy instead, and this fight is hilariously easy. Once they're both down, we exit the world and head over to Halloween Town. Our boy Jack is back, and this time we actually somewhat tackle the plot of the movie, I think. I'm not sure, I haven't seen it in ages. We go to investigate this Christmas tree-shaped door and enter Christmas Town. A world full of joy and cheer, and these guys that two-tap you with little bullets. This fight takes me so many deaths to get through. It's really quite embarrassing. Once inside, we meet Sandy Claus, and then Lock, Shock, and Barrel Roll are up to no good again. I'm actually not sure what they did here, but we chase them down to Curly Hill and fight them inside this weird machine thing. Afterwards, we go back to Sandy Claus' factory, and somehow, Oogie Boogie returned. He's back with another gimmick where we have to hit these boxes up onto his little platform thing and shatter it, and then damage him a bit and rinse and repeat. Once he's down, we head out and head over to Pride Rock. This world is super cool to me because even though it's pretty empty, the Lion Sora movement and such is super fun. Anyway, we go to Pride Rock itself to find out we're in the middle of the movie, not the beginning, and then take off towards Hakuna Matata. On our way, we run into these things. These things do a little spinny attack, and when you get caught in it, you just instantly die. And hey, that sucks. Once we prevail and reach the Oasis, we convince Simba, which is another cool callback since he was a summon in the first game, to come liberate Pride Rock with us. When we arrive, we have to fight the three hyenas, which without looking it up, I think are named Shanzi, Bonsai, and Ed. I'll fact check that during editing. Then we head up to fight Scar. I don't know if I ever realized how tough this fight is. This world is technically skippable, so I'm not sure if maybe I typically do it later, but he was just clapping my cheeks. Eventually we take him down and exit the world. Oh, also side note, while in the world, I got every treasure and every sticker since you don't need any more movement abilities to get them all. Now, before we head back over to Twilight Town to start the mid-game, we're going to head into 100 Acre Wood, because you can get some pretty great stat-boosting items in there. Our first minigame has us smacking some beehives and tree stumps. We have to do every minigame twice, once for the story and once for the journal entry. There are certain scores that we need to check off the mission entry in Jiminy's journal. We need 18,000 on the first one, and then the second one where we slide down and gather stuff, we need 8,000. Now that we're a bit better off, we head to Twilight Town where we gather some chests and then head into the Sandlot. We fight some nobodies here, including the Berserker nobodies that are probably the worst type. With them down, Cypher gives us a trophy, but not like a digital one, like an actual one in the game, and then Hamer, Ponce, and Omelette tell us they saw Kyrie in town. We head off to the station and surprise, surprise, we don't find her. Leaving the world, we get Limit Form, which is a form that Sora can use while alone and something you'll see a lot of in the future. It levels by using combo finishers and gives the dodge roll movement ability. Sora is super depressed because now he's lost Mickey, Riku, and Kairi, so bro is straight up killing it right now. Hollow Bastion is now radiating darkness, so we head back over there for something that can only be defined as peak. Landing, we learn about this lab that the gang has found in a new area we couldn't get to earlier in the game. We head there and find Leon, and then this big lab where we get digitized into the world of space paranoids. We meet Tron and go solve the easiest puzzle in the history of the world, putting us back outside where apparently King Mickey shows up and teaches us the secret password. Here is where we get Master Form, which levels by picking up drive orbs and essentially gives us the ability to jump twice. We head back in to tell Tron and end up having to ride around on a light cycle to escape, and honestly, as a fan of the coaster, this is a great time. Next, we go fight Oodles of Heartless while freezing these monitors. Then we head to the IO Tower and fight this big tech Heartless dude, which ends the story here for now. When we exit, we're told that shit has officially hit the fan outside, so we head out for probably one of the greatest segments in gaming history. First, we run into Demyx again, but this time it's an actual fight, not just water clones. This fight's actually really hard for me usually, but I don't have too hard of a time with it. After the fight ends, we watch a cutscene because this one, well, I'll just let it speak for itself.
Look out!
Goofy! No.
Hey, you're the king's captain. You gotta get up.
Come on, wake up!
I'm sorry about the ice cream.
Goofy?
Goofy.
This is not happening. It can't be happening. It can't.
They'll pay for this.
Ten out of 10, no notes, cinema. Now we head through a series of fights where we get assisted by various characters from Final Fantasy, and this is just the best, man. Once we get through those, we're moving forward, and then...
He has risen, baby girl!
Goofy is actually alive. Wow, can't believe they didn't just murder a beloved Disney character in a children's game. Now to top off this segment of Peak, we head into a fight that is commonly referred to as the 1000 Heartless fight. Not because you fight a lot of Heartless, because you literally fight 1,000. Oh, and this is a great place to level your limit form also. Once we decimate all who oppose us, we end up back outside the world, apparently having been saved by Maleficent because she hates the organization more than she hates us. Also, Hollow Bastion is now called Radiant Garden because I guess that's what it used to be called, so they're bringing it back. Now we get to do all the worlds a second time, but this time around they're all nobody-based, not heartless, and they also pop trophies. In addition to that, second visits are very short, so we basically just show up, fight a boss, and leave. Sometimes there's new chests to get, so we snag those also. The world order will be similar to our first run, so first off we fight this giant guy named Storm Rider in the Land of Dragons. That pops a trophy. Over in Beast Castle, we have to fight an organization member named Zaldin. This fight is actually pretty tough, but I guess muscle memory kicked in because I got him on my first try. Trophy earned. In Olympus Coliseum, we take part in a story-based tournament that's separate from the optional ones. Auron gets possessed, so we go get his voodoo doll back and then fight Hades. This fight is super easy, but we pop a trophy regardless. Back over to Port Royal, we fight our way through a new area and then battle with this gimmick Heartless, the Grim Reaper. You have to get medallions out of him by spamming him with magic and then dump them all into this chest in the center to make him vulnerable. With him down, we pop another trophy. Over in Agrabah, we fly around on the carpet with weird controls and then fight jacked out Jafar again. I have no idea how he's back. Trophy earned. Halloween Town is getting ready for Christmas, so we have to go beat up Lock, Shock, and Barrel again and trap them in boxes. Then we go retrieve gifts and then make a bunch of them ourselves before fighting this big Heartless called the Experiment. Leaving the world, we pop another trophy. Pride Lands basically just has us run the gauntlet again, and then we fight the hyenas, but they're annoying and run away this time. The last boss is this big dude that two-shots me, so this fight took me an embarrassing amount of time. Eventually, we prevail and pop another trophy. This unlocks the second visit for Space Paranoid, so we head over there to see what's up with Tron. Landing in Radiant Garden, the world is under attack from Digital Heartless, and the town's defense mechanism is attacking us. We battle our way to Ansem Study and hop into the computer again. The only notable things that happen here are that we get to ride a Solar Sailor, and the Heartless do big damage. Then, we fight the MCP by zapping him a bunch with Tron. With him down, we pop another trophy. Now we head back into the 100-acre wood and wrap that world up. We play this bouncy game with Tigger, and then I try to do it again for the score goal, but the story has all the characters in the next page, which is actually impressive attention to detail. So we leave to go find Pooh in this spooky cave and then throw him off this cliff, which ends the story here and pops a trophy. We quickly head back in to get the score goals here. 2,000 or more on the bouncy one, finding Pooh in less than 90 seconds, and then 8,000 or more on the one where you yeet Pooh. We'll have to come back to clean up collectibles later because we can't reach most of them right now. Now that we've finished up most of the worlds, we can finally head over and do Atlantica. Like I said before, this whole world is a rhythm game, so I'm going to skip all the songs so we don't get copywritten. There's also a sticker in this first room, and then 2 in Triton's Throne. After we clear the last song, we pop a trophy for that world, and then head back in to get the journal entries here. You have to play all the songs again, except if you just open the song and quit out of it, it counts, so just do that unless you're a freak. With all worlds and episodes cleared, we head over to our last gummy mission until the big grind later, and into Twilight Town. First, I run around here and collect chests for a while to give myself an opportunity to level a bit. Eventually, we make our way to the mansion where we fight a bunch of nobodies with Mickey and make our way inside. We find the computer that will put us in the digital world and give Pence the password. It's always sea salt ice cream, and head inside. In here we find a portal where we fight a bunch of nobodies and then Axel comes to help us. He kidnapped Kyrie in the background of the story, by the way, but it's fine, he's chill. He does a giant attack after, sacrificing himself, which is big sad. Love that guy. This ends the world and pops a trophy. Now we end up in the world that never was, the final world for this game. The first area is a great place to farm wisdom form before you proceed to the area after, because you can pop the form, kill a bunch of shadows, and then go back here and your drive is back for free. Hooray. We get wisdom form to level 6 and then head over to the next area where we fight Roxas inside of Sora's heart. This fight's really cool and the music is super sad.
Yeah. Back off. Take this. Take that. Yeah. Take that. Yeah. Back off. Heal. Come on. Take that. This is it. Light. It's over. It's over. This is it. Heal. Okay. Come on. Heal. This is it.
I've also never beaten him on critical on my first try, so that felt pretty great. With him down, we get a Keyblade called 2 Become 1. With this Keyblade equipped, you always turn into Anti-Form or Final Form when we use any Drive Form. We abuse the room after, which resets our Drive Form like the one with Wisdom earlier, and eventually get Final Form to pop, which means we now have all the forms. Before we leave though, I intentionally keep getting Anti-Form so we can pop this trophy for getting it 13 times. Then I farm out the last level of Wisdom Form and leave the world for now to go max out the rest of the forms. I definitely don't do this in the most efficient way, but here we go. First, we do Valor Form. In each world, there is now a Mushroom Heartless that's like a little minigame we'll have to do later. The one in Agrabah wants you to kill it quickly, but if we don't, we can just farm hits on it to max out Valor really fast. Then I start to do Limit Form here, but realize it may be quicker back in the world that never was, so we head back there and max it out. Master Form is up next, so we equip the Keyblade from Pooh's world and the Wishing Lamp as the secondary. This will convert some money that drops into Drive Orbs, which we need to level Master. If we head to the Mysterious Tower, there's this room with the Gambler Nobodies, and if you pop Master Form and then play their minigame over and over again, they drop a bunch of Drive Orbs, making leveling this form insanely fast. Next up is Final Form. We're going to equip the Gullwing Keyblade and Bond of Flame because we're going to couple regular leveling with leveling Final Form. Final Form levels by killing nobodies, so we go back to the lab in the mansion at Twilight Town and head out here. We allow ourselves to take damage so that our experience boost ability triggers, and then spam Faraga in Final Form, which melts the enemies. You can die pretty easily doing this, but it really doesn't lose that much time if you do. Leveling Final Form unlocks the Glide ability for Sora, which is the final piece of the puzzle for collectibles. While leveling this form, we get up to the low 60s in our regular level, which will be great for the ascent up the organization's castle. First, though, I realized I didn't level the summon gauge, so let's go do that. Back to Agrabah and this mushroom as we summon Stitch and then time a fire spell as the gauge goes down a notch. Summoning levels by using Drive Gauge, so if we make it keep going back up a number, it goes back down immediately and counts as using a full gauge. We just keep doing this with Stitch because he fills your magic meter. Easy peasy. Now, being a bit stronger and all of our forms leveled, we can make our way up to the point of no return. On our way up the castle, we run into Zigbar, who I mentioned briefly in the last video. He shoots pew-pews at us, but with our forms leveled, closing the gap between us and him is much easier, so he goes down pretty easily. We continue to ascend, where we then run into Kyrie and Riku, who currently looks like Ansem, the final boss from Kingdom Hearts 1, because when he fought Roxas and had to let the darkness take over, he assumed that form. After meeting up with the gang, we pop a trophy and press on. Next up are 2 boss fights. First, we fight Luxord, the gambling, minigame-based boss fight. The gimmick here is that in addition to health, you have to worry about time. You lose time as you take damage and lose minigames. He loses time by taking damage and when you win minigames. Eventually he goes down and we make our way over to fight Syx, the blue-haired wonder. This is a really cool fight, but it's also a bit annoying. He has this berserk meter thing at the top of the screen where when it fills, he'll dash around the arena and be invincible, and you have to grab one of his weapons and batter him with it to make him vulnerable again. We whittle him down to finish him off and press on. In the next area, Riku becomes regular Riku again, and we make our way through the last room. Once we reach the top, we fight Xemnas in a really epic duel in front of Memory's skyscraper. There's this sick reaction command timing where you just beat the shit out of him here, and it's just really cool. With Xemnas down, we roll credits, and obviously I'm just kidding. There's like 1,000 phases, but this is officially our point of no return. I went back and forth here on what I wanted to do, but ultimately I decided to go ahead and finish out the story before heading down to do cleanup. The first step in the final boss gauntlet is to be super cool and slice through these buildings. Then we head to these engines where we have to overload them and then dodge over to the other one and destroy it as well. Down to the core we go, where we fight some nobodies and beat it to oblivion. Now we fight Xemnas himself, but his legs don't work. Then the game makes you think you've won, but a giant dragon attacks the castle and we hop onto this little doohickey to fight it. This is really boring and takes a while. With the dragon down, we fight paraplegic Xemnas again. After doing a certain amount of damage, he shoots us away and we have to dodge some lasers and fly over to a building and do a sick combo with our pal Riku and then rinse and repeat until he's down. In the void of nothingness, we fight Xemnas in a zebra Halloween costume. This fight's pretty tough. He first throws us up into the air and good luck just mashing reversal because you'll probably get hit anyway, so I try to reflect here instead. Then at some point in the fight, Xemnas captures Sora and then you have to reach him with Riku while Sora's health slowly drains. If you aren't fully healed when this happens, it's the worst. Unfortunately, the fastest way to get to Sora is just to spam this one move as Riku, so this is far from entertaining. I actually damaged Xemnas so quickly though that he never did that move to me, which was nice. When Xemnas is on his last leg, he'll do this insane laser dome move where you then have to mash 2 buttons to make Sora and Riku flip around and deflect all the lasers. Then the rest of the fight plays out.
Riku! Riku!
Don't lose it all!
And we swag finish and he's finally actually for real down. We watch the ending where Sora and Riku are reunited with everyone on Destiny Islands, and then Sora finally gets back to Kairi and says, "We're back," and she says, "You're home," and boom, credits. After the credits, we pop the Critical Competitor trophy for finishing on Critical Mode, Proud Player for Proud Mode, and Ambitious Adventurer for finishing the game in general. We then save our clear data and plug our vacuum in for cleanup mode. The first thing we're going to do is level a bit to make synth farming a bit easier. We're going to go about this by letting ourselves get below half health, similar to the Twilight Town leveling, and then just spamming Faraga on enemies in the world that never was. The goal here is to reach a save point before Final Form runs out and then rinse and repeat. I work on this for a while, getting to around level 84 before continuing on. Now we're going to do what I call a collectibles pass on each world. Our goal here is to get all the treasure chests and puzzle pieces for the world, but we also will try to enter each room once and complete every fight once for synth items to lessen the grind later. We will also be fighting the various special mushroom enemies in each world and doing all the missions aside from a few that I will point out. First up is the Land of Dragons. The only mission here is to do the mushroom where we can't let it hit you and you have to defeat all the clones as well to increase score. We need a score of 85 and the easiest way to do this is just to go into wisdom form and skate around in circles, avoiding damage and blasting the clones. Easy peasy. Next up is Beast Castle, where this mushroom darts around and we have to escape behind it collecting orbs. We need 450 for the journal entry. Best method is wisdom form once again and ensuring you have all of Sora's draw abilities equipped and the draw ring from the 100 Acre Wood. Also, while we're here, we interact with this absent silhouette that brings us into a fight with Marluxia, one of the organization members from Chain of Memories. He'll cast Doom on you, which is the amount of times you can get hit before you die. It's attached to whatever level you are. We defeat him once again with a swag finish and move on to the next world. In Disney Castle, we collect a couple puzzle pieces and head into Timeless River. Nothing crazy here. The mushroom here you have to hit a bunch of times as quickly as possible. Easiest way to do that is with a negative combo ability and finishing plus abilities in wisdom form. We run through to get some synth stuff and head out. Back in Port Royal, we first do the skateboard minigame, which is insanely easy, and then head out and collect stuff. Approaching the Isla de Muerta, we have another absent silhouette, this time with Larxene. Abusing Reflect in this fight makes it insanely easy, so we make quick work of her and move on. The mushroom here is similar to the bell enemy from Kingdom Hearts 1, where you have to remember which one it was as they move around. This one's much easier though, as I completed this on my first try. Over to Agrabah, where we land in this room and run the carpet minigame again for the journal entry. Then we go skateboard for the peddler, and then interact with another absent silhouette for a rematch with our old pal Vexen the Pedo. This fight you can just spam final form Faraga on him after breaking his shield. With him down again, we head back over to the Cave of Wonders to actually do the mission for the mushroom we were using to farm earlier. Easiest way to do this is to pop on negative combo in limit form and then just keep doing the Zantetsuken finisher and he melts. Halloween Town is up next, where we first do this skateboard minigame where we also go for a trophy by spamming square or X against this wall, giving us 5,000 points and a trophy pop. Then we head upstairs to do the gift wrapping minigame, which we need 150 points for, and after a couple tries we get there just barely. The mushroom for this world is kind of annoying as you have to reflect stuff back at him. I know there's an easier way of doing this, but I was trying to do all these without looking anything up just for the fun of it. We eventually get there by using Final Form Reflect and move on. We make a quick pit stop in the Pride Lands, basically just to do some fights for synth items, given I already collected everything here, so this is a short trip. There isn't a mushroom here. Then I head over to Olympus, but not to do the tournaments just yet. The mushroom here is a bit of a pain as you are intended to cast certain spells on the spawning groups of mushrooms, but I found that just spamming Final Form Thundaga worked well enough, so we move on from there. There's another absent silhouette here to fight, Zexion, the little book nerd from Riku's story in Chain of Memories. This fight's really easy, but it takes a bit because he has a lot of immune phases, but he goes down eventually. We then head back to the world that never was to do the mushroom there. For this, you have to time your reaction command to not do reversal but the one after it, and then in final form just jump and you get 8 hits per successful dodge. Now for Twilight Town, which has a plethora of missions and stuff to collect. First up, we tackle the last absent silhouette for Lexaeus. This fight is also really simple if you just spam Reflect. Then we go into the struggle fights. These are all super easy with endgame abilities, but for some insane reason, the devs thought it was a good idea to make you beat each person 10 times before you can fight the next one. So we have to fight Hainer 10 times, Setzer 10 times, and then Cypher once for all the journal entries. Such a pain. Then we do another skateboarding minigame before getting back to work. Earlier in the Roxas section, there are a bunch more jobs besides the mail delivery one that you can do to earn money, and Sora has to do all of them at an expert level for journal entries. The mail delivery one is super easy and quick. The cargo climb one, you just take explosion off and combo pluses and just ground finisher over and over to get less than, I think, 14 seconds. Then the grandstander, you just hit the ball 100 times in the air and you're good. I got it to 90 and choked. I have no idea why that happened, but it wasted time. In the other area, you can do poster duty where you fly around and slap posters on the wall and need to complete it in under 30 seconds. Then we cast Magnet on some bees with the goal time being under 10 seconds. Then we clean up this guy's trash by moving all of them into a straight-ish line and then using a single ground finisher on them. You need less than 6 swings for this, and my Keyblade touching the other pieces of trash almost screwed this for me. With our jobs done, we head back over to the mansion and battle another mushroom where we have to hit a bunch of clones that appear all around us. For this, I use Wisdom Form with Berserk Charge on, so I heal to get rid of MP and then just spam attack so I don't ever do a finisher while MP is recharging. Easy peasy. Another mushroom here you just spam Reflect on and it dies in like 2 seconds. It's so easy. Then... Mushroom 8. No. Wait. Over in the Mysterious Tower lies the worst mushroom of all of them by a large margin. Anyone who has ever platinumed this game knows exactly why. You essentially have to toss this guy in the air and then keep him in the air, getting around 85 hits on him before he hits the ground. Sounds easy. It's not. After a certain amount of hits that feels totally random, this f***er will decide to just fly away from you, making it really hard to get to him before he falls down. The strategy I use for this is as follows. Berserk Charge with Horizontal Slash. Then if he gets too far away to the point where I can't hit him, I pop Wisdom Form and spam Thundaga and then shoot him, hopefully crossing over 85 hits with the finisher, doing a bunch of hits from Wisdom. At one point, I got to 84 hits. And my soul was crushed. I sat here grinding this out for what felt like an eternity, but eventually did get a good run and went all the way to 99 hits for good measure. Now with Twilight Town cleaned up, we head back to snag a couple remaining puzzle pieces from 100 Acre Wood and then Space Paranoids. With only Radiant Garden, Olympus Coliseum, and Disney Castle left to finish, we have some hard work cut out for us. First off, we're going to head to Radiant Garden to do the last mushroom. We have to attack this guy to keep him spinning, and honestly this one's usually not too bad for me, but it took longer than I expected to get it down. Then, moving into where we did the 1000 Heartless fight, all the mushrooms line up and we look up to see the glorious final mushroom come down and give us our reward, which is a tiny little bronze crown on our head, a Keyblade, and a glorious trophy pop. Then we head into the next area to fight Sephiroth. I'm going to leave this whole fight in, because although it's easier than KH1, it's definitely cinema.
Show me your strength. That's enough.
Yeah. Heal. Yeah. Back off. Yeah. This is it.
That's enough.
Yeah. Back off.
Give in to the dark.
Take this. Back off.
Give in to
Back
the
off.
dark. Sin. Heartless.
Back off. Back off.
All shall be one with me. Give in to the dark. Give in to the dark.
Right. Let's go. Take this. It's over.
Sin. Heartless. What intriguing power.
With him down, we pop a trophy and head back to tell Cloud where he is, and upon returning we get the Fenrir Keyblade, which comes with a negative combo ability attached to it, and is also super strong. With Fenrir in our hands, we head back to Disney Castle to fight the secret boss here called Lingering Will. This boss is really hard, and it's often the last thing people will do for their platinum. However, I have no interest in spending a ton of time learning this fight as we have trophies to grab, so there's some light cheese we can apply. And by light cheese, I mean completely breaking the boss so he can't attack at all. To do this, we equip the Fenrir Keyblade and negative combo, remove all air combo pluses and aerial finisher abilities, then we just learn to block his initial move until we get an attack window, and then we jump, attack, forever until he goes down. Finishing him upgrades our tiny crown to silver and pops a trophy. Then, right as I was about to end the recording session, I opened up my journal and popped several trophies that you just have to go to this page on the journal to get to pop. We got the Seeker Trophy for finishing character links, Nobody Know-It-All for having fought every Nobody type, Searcher for all the Ansem reports, and Professor for all the character entries. The dopamine fuels my every waking moment. Next up is the Cavern of Remembrance, an endgame dungeon designed to test your movement with your upgraded forms and your patience as you fight stupidly strong enemies. First room, we jump around and gather a bunch of chests, and then we head up to this area where we activate these wind things and then head upwards, always collecting things along the way. Eventually we make our way to this conveyor belt room where it literally feels like it's designed to piss you off, and then into a gauntlet of nobody enemies back to back. These fights are really tough, and the enemies here do so much damage on critical, this took me quite a long time. After our victory, we head into the next room where we have the data fights. These fights are all of the organization members on steroids. They are the true test of your understanding of the mechanics in this game, and something we're not going to do just yet. We do, however, grab this map, which pops our trophy for getting all the maps in the game. Then, we're going to run through this dungeon again to get all the synth items we need. So I do it, but backwards this time to shake things up. With that done, we snag our last puzzle piece and open up the journal, which pops the Heartless Hunter trophy for seeing every type of Heartless. We then solve some puzzles for a while, which pops this trophy. Now we head over to synth as many things as we can. We can't quite synth one of everything, but we get pretty close. After synthing, we head back to the world that never was to finish leveling to 99, which pops the Level Master trophy. Now, to break the final things up, we're going to do the gummy ship crap. Essentially, we need an S rank on mission 2 of every route and an S rank on an EX version of a mission on each route. The easiest way to do this is to make a ship shaped like a donut because you don't take damage very often with this shape. The reason for that is because all the enemies aim for the center of your ship, and since your ship has no center, you don't take damage. We first do mission 1 on the Pride Lands route, and then the Halloween Town one to get the draw ability and the metal converter ability. This just makes things easier. In each mission, we want to fill up our metal level to go into Berserk mode, which makes you kill everything super fast. You lose Berserk mode if you take damage. We get the Veteran Pilot trophy for our first S rank. Then this grind takes me a long time, and it's so boring. After finishing an S rank on each route, we get this trophy. Then after S ranking an EX mission on each route, we get this trophy. After that, I notice I'm missing 2 Invincible blueprints, so I do mission 1 for a couple worlds and manage to pop this trophy for collecting them all. Now we're going to head to Olympus and do the Colosseum missions. For a good score in all of these tournaments, use the Wishing Lamp Keyblade and make sure all your jackpot abilities are on. We first take on the Pain and Panic Cup, which pops this trophy, then the Cerberus Cup, which pops this trophy, the Titan Cup, which pops this trophy, and the Goddess of Fate cup, which pops this trophy. And then before heading over to the Paradox cups, we go visit Phil and do practice mode and maniac mode of these pots for the journal. This is pretty simple. You just smack the big pots into the little pots for a bunch of points, and you only need 1,000 for the journal entry. Now we head over to do the Paradox cups, which are just harder versions of the previous ones. I should have mentioned before that each tournament in this game has a gimmick of some sort. In Pain and Panic, you don't have access to drive forms, for instance, but limits take less MP. Most of the time, the easiest way to hit the score goals is to summon Peter Pan and spam his limit, as it makes tons of orbs. After the first Paradox cup, we pop this trophy. Then we do the Cerberus Paradox, where we're alone but we can use drive forms, and pop this trophy. Next up is Titan Paradox, where we can use summons, so we just spam Peter Pan, and I actually missed the score goal here, but more on that in a moment. Finishing that cup pops this trophy and unlocks our final cup, the Hades Paradox Cup. Similar to the Hades Cup in Kingdom Hearts 1, this cup is 50 rounds long. In this version, however, the rules will change to one of the other cups every 10 rounds. I just spam Peter Pan when I'm able to, and I pass the 15,000 score goal really early on. There's really not anything of note in this cup until much later on. At round 49, there is a gank fight to end all gank fights, a solo fight against 4 bosses at the same time. It's Sora against all the Final Fantasy characters, and while this fight is insanely annoying, it's really good to know Sora can solo all of these people. The best way to get through this is just to spam Reflect, but we play safe because we're almost at the end, and to die here would waste so much time. Then we fight Hades again in an underwhelming final round and pop the trophy for finishing that cup, and then the minigame Maniac trophy for having played every minigame. This is when I realized I didn't hit the score goal on Titan Paradox, so I head back in to handle that. To ensure my score goal is hit, I get down to critical health and then summon Stitch, who will just spam the ukulele attack, which doesn't damage the enemies but makes a bunch of orbs. Then we proceed through the cup as normal after hitting 10k score. Next, we enter into the Titan Cup and just use all my summons limits to finish out the limit section of the journal, popping this trophy. It's at this point that I realized that my synthesis notes section is not as close to being completed, despite the internet telling me I only had to synth 1 of everything, and I'm very close to that. We apparently have to make sure that we have 30 of each shard, 25 of each stone, and 20 of each gem to finish this list off, so it looks like we're back out to the grind before finishing the data fights. I'm not going to show much of this grind, as it's literally just me googling where to farm them and then going and doing it. Massively easy and boring. Takes me about an hour to clean all that up, and then I go ahead and synth the ultimate weapon as we head into the data fights. We need 3 Lost Illusion items to finish synthing, and the data fights that drop those are the ones from the Absent Silhouettes, so we start there. These fights are actually really tough and usually entertaining, although many of them can be beaten using the same strat we did for the Lingering Will. I actually just learned that was the case while eating lunch during a break from recording, so the more you know. We start off with Larxene, where I learned that high jump makes the Fenrir strat very annoying, but eventually we catch her and loop her to death. Moving on to Axel, after we catch him in the air, we can easily loop him and ba-boom. Vexen's up next, and I couldn't really loop him as well, so we just final form Faraga him and then finish him off pretty normally, to be honest. Then Marluxia, who is very loopable, easy peasy, and Roxas, who's also loopable, but it took me a few tries to get it to stick. Syx takes a bit longer, as you actually have to knock him out of his berserk phase to loop him, and I kept screwing it up, but eventually he goes down. Now I head back to synth the last few remaining items using the 3 Lost Illusions we got, and pop the trophy for finishing the synth section of Jiminy's journal. Heading back to wrap up the data fights, we take on Luxord, and I tried really hard to learn the minigame timing, but just can't figure it out. So we just fight him normally and nail the DM timing on the first try, so he wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Then we do Zexion, and he's nearly as easy as the version from earlier. Lexaeus is next, and his fight's pretty similar to his Absent Silhouette version as well. We just abuse Reflect. Then we do Zaldin, where if you learn the timing to guard and jump spam, he's mega easy. Zigbar takes a bunch of damage from Final Form, so we use that a lot and finish him off with Limit Form because my party members were dead at the time. Demyx is up next, and the hardest part of this fight is actually the water clones that he spams, but we just use Wisdom Form Faraga and Final Form Faraga to beat this one on the first try for probably the first time in my life. Our last obstacle is Xemnas, and this one can be a pain because you have to fight both phases, and if you die on one, you have to do them both again. Ultimately though, this only took me a couple attempts, and we finally do the Laser Light Show again and finish him off. This pops our trophy for finishing the data fights, and we open this chest to get our final proof, giving us a shiny gold crown. Opening the journal up pops the trophy for finishing the missions tab. And then I assumed at this point that I was done, but I actually needed to open the treasure tab for our final trophy to pop for getting all chests in the game. This platinum took me 21 hours, 56 minutes, and 56 seconds to finish. A long ways off from the 90 hours that PSNProfiles told me it would. Now, I'm not ignorant to the fact that I knew this game a lot better than I thought I did. Without the dialogue penalty, this barely took me longer than Kingdom Hearts 1, which is actually really odd. With the dialogue penalty, we would have to add on 13 hours, 9 minutes, and 37 seconds. That brings our total time for this game to 35 hours, 6 minutes, and 33 seconds. And our total time remaining for the series from 405 hours, 44 minutes, and 33 seconds to 370 hours and 38 minutes flat. We have now earned 152 trophies out of our total of 317, not including the platinums. I adored being back in Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't platinum this game nearly as often as Kingdom Hearts 1, so coming back and it going so smoothly was such a blast. This is one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite game of all time, and I'm glad we played it on Steam, so I'm forced to replay it again in the future with a capture card on PlayStation. Next week, we wrap up our time with the Elder Scrolls by ranking the games and the series as a whole on a tier list. We will also be spinning the wheel to see what series will be replacing it, so stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, slap that like button and consider subscribing. We platinum a game a week on this channel, and who knows? The odds of your favorite series getting chosen next week are the same as anyone else's, so you might as well stick around. See you next week. Bye-bye! I'm trying to become the #1 trophy hunter in the world by completing one series at a time chosen by a wheel. We've got 4 games left in the Kingdom Hearts series, and this one is most certainly our Act 2, our climax, our toughest battle, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. PSNProfiles estimates that this will take us 150 hours to complete, and while I hope and pray that's a gross overestimation, I can actually see that happening. So far, the series has taken us just under 100 hours for 3 different games, including dialogue penalties, a concept that I'm likely abandoning in the future, but I'll keep it around for the rest of this series. We have 45 trophies out of our 165 remaining in the series to hunt, not including the Platinum, which we will be earning now that we're playing on PlayStation. I want to keep it consistent though, and since the other games in the series were played on Steam, we aren't counting the Platinums in our total count. We have a huge grind ahead of us, so let's get rolling on Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Our steps are going to be pretty specific for this Platinum. First, we'll be doing a Terra critical any percent, then a Ventus critical any percent, then an Aqua critical any percent. And then a full reset starting on Beginner, where we're going to be going for 100% until the final episode unlocks. Then we'll be doing the final episode on critical, and then the secret episode on critical. Then we'll return to finish Terra's 100%, and then do Ventus Beginner 100%, and finally Aqua Beginner 100% to finish the run. Without further ado, here we go. In the tutorial level, we play as Ventus, a guy who looks especially like another character we played as in Kingdom Hearts 2. We go spar with our other friends Terra and Aqua, and this concludes the tutorial. We'll be playing the characters in the given order, Terra, Ventus, then Aqua. I'm sure it's set up that way because of story, but for me personally, it's the most ideal gameplay-wise as well because Aqua is the best character to play as. We start our adventure as Terra, fighting some bubbles for our Mark of Mastery exam to become a Keyblade Master. As per usual, I pretty much have no idea what's going on in the story in these games, but I'll certainly try my best. Our 2 masters are Master Ericus and Master Xehanort, and Master Xehanort is looking mighty villainous if you ask me. Once we defeat the bubbles, Aqua gets promoted but Terra does not. Feels bad, man. And then we're all sent to go help worlds that are under attack by Unversed, which are essentially this game's Heartless. We also pop our first trophy for finishing the prologue. Our first 3 worlds in this game are based on the OG Disney princesses. Terra first goes to Enchanted Dominion, where we fight our first wave of Unversed and are introduced to D-Links. Since you mostly don't have party members in this game, D-Links are like summons, sort of, that you unlock throughout the game. Oh, also, in case you haven't noticed, the combat's different in this game. We have a command deck instead of a command menu, and these things called shot locks that are super broken. Because of the command menu, this game is very easy to break, as you'll see later. The Ventus D-Link is especially important for Terra, because once you get an upgrade for it, it makes Terra attack at an actually acceptable speed. Terra is the worst character for a lot of reasons, but his speed and animations in general being so slow makes him feel so awful to play as. Also, due to the nature of the limitations of the PSP, which this game was originally on, all the worlds are insanely short. We head up to see Sleeping Beauty herself, and in a cutscene we take her light with the Keyblade because Maleficent told us to. I told you, Terra's the worst. Then we fight this guy, and pro tip, turn on EXP 0 for every boss fight on critical, because you don't gain experience from bosses anyway, and it boosts your stats and most importantly makes finishers do a lot of damage. The fights on critical are still tough though, and honestly, I just keep bashing my head against them like they're a Dark Souls boss until I get lucky and move forward. The next world is Castle of Dreams, based on Cinderella. Super short world here, we just escort Cinderella up to the ballroom and then fight this instrument guy who's insanely easy. Next up is Dwarf Woodlands. Hey, I don't know if you can call them that anymore. We start in the chamber of the Evil Queen and then go outside and fight a bunch of Unversed in this field, and this feels like as good a time as any to talk about command melding. Each command in the command deck you can level and then meld together to make other commands, and you also get abilities when you do this based on this little item thing. It's kind of similar to Synthesis in a way. It's also important we snag a few abilities as early as possible to make critical a bit easier. First is EXP Walker, which makes you gain EXP for every step you take, which is really useful given we're basically just blitzing the story here, so there won't be much grinding. Then the second chance and once more abilities, which make you always have 1 HP left over after a big hit or a big combo, which is useful for obvious reasons. And finally Leaf Bracer, where we can heal through attacks. I managed to get all of these throughout the run, but I didn't make note of where, so just know that I do get them eventually. Anyway, back to the task at hand, we go fight the magic mirror guy, and he's super easy. Like I said, he's super easy. So we head off to the mysterious tower next where something story related happens, but who cares because we pop a trophy. Then we head to the Badlands for another cutscene where I think Xehanort tries to convince Terra to use the darkness he's conflicted with. Classic villain. Our next stop is a familiar world, Radiant Garden. In this world, we farm out an abounding crystal, which we use melding a magnet and arrow command together to get EXP Walker. If you don't care about the health of your controller, you can spam back and forth on your stick, which will make EXP Walker work really quickly. We fight this giant Heartless alongside Ventus and Aqua before making our way to this underground area where we fight a guy named Brag. Yes, it's that guy from Kingdom Hearts 2, but before he was a nobody. With him down, we head off to the second set of worlds, starting with good old Disney Town. There is an actual world here, but to complete the story, you only have to do one minigame as each character. For Terra, we play Mario Kart and head out for now. Olympus Coliseum is next, where we do the generic Fall for Hades trap stuff and then fight in a tournament and eventually fight a soldier named Zack. Zack is quite possibly my favorite character in all of Final Fantasy, and if you haven't played his game, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, you definitely should. Anyway, we beat the snot out of him twice and exit the world. Next up is Deep Space, the world based on Lilo and Stitch. But for some reason, they didn't use Hawaii. They chose the most boring areas of the movie. We make our way through the world and fight this little yellow guy that isn't Stitch and head out. Neverland is our last Disney world, and I honestly love this world in this game. I feel like in comparison to Kingdom Hearts 1, they made this a lot more appealing, as you actually get to explore Neverland, not just a ship. We won't be exploring much though until later on in the playthrough. Our boss fight here is Petapan.
Petyapan, Peterpan, Pesach.
But we don't actually kill him, we just fight him. And then we fight a bunch of Unversed in this area, which is really easy, and exit the world with a beautiful trophy pop. Then we head to Destiny Islands for a cutscene where Terra does the bequeathing. No, not that, you nasty ass. Ceremony to little 5-year-old Riku, which is essentially Terra telling the Keyblade, hey, this kid is cool, you should go to him when the time comes. We then go and fight Master Ericus for reasons that I'll explain more about in the Ventus playthrough. Afterwards, we head to the final world, the Keyblade Graveyard. There is a ton of history surrounding this world, but it all takes place in a mobile game, so honestly, if you're interested in this story, go watch this video from this guy who explains everything super well. It's 6 hours long, but it's great. You really should check it out. Anyway, we meet up with our friends in a bunch of cutscenes and end up on top of this mountain fighting Vanitas and Xehanort. Vanitas is a boy made of pure darkness, and minion to Xehanort, who obviously was a bad guy like, come on guys. We take down Vanitas and then fight Xehanort on his own. This fight isn't too hard, but at one point he does this grab choke slam move I've never seen before and insta-kills me. After the fight, Xehanort somehow possesses Terra's body and Terra's lingering will presses on to fight him. Lingering will. Sound familiar? Yeah, he's the secret boss in Kingdom Hearts 2. We eventually beat him, but Terra loses the battle for his heart and Xehanort now has his body. The big theme here, and honestly for the rest of the series, is 13 darknesses versus 7 lights to forge a mega keyblade called the Keyblade, spelled with the Greek letter Chi, just to confuse the shit out of everyone. This mega keyblade, I think, can summon Kingdom Hearts or something, I don't know. Xehanort needed a vessel to be able to survive long enough to see this happen, and so Terra was a perfect young buck for the job. After finishing, we pop a trophy and move on to the next character, Ventus. Ventus basically just follows Terra and Aqua around for his whole story, trying to figure out what's going on. Also, he's super fast in comparison to Terra, but he's also insanely weak, which sucks for a while. We make our way through the same worlds again, but the bosses are different, and the order is different in the first half. First is Dwarf Woodlands, where we find the dwarves that are hiding and then fight this giant Unversed guy. Then Castle of Dreams, where we find some stuff for Cinderella's dress, then fight Lucifer the cat, literally named after Satan. In Enchanted Dominion, we go into Maleficent's castle and find Aurora's light that Terra took, and then fight Maleficent herself, which is pretty insane. Sora had to wait until he was way stronger to do that. We then end up in the Badlands fighting Vanitas, who Ventus only knows as the Mysterious Boy. And once he destroys us, who else would show up other than ya boy, Mickey Mouse? He's not a king here yet, he's just a Keyblade master in training under Yensid. Pretty cool that they gave him like a real backstory. Anyway, we take him down and pop a trophy and move on to Radiant Garden chasing after Mickey. Radiant Garden is pretty similar to Terra's visit, except Ventus meets a bunch of the human versions of Organization 13 members, like Dylan, Zaldan, Alias, Lexaeus, Isa, Cyax, and Lee, Axel. We also meet Evan, who is Vexen's human form, and is still holding hands with a child. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? After fighting the giant Unversed with Aqua and Terra again, we chase after Terra and get a fire keyblade from Lee and then move on to the back half of Worlds. Ventus's minigame in Disney Town is Ice Cream Beat. This is a rhythm game that a lot of people have problems with. I promise I'm not meaning to sound arrogant, but I never have issues with it. We also pop a trophy here for finishing Disney Town with Ventus. Then we head to Olympus Coliseum and fight a bunch of Unversed alongside young Hercules and Zack. Then we beat Herc in a pot-smashing minigame, and then fight a bunch of Unversed in this big area. Easy peasy. In Deep Space, we make our way through the world and make sure we grab this chest specifically because it has a Xehanort report in it. The reports in this game are our ticket to unlocking the final episode. There are certain requirements to unlock the final and secret episodes, but they're easiest to unlock on critical, which we need to beat them on anyway because of trophies. The requirement for the final episode is just to collect all Xehanort's reports. All of Terra's are earned doing things, but we didn't do 1, which we'll snag on our beginner run, and then Ventus has 2 in chests and Aqua has 1 in a chest. We then save Stitch from this giant squiggly unversed and exit the world. In Neverland, we pretty generically fight Captain Hook, and honestly it's weird to me that none of these characters would have mentioned to Sora that they've met someone with a Keyblade in the past, but whatever, I guess. After we finish up the Disney worlds with Ventus, we have a brief intermission at the Mysterious Tower, which pops a trophy. And then we head to the land of departure for what was the Ericus fight with Terra, but here we find out why. Ericus becomes aware of Xehanort's plan to have Vanitas and Ventus fight, which will forge the Keyblade, the big ultimate one. So Ericus thinks that if he just kills Ven, then the prophecy will never come true, which is ironic because it's a very similar plot to Star Wars Episode 9, and Mark Hamill also voices Ericus, but I digress. Luckily, Terra saves the day, and we head off to the Keyblade graveyard for the final fights, but first we grab this chest at the beginning of the world with a Xehanort report. For Ventus, we fight Vanitas twice. The first time is pretty standard, and then the second time he's... Sora?
What is happening?
There is a reason for this, but it's so strange that I feel like I'll actually butcher the explanation. After this fight, Ventus needs a place for his heart to sleep, and far, far away, a little 5-year-old Sora feels that pain and allows him to rest inside his heart. So I'm pretty sure that Vanitas looks like Sora because of the connection Ventus has to Sora's heart, and just looks like a Vanitas-aged Sora. This is also why Roxas looked like Ventus, because when Sora became a Heartless in Kingdom Hearts 1, his heart split in 2, and Ventus' heart was still resting in there, so Roxas took the appearance of Ventus. Or, the devs just wanted to reuse Sora and Ventus character models. Anyway, we have an epic duel, and Ventus is now out of commission for a long time. Then we roll the credits and pop the trophy for finishing Ventus' story. Now we play as Aqua. Aqua is my favorite character in this game, but I definitely did struggle a bit early on because she felt very weak compared to what I remembered. Aqua does become a Keyblade Master after the Bubbles fight, and spends her whole journey trying to figure out Xehanort's plan and spying on Terra, basically. Her first world is Castle of Dreams, where we fight the big pumpkin thing again, and I die a lot here. Then we move on to Dwarf Woodlands, where we fight the Magic Mirror again, and Enchanted Dominion, where we fight Dragon Maleficent, who literally one-shots me like a million times, so the only way I was able to beat her was to hide back here, buy her leg, and keep attacking it. With her down, we move straight onto Radiant Garden, where we make our way through business as usual, making sure we snag an Abounding Crystal and EXP Walker. After that, in a cutscene, we run into a young Kairi, where she hides behind Aqua and touches the end of her Keyblade, which accidentally bequeaths Kairi, so that's how Kairi is able to wield a Keyblade. We go fight the big Unversed again as Aqua, and then snag this chest in Merlin's house with a Xehanort report. Then we head to the town square to fight Vanitas. For some reason, this version of Vanitas is magnetable, and once I figured that out, I literally just stunlocked him to death. We exit that world and pop a trophy, moving on to the second set of worlds. In Disney Town, we play Fruit Ball, which in my opinion is worse than Ice Cream Beat because of the time it takes for a match, but it's still not the worst minigame. Not even close. After Disney Town is Olympus again, where we fight the tournament and Zack and leave. We also fight Hades and Ice Titan here, and I don't know how I didn't realize that until I was editing this video, but somehow I completely forgot about that in the script. So we also fight Hades and Ice Titan here, which was a pretty cool fight. Deep Space, we work for this alien lady, clearing Unversed off the ship, and then fight Gantu with Stitch, which is an insanely easy fight. I had forgotten to turn on EXP 0 for this, so I was a little nervous, but he's literally so easy. Neverland is next, where we actually don't fight anyone from Peter Pan, we just fight Vanitas again, but this time I abused the Surge commands instead of Magnet because he figured out my strategy and was unmagnetable this time. Beating him warps us over to Destiny Islands, where Aqua is going to bequeath a young Sora, but sees Terra doing it for Riku and doesn't want them to be driven apart by it like her and her friends were. So, Sora was never meant to have a Keyblade. He got it because Riku gave up his heart to darkness so easily the Keyblade just chose the next closest option, which was our boy. We pop a trophy and head into the final fights for Aqua. Aqua fights Braig first because he's here for some reason, and then we fight Vanitas, but this time Vanitas looks like Ventus. I think this is like their merged form because he has the ultimate Keyblade for this fight, so I would assume that this fight's taking place while Ventus is fighting Vanitas inside his heart. This is a cool fight because we get to be with the mouse again, and we take him down, and since Terra is possessed by Xehanort and Ventus is in a coma, she's now alone. Big sad. After the credits, we pop a trophy, and who's ready to do it all again on beginner?
I am dead inside.
To hit 100% on each character, we have to do a million things. All minigames, all treasures, all stickers, all reports, all Unversed, all missions, all Mirage Arena ranks, all commands, all D-Link finishers, all shot locks used, and all secret bosses. As well as probably a lot more that I don't remember when I'm making this list. We start with Terra once again, and everything is business as usual aside from the fact that I'm now going out of my way for chests just to reduce cleanup later. The first major change comes after Disney Town, where we begin my least favorite part of this game, the command board.
No. Wait. Wait.
The command board is essentially Monopoly, and if you don't know how to play Monopoly, then I can't help you. We have to play a minimum of 27 command boards during our 3 100% playthroughs, 21 of which take place in the Mirage Arena. The other, at least 6, are because there are 3 commands and a D-Link that are only obtainable on the command board, and you can only get them not in the Mirage Arena. On our first board, we need to get Ragnarok, which is a shot lock command. I get pretty lucky here and get it on my first try, thanks to a Keyblade glider movement. Also, even when you land on the commands and get them, the other characters in the match can steal them from you. Fuck this game mode, man. I get extra lucky and unlock the Pete D-Link as well in my first match, which is done by anyone landing on these purple blocks, and it will either do the map-specific special thing or spawn Captain Justice or Captain Dark, aka Pete. Moving on to the Royal board, we need the Meteor Shower command and the Focus Block command. I rolled to Meteor Shower on my very first roll, which was insanely lucky, but that wasn't the best thing that happened in this game. I had accepted the fact that I was going to have to replay the board to get Focus Block because Cinderella had already bought it. But then something insane happened. I happened to get a panel capture, and it happened to steal Focus Block from her. That's insane. I feel like now it's going to take hours to get this done on the other characters. Once we're done with the command board for now, we head back into Disney Town to win each course on Rumble Racing, which pops this trophy. You only have to do this outside of the Mirage Arena on one character. Then we head over and play Fruit Ball, which I honestly thought I was cooking in the first 2 games, but the game against Pete is just chaos for no reason. There's no strategy or anything, just mash buttons and pray. Once you beat him, we pop this trophy. The next big change comes after we finish Neverland. At this point, I decided I was going to set myself up for success for the remainder of the 100% run. We spend a while farming out every ability, while being sure to max out Attack Haste, Magic Haste, and Thunder Boost. This will just help a lot later. We also take the time to set up 3 different decks that have specific uses. One's for bossing, one for arena runs, and one for miscellaneous things like unversed missions and command farming later. Now we can go finish out the rest of the story to have our clear data for beginner mode. Once Terra Xehanort is down again, we reload our clear data and take off to do a collectibles pass on each world. Starting with Enchanted Dominion, we snag the stickers we need and go to fight the special unversed here. Similar to Kingdom Hearts 2, these unversed are like little mini-games and we need 3 stars on all of them for journal entries. None of them are particularly difficult, aside from maybe one, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking through them. We move through the worlds collecting everything and also making sure that we fight the ice cream pot things that drop ingredients for ice cream in Disney Town. I'm 30 years old. Once we make it to Disney Town for our collectibles pass, we go ahead and tackle Ice Cream Beat. I don't think I can show much of this due to copyright with the music, but I beat all of these on my first try, so that was a great feeling. We pop a trophy for clearing all the songs with a fantastic rating, and then take a well-deserved break using the break time command we got from inside the pinball area here. That also pops a trophy. After we finish getting all the stickers in Neverland, we go ahead and place them all on the poster thing to unlock the Rhythm Mixer command style. We use that command style for the last Unversed mission, which is the only one I would say is a bit harder, but still not too bad. Finishing this one pops a trophy, and then it's time for everyone's favorite necessary segment of this game, the Mirage Arena. The Mirage Arena is unfortunately more than just this game's Horde mode. If that was all it was, I honestly would really enjoy it. But alas, we have to redo all 5 tracks in Rumble Racing to start off. The game makes you do 5 laps because the arena mission is for finishing 5 laps in under a certain period of time. I don't know if you have to win or not. I did each time, so I couldn't test it. Then the dreaded grind of the command boards begins. This is when I absolutely had to stick some second monitor content on and just shut my brain off. You have to play and win on the first 6 boards to unlock the secret board, and I only ever had to restart one game where Peter Pan was clapping my cheeks as he's known to do. After what felt like forever, we pop the trophy for winning on each board and can finally move on to the battle arenas. We breeze through the first few and pop the Pawn of the Arena trophy for clearing all 1-star arenas. Then, in the Sinister Sentinel mission, we obtain the last Xehanort report, which pops this trophy and also unlocks the final episode for us to tackle. So let's take a break from Terra and go do that. The final episode basically consists of a bunch of cutscenes and a boss fight. In the cutscenes, Aqua hides Ventus' comatose body in the Land of Departure, but casts a spell that turns into a familiar location, Castle Oblivion. So, Ventus was up there the whole time we were in there as Sora, and you just never find him, I guess. Then, we find Terranort, who obviously tries to kill us. The first phase is actually harder than the second somehow. In the second phase, he summons the Guardian guy that Ansem had in the first game, but we toast him. Terranort, I guess, ends up winning in the cutscenes following and becomes an apprentice of Ansem the Wise. Aqua falls to darkness, and the cutscene here is honestly one of the best in the series, so if you want to click away to go watch it, I get it. It's called Blank Points. Aqua continues to wander until finding Ansem the Wise. Ansem the Wise didn't end up in the Realm of Darkness until the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, so Aqua wanders around down here for over 10 years by herself. Ansem tells Aqua about a boy who is the only hope to save the worlds. She asks if it's Terra or Ventus. Ansem says his name is... And then it plays a montage of all the people who are waiting on Sora to help them, and then answers the question of the bottle from the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. showing us a present-day Sora saying he has to leave Destiny Islands again to go help all these people. Not just Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, but Roxas, Xion, Axel, and more. This cutscene really drives home how special Sora is as a character, and honestly makes me emotional, so let's move on. We pop a trophy and immediately unlock the secret episode, so we head into that. Wandering the Realm of Darkness, Aqua comes up against Heartless, which is actually pretty cool given only Unversted exists up until this point canonically. We battle our way through and eventually face off against Red Eyes. No, that's literally his name. A bit on the nose, right? Since Aqua has basically infinite iframes with her cartwheel, we just roll around spamming the Ignite command on him and he goes down. We pop the trophy for finishing the secret episode and then Critical Competitor immediately after. Crit is now completely done for this playthrough, so let's head back up to finish Terra. The first thing we're going to do is fight Vanitas' Lingering Spirit. I have no idea how to fight this guy legitimately, because you're going to strike rate him through this rock and he goes down, popping a trophy. Then we head back to the arena and finish all the 2-star arena missions popping this trophy. Then the 3-star arena mission shortly after, and then during the Keepers of the Arena mission, we pop the DJ trophy for going into Rhythm Mixer 20 times. After clearing that mission, we pop this trophy. Then we head into a pretty unique fight, where we fight inside Monstro and then get spit out and have to battle the whale himself. Once we knock him out with barrels and attack his eyes a bunch, he goes down and we pop a trophy for all 4-star arena missions. During the Villain's Vendetta mission, we pop this trophy for using a shot lock 50 times, but die shortly after, so that was not ideal. Once we finally clear the Villain's Vendetta mission, we pop a trophy, and also obtain the Ultima weapon, which is honestly not that great in this game. Our next big boss is the Armor of Master Ericus. He kicks my ass to high heaven for too long. So, I head out to make a bunch of Kiraga commands, then we just run around and shot lock him to death. This is not efficient by any means, but it got the job done and popped a trophy for us. I then do the same thing to No Heart, which I think is intended to be Xehanort's human form? I'm not sure. It's the paraplegic guy from the Xemnas phase in Kingdom Hearts 2, except that he can walk this time. I honestly didn't know the shot locks were built like this, so he goes down literally so fast it was insane. That pops a trophy as well. We then move on to D-Link farming in Castle of Dreams. I've always used this hallway to do this. I have no idea if it's the best way to do it or not. Our goal here is to just get a hit with each finisher. You have to upgrade them by getting these little star things to get 2 finishers per D-Link. Once we're done with that, we make sure we're caught up on shot lock hits as well, and then go turn in all of our ice cream ingredients now that we've beaten the pots in each world at least once. This pops the Patisserie trophy. Now all we have left is one secret boss and finishing up commands, which will in turn finish the report section of the journal. I obviously use a guide and a checklist for this, and once we have everything we need, we have one finish command left. Unfortunately, it's Twisted Hours 2, which requires 8,000 steps to unlock. I originally thought the other finish commands would be worse to farm, but I was definitely wrong. So I sat here for like 10 minutes just flicking my stick back and forth as fast as I could, and that only got me under halfway to the goal. So I said, fuck it. Let's go fight Mysterious Figure. Mysterious Figure is said to be the hardest boss in the entire series by some. I don't really understand why. He has such a small health pool, and you can just surge him to death. I think I got him here on like my 2nd or 3rd try. That pops a trophy, and also we hit trophy level 50, big W. Now we just have to farm out that last finish command. And there we have it, Adventurer Terra and the Warrior Terra. It should be illegal that both of these trophies are bronze. I also want to point out that I chose to tackle this while my wife was away visiting her mom with our daughter. So I did everything from starting Terra's beginner playthrough in one day. But don't worry, it's not like I'm going to spend the next 2 days doing it for the other characters, right? When it comes to doing these other characters, I'm kind of at a loss as far as what to show footage-wise. You literally do exactly the same things again. Twice. In the Ventus playthrough, we popped a trophy for using his break time during my Mirage Arena runs because I forgot to do it before that. Then we popped the Warrior Ventus earlier because I feel like I properly prioritized finish commands this time around. And then I thought Mysterious Figure would be my last character entry, but it turns out the fucking command board fucked me again. You apparently have to land on the special tile on the honeypot board in order to get the character entry for Rabbit. So after literally just save scumming this until that happens, we popped the Ventus Adventurer trophy and now we have one playthrough to go. On day 3 of 3 before my wife comes home, I do it all again with Aqua. There are 2 trophies that are different here. The first is that we pop a trophy for using Pete's D-Link 10 times. The second is for collecting all of the stickers in the game between the 3 characters. Now we just have to finish cleanup by using break time with Aqua and farming everything else out for the final time. We popped the Warrior Aqua at the beginning of the Mysterious Figure fight, and then I don't know what the deal was here, but I was really struggling with this final fight. Maybe it's because it was almost 1 AM and I had been playing Birth by Sleep for over 30 hours in 3 days, but I just couldn't find my footing here. In fact, there was one moment where he had clones out and I literally just put my controller down. Eventually, we do take him down and pop our Adventurer Aqua trophy. That leads us to our beautiful and well-earned Platinum trophy. It took me 41 hours, 40 minutes, and 59 seconds to Platinum Birth by Sleep. Even if you add in the 6 hours, 34 minutes, and 23 seconds for cutscenes, it brings us to a total of 48 minutes, 15 hours, and 22 seconds. Less than a third of the estimated time for PSN Profiles. Our total time remaining for the series was 370 hours, 38 minutes flat. So after this game, we now have 322 hours, 22 minutes, and 38 seconds remaining to finish the last 3 games. Not Melody of Memory, stop asking. We unlocked 45 trophies, not including the Platinum, which means we now have 197 of our 317 trophies unlocked. This Platinum moved us up 630,269 places globally and 201,381 places in the US, putting us now at 3,653,961st place globally and 1,180,760th place for the US. I hope, if nothing else, this video makes this Platinum seem more obtainable to people. 150 hours seems daunting, and it clearly doesn't have to be that crazy. This is one of those games where I swore I would never Platinum it again, and although it was a grindy hellscape, I'm glad I did. This is definitely by far the fastest I've ever done this game, and I never would have even thought to time it if it weren't for this channel. I honestly think you don't have to do anything horribly unreasonable in this game for the Platinum. The issue lies in the fact that you have to do it all 3 times. I know that there are games out there that are longer than this, but when there's different content and a good variety, it can seem way less grindy than a game like this. Something I find hilarious is that if you look at my PSN Profiles account for this game, it looks like it took me just over an hour longer than Spider-Man. It does not account for the fact that I played Spider-Man a reasonable amount of time each day and played Birth by Sleep until my eyes were literally in pain, then slept and did it all again, twice. I don't think it's easy to convey how upsetting it is that I would go to bed for 2 days in a row thinking to myself, I have to do all of that again tomorrow. It was miserable. If you enjoyed my misery, slap that like button and consider subscribing. We Platinum a game a week on this channel, alternating between 2 game series. When one is done, we spin the wheel to see what's next. Next week, our Spider-Man journey continues with Miles Morales, a welcome break from the lengthy Platinums we've had on this channel so far. I've got nothing else to say other than I am glad to be done with this game, so I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. This week, we continue the Kingdom Hearts series with Dream Drop Distance. We've already used up 147 hours, 15 minutes, and 22 seconds of our 470-hour time allowance. PSN Profile says this should take us 50 hours, and seeing as I've only platinumed this game once before, that could very well be possible. We've got 120 trophies left to earn in this series, and 54 of them are in this game, not including the Platinum, just because the first few games of this we played on Steam, so just trying to keep it consistent. To earn the Platinum in this game, we'll need the traditional 100% on the reports for the game. This will include all treasure chests, all special portals, all commands earned, all Dream Eaters crafted, all secret bosses, and other stuff that I'm not too sure about, to be honest, because I don't know this game that well. With that in mind, let's get started. A lot of this game's story takes place in flashbacks, more or less explaining why we're here. Since I've literally only played this game twice in my life, I can't exactly fill in the gaps story-wise while skipping cutscenes. No, that doesn't mean that I'm going to watch the cutscenes, it just means that I have to study a bit while writing this. Our story starts off with us fighting as a seemingly younger Sora fighting Big Mommy Ursula on a raft with Riku. This is a dream, but it is not a drop or a distance. After we defeat Ursula, we pop our first trophy for beginning our Mark of Mastery exams. There are these things that pop up in this game called flashbacks. We need to watch all of them for a trophy, which I figured figure out in a bit, but you can just skip them and get credit for it anyway. The point of this game is to give Sora and Riku their Mark of Mastery exam to prepare for Xehanort's inevitable return. I would tell you that if you're confused about the story to go watch my other videos, but to be honest, you'd probably be just as confused, so if you're confused about the story and want story stuff, go somewhere else and come back. If you're here for a dopamine-filled trophy extravaganza while a 30-year-old stumbles through a story made for children, then you're in the right place. The Mark of Mastery exam for Sora and Riku is to visit sleeping worlds and unlock their keyholes while battling these things called Dream Eaters, which are essentially heartless. Kinda wild that Terra, Aqua, and Ventus just had to fight bubbles, but times were different back then. For each world we have to complete a dive, which is similar to gummy ship missions in other games. You just dive and gather stuff or fight stuff until you eventually clear it and unlock the world. Our first world is Traverse Town, and immediately I'm reminded that the music in this game is actually incredible. This is a far superior version of the Traverse Town theme. It's so good. We're also introduced to flow motion, which is this game's movement style, which allows us to jump off walls and stuff. We meet characters from The World Ends With You, I guess as a replacement for Final Fantasy characters to some extent, and assist them with something called the game. I should also mention here that given my lack of knowledge of the game, I'm attempting to follow a speedrun platinum guide by Zantetsuken913. The guide is 6 years old, but surely it's faster than me just blindly trying to figure it out. The problem with trying to follow a platinum speedrun guide is that a lot of the verbiage used seems to assume some baseline knowledge of the game, and you would think that given how the other games went, I would have that. I do not. Soon we create our first Dream Eater, the Meow Wow. Dream Eaters are good and bad in this game. Bad ones are called Nightmares, go figure, and good ones serve as our party members since we're solo queuing the Mark of Mastery exam. Also, you take care of Dream Eaters with toys and snacks and pets because this was a 3DS game originally, so if it wasn't part Nintendogs, what's even the point? As we enter the third district, we're introduced to the drop system, which is our method of switching characters. We now do our first dive as Riku and earn the Ace Diver trophy for hitting A rank on a dive. I'm terrible at the dive, so I was shocked it got this so early to be honest. So yes, you play as both Sora and Riku in this game, but a lot of the stuff is shared, including Dream Eaters and commands, so they really improved on the concept from Birth by Sleep. The command deck is still broken though, as you will see shortly. Riku meets Joshua from The World Ends With You and gets to explore some of the same areas of Traverse Town but also some new ones. During this world, Sora seems overly eager and confident while Riku is figuring out slowly that something seems to be working in the shadows. We also get a quick appearance from a young looking Xehanort, so that's gotta be something, right? Anyway, as we make a Komori bat with Riku, we drop back to Sora and begin making our way through the world. In the post office area, which is a really cool area but also confusing as fuck, we run into our first special portal. There are 6 of these in each world for each character, and at this point that's about all I know. The mechanics surrounding these break my brain, because this one was just here, so remember that and I'll explain the concept in a bit. Each of these portals have a special side objective that you want to try to complete to reduce grind later, but it's not required. Afterwards, we gather a bunch of chests and sell a bunch of stuff to get the materials to make a Thomas Sheep Dream Eater and a bunch of water barrel items. This pops the easy as 1, 2, 3 trophy for having a party of 3 Dream Eaters. Now in order to start to break the game, we're going to use about 20 water barrels with our new party, which gives them link points to unlock abilities. While doing this, we pop the Happy Campers trophy for making all of our Dream Eaters very happy. Gaming. We then go through the ability trees for each of our Dream Eaters to unlock various abilities that'll be useful later, or at least I'm assuming so because this guide says it. We then proceed to the boss for Sora, which is called Hako Monkey. This is where we can show off how absolutely broken and unfair the balloon command is. Yes, you heard me. Balloon. Balloon Ra is technically better, but just watch how fast this guy goes down. This clears Traverse Town for Sora, and we proceed onto the world map. The world map is pretty underwhelming in this game, just a bunch of orbs, but whatever. We're now going to go to some of the worlds out of order with the sole goal of just getting chests for some important stuff, so I'm not going to touch on the stories for these worlds just yet. During our dive into Prankster's Paradise, we pop the Deaf Diver trophy for doing a dive without taking damage. We gather what we need from this area, and since the guide says to get specific chests, and I don't know what chests those are, I just basically grab all of them that I can find. We're too weak to fight stuff here, so I'm literally just flying around grabbing chests. The next world we snag stuff from is the grid. The dive here is a boss and also my first death because I'm an idiot and couldn't figure out how to damage it. Once we crack the code, we land and fly around getting chests until our drop meter runs out. You have a certain amount of time with each character before it forces you to switch, but you can just drop right back so it really doesn't matter that much. I don't do that though, we instead start moving through Traverse Town as Riku. This is where I learned about how special portals work. I'm just going to explain it while the footage plays at 1,000 times speed. So like I said, each world has 6 special portals. It would make sense that you would clear special portal 1, then 2, then 3, etc. Right? Well, fuck you for thinking that, because instead the special portals spawn due to some arbitrary forecast thing happening in the background. You can only see when you go to drop to the other character. So, You have to drop back and forth between Sora and Riku to get the special portal to spawn that you need, and as long as you clear them, there's less and less of a chance you get the 1 or 2 that you're missing. Why do we have to have systems like this? Just let me play the game, man. Oh, and you can only clear 3 before you complete the world. This probably took me the better part of an hour to figure out, which is embarrassing. Luckily, you need 100 drops for a trophy, and this system will probably make it so I don't even have to farm that. Anyway, we do eventually clear the 3 special portals for Riku and Traverse Town by dropping back and forth a bunch, and then fight the boss here, which is just a different version of Hako Monkey. After we beat him, we pop a trophy for clearing this world with both characters and move on to Le Cite de Cloche, the world based on the Hunchback of Notre Dame. In this first area, we pop a trophy for linking 6 or more points with a single faith line, and I guess I forgot to talk about reality shifts. When this pink thing appears on enemies or objects in the world, you press triangle and circle together to execute a reality shift, which is basically just like a special move. Wow, so crazy. Anyway. Hunchback is one of the best Disney movies ever, and we essentially just play out the movie's plot here. Judge Frollo is our villain here, who keeps Quasimodo locked up in the cathedral of, well, Notre Dame.
You are deformed. I am deformed. And you are ugly.
In Riku's version of this world, Frollo calls out the darkness inside him and calls him a demon. That's basically it. We make our way through the world, and I still try to grind out the special portals here to save time later. I am not going to show each one of these, as they're all insanely easy once you actually get them to spawn. We make our way across the bridge with the boss for this world shooting crap at us, and then eventually make our way back to Notre Dame where we fight him ourselves. We just take advantage of his latex allergy and move on to the next world. For Riku, the grid is next, based on Tron Legacy. Yes, that's a real movie, I know you probably haven't seen it. The sequel came out recently starring Jared Leto, so you can probably guess how that went. We spawn into the light cycle minigame that goes on for way too long. Riku makes his way through the world, and Kevin, who's played by Jeff Bridges, created the villain named Clue, but not like the board game because it's cooler without the E. This is where Riku is seemingly starting to figure out that these worlds may not be a reflection of his own heart, but potentially Sora's. We redo the light cycle game before leaving here to get 1,000 points and pop this trophy. Young Xehanort also pops back up here and tries to get under Riku's skin, but he's way too cool, so Riku just presses on. The boss fight here is the Commantus, which we literally just sit underneath him and spam balloon commands and then reality shift him to death. This is going to become a common theme for basically every boss, which may be disappointing to some, and to be honest, me. Usually I enjoy being overpowered, but Balloon Runner just makes this game stupidly easy. Well, just don't use it. Sure, I won't use the most powerful tool in my toolkit for what is essentially a speedrun. The next world is Prankster's Paradise with Riku, and I love this so much. This world is essentially just Monstro, and the music just made me feel so nostalgic for some reason. Being able to flow motion around the areas here just felt so cool, like we really moved forward since the first game. As we make our way through this world, we stop to make sure and buy something from the Moogle shops, which is not the first time I've done this, but it's something I forgot to mention. There's a trophy for buying something from each of the Moogle shops in the game, so even if it's just a potion, buy something from them. The story here is basically just guiding Pinocchio through the whale, trying to help him and Geppetto escape. We stop and use a reality shift on this barrel to gather up 6 enemies and pop this trophy. The boss fight here is the Clawbuster, and there's nothing special about him because Balloonera exists. Riku starts to figure out that the nightmares are specifically targeting Sora's heart for some reason. Before we head back over to Sora, we're going to now go to a world with a forecast that has this Moogle symbol, meaning shops will be selling things they aren't always selling. This allows us to buy 4 more Ballooneras, and now we're set for the rest of the game. Heading back over to Sora, we leave the grid for now despite the guide saying I need to do something else here first, which I'll regret later, and head over to see Quasimodo and friends. Sora's story is pretty basic here, as he just helps protect the city from nightmares. While in this world, I'm trying to swap back and forth to get Sora's special portals. I'm also working on Riku's 4, 5, and 6 portals in his world since they can spawn now that he's finished them. I eventually get one in the grid, and completing it pops the Brave Challengers trophy for completing all 7 Link Portal bonus objectives. I assume this means 7 types of objectives. Back to Sora for now. Young Xehanort approaches Sora while he's here, telling him that he's too trusting and that will make him useful. Sora just kinda brushes it off. We finish the world fighting Wargoyle again, but this time with Balloonera spam, and as we're exiting the world I heard a voice and immediately couldn't skip this cutscene. This scene shows Axel and the other members of Organization 13 in Ansem's lab in Radiant Garden all waking up. The thing is that this is their human selves waking up. Axel, now his human self, Lee, questions where the other organization members are and ends up heading to Yensid's tower to ask to be trained as a Keyblade Master. Yensid agrees. We pop the trophy for clearing Le Cite de Cloche with both characters and head back to the grid for the stuff we missed earlier. Still being underpowered, we can't really fight stuff here, so we make our way to the area the guide mentioned, and while trying to find the final 2 chests, we go up to this elevator and end up in the boss fight for the world, so I guess we need a quick story synopsis before we beat him. Sora apparently shows up and tries to help Sam and Cora, played by Olivia Wilde. Young Xehanort pushes Sora's buttons, telling him your heart is too strong, that's why it needs to be broken. Sora starts to crack a bit here under the pressure. Then we end up fighting this guy named Rinzler, and honestly I don't know who this is, but if I remember correctly, Rinzler is actually Tron? Anyway, we pop the trophy for clearing the grid with both characters and then go back and get the stuff I was after before by hacking this thing and being transported over to an area with 2 chests. Now we can make our way through Prankster's Paradise with Sora. We'll have to return to the grid later for special portals because we are currently not strong enough for them yet. Earlier, we were flying around getting chests, so I couldn't talk about how much I love this world. I'm a massive theme park fan, so being able to cruise around one in the game is always a blast. Sora chases a discolored Pinocchio around this carnival and into Monstro. Inside Monstro, we run into our first encounter with Lord Kiyu, this frog guy with a bunch of health. I'm almost certain that we aren't supposed to be doing this yet, but oh well, Balloonra for the win. We fight that crab guy again and reality shift into bubbling Monstro, and this sequence is cool in theory, but takes so long for no reason. We pop a trophy for finishing Prankster's Paradise with both characters, and then head back to Traverse Town for the second visit. I have no idea what happens here story-wise. With Sora, we show up and do a boss rush from this bird guy that keeps summoning them, and then with Riku, we literally just run to do some cutscenes, and I don't know, man. We pop a trophy for clearing those revisits, and then take a little while to finish farming out all 6 special portals in these first 4 worlds with both characters. Doing this in each world pops a trophy. So we first finish in Hunchback's world for this trophy, followed by the grid for this trophy, then Prankster's Paradise for this trophy, and finally, Traverse Town popping the final one for the time being. We now move on to the country of Musketeers with Riku. The story of this world basically has us rescuing Minnie from the Beagle Boys. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are the 3 Musketeers, and honestly I don't know how this fits into the overall story of King Mickey, but I would imagine this was before anything Keyblade related. We cruise our way through and fight Holy Moly, the oddest name for a boss ever, and then exit the world. With Sora, we escort this cart by fighting a T-Rex, and then shortly after pop a trophy for using all of the Wonder comics at least once, which is the reality shift for this world. We just chase the Beagle Boys up this tower and fight them and then drop to Riku. Next up for Riku is Symphony of Sorcery, one of the most creative worlds in the series in my opinion. This world is based on Disney's Fantasia, which is all about Sorcerer Mickey and his antics. The Keyblade hits here make musical notes instead of whacking sounds, which is a nice touch as well. We make our way through the music books until we eventually reach Lord Kiyu again and beat him. The boss fight for this world is our boy Chernabog. I remember being so hyped for this when I first fought this because if you remember from the first Kingdom Hearts video, Chernabog is my favorite villain, and his music slaps so hard. Unfortunately, the fight is essentially a dive minigame. With him defeated, we exit the world and head back to Sora to finish up the country of Musketeers, fighting the Beagle Boys again and Pete to exit the world. Following this is the cutscene where Axel is asking to be trained as a Keyblade wielder. Then we pop the trophy for clearing that world with both characters. As we start Symphony of Sorcery with Sora, we pop the trophy for viewing all flashbacks, which is earlier than I was expecting this for sure. Making our way through this world, we're dropping back and forth to get special portals to spawn, and we pop the trophy for dropping 100 times total. The boss for this world is that wizard bird that sent us the boss rush earlier in Traverse Town, except it's another gimmick boss where we just skate and then smack him to be put in the arena with him and then take him down with our Balloonras. Naturally, following the pattern, beating this world pops the trophy for finishing with both characters, and now we head back to finish special portals for both of these worlds.
Future editing me here once again. At this point I feel like it wouldn't be a video without one of these creepy voice segments. I forgot to mention the trophies for the secret portals, so first we pop the Country of Musketeers one, and then shortly after we wrap up the Symphony of Sorcery popping this one.
On top of that, we pop the trophy for getting all the dream pieces, which I'm not 100% sure what this is, but I think it's for getting one of each different type of the items we use to make Dream Eaters. Before we head to the final world, we're going to head into this game's minigame time sink, Flick Rush. Flick Rush is a 3v3 card-based game mode with Dream Eaters. We're going to use a strategy I found on the interwebs to make this as brain dead as possible. First, we gather materials to make 3 of these Dream Eaters, as they will be our Flick Rush squad. During the tutorial, we line up 3 7s for a duel to pop a trophy. Too bad it wasn't 6 7s, am I right, fellow youths? Then we go through each round spamming this move called Tummy Bounce, which makes this insanely easy. It's still annoyingly time consuming, but at least it's not very hard. Along the way, we pop the trophy for getting 3,000 medals, followed by hitting Flick Rush level 20 after getting a star rank on every single round. We then farm out medals a bit more to buy a bunch of stuff out of the medal shop. The pain is over. For now. We now enter the world that never was with Sora, and something story-related happens that forces me to drop back over to Riku. Starting the same world with Riku gives me some time to talk about how disappointing it is that this was the final world. Every Kingdom Hearts game up to this point has had an original final world specific to that game, so the fact that they recycled the one from Kingdom Hearts 2 and made the music worse is a bit disheartening. Especially when a lot of the worlds in this game are actually really great, even the ones that are repeated from other games. Anyway, that's enough of my rant. We pop a trophy using the reality shift in this world and eventually drop back to Sora. It would appear that Riku is in the castle area and Sora is on the street level. Cool, I guess. We make our way up to specific save points with each character and on our way experience some story stuff. Sora sees visions of Roxas, Xion, and Ventus, all people who are connected to his heart. Then Xehanort reveals that Sora is intended to be the 13th vessel. Xehanort, the old man from Birth by Sleep, was reborn when Xemnas and Ansem were defeated. He now intends to recreate the Keyblade War and forge the ultimate Keyblade by forcing 7 lights to clash with 13 darknesses. Organization 13 was the original plan, but now it'll just be 13 vessels for Xehanort himself, and Sora is about to become one of them. All of this forces Sora into a deep sleep. Meanwhile, Riku actually dives into Sora's dream now to try to save him.
It's a dream. 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 It's a
We reach the final save points for each character and head off to level farm a bit before continuing on. I would imagine this exists in the guide because the speedrunners skip fights and stuff along the way, but I've actually been playing as I usually do, basically never skipping fights. Thus, leveling to around 47 to 48 doesn't take too long. Then we head off to finish out the special portals in the world that never was. There are only 3 per character here, but we need 5 brilliant fantasies and 4 wild fantasies which drop from Riku and Sora's special portals here respectively. So they lowered the amount of portals, but still made it necessary to grind a bunch, like why? During this grind we pop the Level Masters trophy for hitting a cumulative level of 100, which is a super fair way of having a level specific trophy, so I'm not mad about it. Shortly after we finish all the special portals and pop that trophy. Then we grind out those items I just mentioned and head to the metal shop to buy a recipe I forgot, which pops the trophy for having all the recipes. We are now going to make one of each Dream Eater. First, we have to ensure we have enough materials. Whatever we're missing, we can just buy. Making the Dream Eaters takes forever, because there's an unskippable cutscene that you have to sit and watch every single time you make one. It's so annoying. Now we're going to unlock all of this Dream Eater's abilities for the strongest Link trophy. There are 3 mini-games you can play with your Dream Eaters, and we need to reach certain scores in each of them for a trophy. We need 200 points in this for a trophy, 400 points in the water barrel game for this trophy, and 800 points in the candy goggles minigame for this trophy. Then we use one of each toy to pop this trophy. Then we just spam a bunch of candy goggles to get a bunch of Link points on very specific Dream Eaters and max out the affinity of the sheep guy popping this trophy. Then we unlock a bunch of abilities using those Link points, and at this point the guide says the command collector trophy should have popped for me, and it did not. So I figured if anything I'm missing chests, so let's go clean that up. During my cleanup I ran into an issue on the grid where the guide I was using told me chests that I was seeing as already opened weren't. In a sheer panic, I took to the internet and nothing was being helpful. I spent way too long assuming the guide was correct when instead the chests I was missing were just in a different area. F***ing stupid, stupid, stupid. Then we finish off all the hack commands with prize box and pop the Super Hacker trophy, followed by allowing our Dream Eaters to die so we can revive them 3 times for this trophy. The Maestro trophy in Symphony of Sorcery is for defeating 4 enemies or more with 1 reality shift, and the guide says this was the hardest one, but I snag it first try. Easy peasy. Then we go for the Bullseye trophy, which to me was the hardest reality shift trophy, but we snag it nonetheless. After clearing Sora's treasures, we now have every chest in the game, and the command collector trophy did not pop, and I could not figure out for the life of me which one I was missing. This game has no in-game tracker, which is actually so brain dead it blows my mind. Then rereading the guide, I realized that there was a point where it told me to sell the Meteor command, and I never did that. The Meteor command is earned by getting an A rank on the last dive to the world that never was. Since I'm awful at the dive sections, I did not get that on my first try. I drop over to Riku because his is easier, and upon doing so, pop the Droplet Magnet trophy for having 300 drop points on a drop. After redoing the dive sequence and getting Meteor, we do successfully unlock the Item Collector trophy and the Command Collector trophy. Thank God my game wasn't bugged, I was freaking out. Then before we head into the final fights, we snag one more trophy for creating a Dream Eater with a star rank. There's nothing crazy about this, you can just Google a recipe that works like I did. Here's the trophy. Back to the story, Riku finds the unconscious Sora floating in the abyss and confirms that Xehanort has been orchestrating Sora's journey the whole time. Riku's first fight is with this anti-black coat guy, and I have no idea who this is. Apparently the internet says it's just a strong nightmare. Then we get to fight Ansem, which is pretty sweet, but if we had Balloonra in Kingdom Hearts 1, we would have cruised through him, just like in this version. With him down, we fight another version of him, except he's hiding inside this big old darkness meatball, which is not immune to latex, so he's down very quickly. After that fight, we appear in front of Memory's skyscraper and our last Moogle shop. Making a purchase here pops the Loyal Customer trophy. As we try to proceed, we're automatically dropped over to Sora, who fights Xemnas and, well, Balloonra. Sora gets captured by Xehanort, and his husk is sitting inside the throne room we always saw the organization sitting in. As Sora's heart is being lost to darkness, a light appears and saves him, and it's Ventus, since his heart was sleeping inside Sora. Sweet callback, bro. Back to Riku, we fight young Xehanort, who has been traveling through time to gather up the 13 vessels for his future self, the Old Man version. Are you following? Don't worry, I'm not either. This fight is pretty unique, but not because I use anything but Balloonra. It's unique because he has the ability to rewind time and make you fight him over and over again. I was big dumb when I first played this game on 3DS when it came out and literally could not figure out how to finish this fight for the longest time. You have to reality shift the clock and then melt down its health bar for him to be fully defeated. We pop a trophy for finishing the final world with both characters, and this is when I realized I skipped one of my favorite cutscenes in the series. Essentially, Mickey comes to save Sora in the throne room and gets his cheeks clapped.
He made it!
You! Axel!
Right when all hope seems lost, Lee shows up and saves everyone, and it's just an awesome moment for my boy.
He then shows everyone that he can summon a Keyblade now, which is cool. We aren't quite done yet though, as Sora is still unconscious, so Riku goes back into Sora's heart and we dive through a bunch of clones for some reason and end up fighting the Armored Ventus Nightmare, who we get to do this cool flashy duel with to end the fight. We then learn that Riku passed the Mark of Mastery exam, but Sora did not, because, well, obviously. Sora heads off to an unknown location, which should have been a tease for Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's actually just to go play with Dream Eater, so clearly he's taking this fat L super seriously. We pop the Storyteller trophy and then watch the credits. Take a look at how many times I use a balloon. Yikes. Saving and reloading our clear data, we now make our way through the secret portals for each world. These are just boss refights with stronger versions. Sora fights his 6 bosses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we go fight the secret boss for this game, Julius. Weirdly enough, I don't think this is a required fight for Platinum, but you get the ultimate weapon for beating him, so I didn't want to skip him. He is just balloon-rable as well though, so not overly interesting. We do all the same again with Riku's 5 bosses now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and upon completing the last one, we pop the Seeker of Secrets trophy, followed by the Star Combatant trophy, and the Record Keeper trophy. Now we only have 1 trophy left, and unfortunately we have to start the game over on Proud Mode for it. Luckily, we don't have to do a whole lot though. Essentially, for the Ability Ace trophy, we have to have all abilities available and maxed out. But Mr. Trophy Guy, I thought you already did that. Yes, Timmy, but unfortunately the developers decided to include EXP0 in the requirements, and we don't have that unless we're playing on Proud or Critical. So basically, we just get to the point where we can sell a bunch of stuff and follow a very specific path from the speedrun guide, and after a bit we max out every ability and turn on EXP0 to pop the Ability Ace trophy. That concludes our journey with a brand new beautiful Platinum for our collection. We also hit Trophy Tier 2 with that and passed level 100, which is dope. This game was a doozy for me. It took me 21 hours, 18 minutes, and 9 seconds to platinum this game. But we're keeping the dialogue penalty around for now, which adds 5 hours, 2 minutes, and 13 seconds, meaning our actual final time was 26 hours, 20 minutes, and 22 seconds, bringing our total time taken for this series to 173 hours, 35 minutes, and 44 seconds. We earned 54 trophies this week, meaning we now only have 66 left for the entire series. We're so close I can taste it. This platinum brought me up 305,745 places globally and 97,466 places in the US, bringing us to 2,970,313th place globally and 962,927th place in the US. Top 1 million in the US, baby, let's go! I don't know how to feel about this one if I'm being honest. At first, I was really excited for this game. The fact that there's a Kingdom Hearts game out there that I can't confidently tell you what I need for the platinum is extremely rare. However, this game suffers from similar things that Birth by Sleep did. First off, the command deck is absolutely busted. The fact that you'd be putting yourself at a severe disadvantage by not just spamming Balloon Roar the whole game is super lame. And while I definitely felt bored doing that, the whole point is for us to go fast, so I didn't really have a choice. Secondly, switching between 2 characters while it was handled better in this game sucks. It was neat exploring different areas with each, but the fact that there were 9 chests for the grid with Riku that were hidden in an area I never had to go to at all during his story was so stupid. Another thing is that this is likely the only time that I'll follow a guide that is designed for a speedrun on a game I don't know anything about. This was entirely self-inflicted. There were so many things that confused the absolute crap out of me with this run due to me not doing the research I've been doing for the other games. I do think the worlds and the story of this game, or at least what I could grasp of it, were really solid. Flow motion is a cool addition, but also a bit broken, and some of the areas are a bit poorly designed just around the fact that you could just flow motion around. The Dream Eaters / Nintendog / Pokemon aspect of the game felt completely unnecessary, and basically everything surrounding the Dream Eaters is kind of what ended up burning me out in this game. If this was just a simpler game with regular party members and minigames, I think I would have been much more into it. I don't mean to rant though, we can get more into this when we do the ranked video. If you enjoyed this week's video, slap that like button and subscribe. I've been cooking up some ideas to add for subscriber goals, and they will add to my misery and hopefully your enjoyment. Next week we wrap up the Spider-Man series with Spider-Man 2, so I'll see you then. Goodbye! This week we're tackling Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, A Fragmentary Passage. We've used 173 hours, 35 minutes, and 44 seconds for this series so far and earned 251 trophies. This week we've got a really short one with PSNProfiles estimating a 10-hour completion, and honestly I questioned even counting this one, but it's not a rhythm game and technically it's its own thing, so we're doing it. We've got 15 trophies to hunt, and there is no platinum in this game, so I'm sorry for the clickbait in the thumbnail, but we'll be getting all the trophies nonetheless. Despite there being only 15 trophies, there are 51 objectives in the game that we have to clear all of, and originally I intended on tracking those as well, but a bunch of them popped for me without showing up on screen, so oh well, 15 trophies it is. We'll be tackling this game with a few playthroughs. First, just speedrunning on beginner as per usual, getting a few objectives done along the way, then cleaning up all objectives aside from a few, then a second playthrough on beginner for some specific boss-related objectives, then a third and final playthrough on critical mode. Yes, this is all possible in hopefully less than 10 hours. Let's get started. I've only played this once in my life, so it's going to feel a bit odd to me for sure. It's essentially a tech demo for Kingdom Hearts 3, but they improved on a lot by the time KH3 released. This game is centered around Aqua's journey in the Realm of Darkness, not too dissimilar from the secret episode of Birth by Sleep. The events of this game, if you can call it that, cover up until the ending of Kingdom Hearts 1. We start off with a basic tutorial area fighting some generic Heartless, and here I thought I was clever going for an objective to kill 5 Heartless with counters, but I don't have that objective unlocked yet.
High five!
After clearing the tutorial, we pop our first trophy and then make our way into Castletown. The worlds we play in this game are the first 3 of Birth by Sleep, and honestly that's a really cool idea. Even the music is different versions of the music from those worlds, so sweet detail, developers. Our goal is to make our way around this one area hitting these gears to rebuild the bridge to exit the world. During this, we pop another trophy for getting an excellent rating on a shot lock. Super easy. While in this world, I also work towards hitting 20 different street lamps to finish out one of the many world-specific objectives. There are 2 others here we can knock out as well. One for reaching the top of this area, and then one for looking at a meteor shower as it goes by. Trying to get this one, it looks like I'm just trying to get an upskirt shot on Aqua, but I swear to God I was not. As we continue clearing gears, we unlock Grand Magic, which is a gigantic magic finisher for each of the magic types, another really awesome idea. After casting the one for Fire, Blizzard, and Thunder, we pop the Magical Finale trophy. Several of the objectives are based on defeating a certain number of specific enemy types, like this one for Shadows. After clearing the 5 gears, we head to exit the world and are faced with our first boss fight with this giant Heartless Tower. Take notes because the devs love this almost as much as Bethesda loves their spinny pillar puzzles. One thing about this game in Kingdom Hearts 3 is that magic is insanely overpowered, so we spam Faraga as often as we can for a lot of the boss fights. Once he's down for now, we pop a trophy and move on to the second world, which is called the World Within and is themed after Dwarf Woodlands. This world gives you various puzzles by going through these mirrors, usually ending in fighting some Heartless. As we make our way out of some of them, we end up fighting a dark version of Aqua. There are 3 of these fights, and the first 2 she barely has any health at all. As we make our way through the mirror platform puzzle, we pop the Dark Explorer trophy, which is literally a trophy for walking around a lot in any area, so guess who got lost in here for a bit. The last Phantom Aqua fight is a bit harder but nothing crazy, but we do pop the Queen of the Rink objective during it, which is a great one to get out of the way. After finishing that fight, we pop the False Temptations trophy and make our way into the penultimate world, which is themed after Enchanted Dominion. There are a couple objectives we keep an eye out for as we make our way through this area. The first one we pop is for defeating 5 Heartless without touching the ground. This is really easy when you just spam Thundaga. Then while fighting Darkseid, we pop the Ice Queen trophy for using the Spellbinder finisher 5 times. Another objective specific to this area is called Prickly Problem for destroying the regular vines with attacks and the red ones with fire. You don't have to do all of them, but I have no idea how many it is. There are 3 weaker Darkseid enemies in the forest, and one of them is hidden back here, and beating all of them gives us this objective. As we exit the world, we have to fight a different Darkseid, this one literally called Darkseid Holding the Orb. There's nothing crazy different about this guy yet, but we'll be back for a challenge later on. Beating him pops the Real or Illusion trophy, and before we leave the area, we double back to find this blue flower, the last of 3 we need for the Fairy Bouquet objective. Upon entering the last area, yes, we're 4 minutes into the video and this is the last area, we're joined by Mickey to fight another version of the Demon Tower and then start to make our way up through the Realm of Darkness, which I have to say looks beautiful compared to its Birth by Sleep counterpart. While in this area, we need to make sure to link with Mickey 5 times for an objective, and then make our way to the final boss fight, which is of course another giant Heartless Tower, this time called Demon Tide. Since you won't see any of it because I skipped it all, let me explain what happens in the ending here. Following this fight, Mickey and Aqua make their way through the door that was in the secret place on Destiny Islands. This somehow brings them to the area just inside of where Sora is at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, where he's closing the door after beating Ansem. Aqua and Mickey are separated and Mickey loses his clothes, which is for continuity since at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 when he pops up he's shirtless like a Giga Chad. So this is why Aqua is never found, as she's essentially lost in the Realm of Darkness here after being separated from Mickey, so she's still down there to this day, which will surely be important in later entries. We pop the trophy for finishing the story, and this one for making it through the game without dying. After loading our save back, we go ahead and equip something in each wardrobe slot to pop the Fashionista trophy in an objective or 2. Now we make our way through the worlds again to clear some objectives that aren't available until you finish the story, including some treasure chests. There are also these lingering memory things that we have to find one of in each area for an objective. As we make our way through the worlds, we pop the Heartless Hunter trophy for defeating 500 Heartless and continue our treasure hunt. All of the post-game chests come with these weird items that make the tiles in the center of the world within glow, and once we obtain all of them, a new mirror pops up in the center. There's an objective for hitting level 80, and my god, I wish I had done that before attempting this mirror, but alas, hindsight 2020. This mirror is a boss rush where you fight one Demon Tower, several waves of Heartless, a Darkseid enemy, and a super beefed up, overpowered Psycho Phantom Aqua that kicked my ass for a million years. Mind you, I don't know this fight at all, so I think I've gotten a bit too comfortable with broken strategies like Thunder Surge and Balloon Spam in the other games. I actually had to learn this fight to a degree to figure out which attacks are punishable and which ones aren't, which was frustrating, but actually good practice for some of the fights in Kingdom Hearts 3, because some of them are brutal. Just as an example of some of the stuff you have to learn, here's the whole successful attempt.
Enough!
Finishing that fight gives us an objective completion, but no trophy, which is a big fat L. Now at this point I realized that I was missing a couple treasures from my first pass, so I snagged those and popped the Treasure Hunter trophy. The next thing we have to do, for some godforsaken reason, is level up to level 80. There was not a lot of solid information on best ways to do this online since this game is barely a game, so I instead just figured out a route that seemed to work and did that for a while until eventually hitting level 80. Now we have to start a new playthrough on beginner to get a specific objective for each boss fight in the game. The first is for finishing the first tower boss with the finisher from Spellweaver. If you feel like you aren't going to successfully do that, just hit L1 and R1 and start at the same time to soft reset the game and hit continue to load back to that fight and try again. If you finish the fight without getting this objective, you're fucked unless you make a safety save before. The second boss specific objective is to finish the Phantom Aqua fight without getting hit. This only takes me a handful of tries, which I was pretty surprised about. Here's the successful attempt. The third objective is to beat Darkseid holding the orb without getting hit. This can get a bit weird seeing as there's a lot happening in this fight, so I just opted to abuse Grand Magic and shot locks with items. And the last one we need for this playthrough is to beat this Demon Tower by linking with Mickey. As long as the link actually pops up for you, this really isn't too difficult. It does a ton of damage. Now with those objectives out of the way, the only one we have left is to beat the final boss on critical mode, which will pop our last 2 trophies. The boss fights were definitely a bit tougher on crit for me, but honestly it's way easier than I was expecting. Phantom Aqua I beat on my first try, which was shocking. The last fight took some finagling. Once I learned how to do the first phase well, I just spammed shot locks with the Elixir and Mega Elixir and he goes down. That pops the All Objectives trophy, and then once we skip through the ending again, we pop the trophy for finishing the game on Proud or Critical, finishing this title with no Platinum Pop, which was definitely underwhelming. You think that's underwhelming though, just wait for the leaderboard recap. This game took me 5 hours, 16 minutes, and 43 seconds to hunt all the trophies with 59 minutes and 20 seconds of cutscene skips. That brings us to 6 hours, 16 minutes, and 3 seconds for the shortest game in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. That brings our total time to 179 hours, 51 minutes, and 47 seconds for the series. With these 15 trophies earned, we now have 266 of our 317 total trophies for the Kingdom Hearts series with one game remaining, Kingdom Hearts 3. These 15 trophies with no platinum moved us up a measly 53,611 ranks globally and 17,361 ranks in the US, putting us at 2,660,280th place globally and 863,934th place in the US. I actually had a lot of fun with this game. It's a pretty great introduction into what the gameplay feels like in Kingdom Hearts 3, and while it's very short and probably could have just been in KH3, I remember when it came out and being a starved Kingdom Hearts fan, and I was so happy to play this game for the first time. Adding in weird objectives like doing boss fights hitless is also unique to this game as well. So while that can be a barrier to entry for some, I think it adds a level of challenge that's pretty enjoyable. The only thing that I would change about this is just to make all the objectives trophies, so that it's just a dopamine fest, and give it a platinum so it doesn't make trophy lists look super weird. Next week we rank the Spider-Man series and spin the wheel to replace it. The ranked videos are not scripted, so if you want to hear me babble on about these games, you should check it out and let me know if you agree with any of my takes. See you next week. Bye-bye. This guy broke me. This is the hardest fight in the entire series, and nothing you say will convince me otherwise. I couldn't do it, y'all. I couldn't. This week we wrap up the Kingdom Hearts series with Kingdom Hearts 3, until my viewers bully me into doing Melody of Memory at some point. We've used 179 hours, 51 minutes, and 47 seconds on this series so far, a long ways off our original 470-hour time allowance. We have 51 trophies remaining in this game, not including the Platinum, to reach our grand total of 317. PSNProfiles says this should take us 90 hours to clear the base game and DLC trophies. Do you think this will take us half of the total time we've used so far? Me either. I want to start off by emphasizing how important this game is to me. I waited a very long time for this to come out. I used to talk about it so much that my wife literally made a joke about it in our wedding vows, and it wasn't even out yet. So this game, despite its flaws, holds a very dear part of my heart, as playing it for the first time more or less felt like the end of my childhood. Okay, well, we're getting way too deep, let's get into it. We're going to be tackling this in 2 playthroughs. One on beginner for 100% completion as usual, as well as the DLC and all secret bosses. Then a second playthrough for the Risk Taker trophy using pro codes to earn score from boss fights, but I'll explain more on that later. First, as always, we make our beginning choices, and for this run, since magic is so overpowered, we'll be choosing Wisdom and Mystic for our first 2. Then if you have the DLC installed, you are offered a third choice to not include the premium menu, to include easy codes, or to include pro codes. We choose to include easy codes, but not to actually use them, as some of them negate trophies, but because we have to unlock things called merits for this trophy. We spawn into this beautiful sky water reflection world area and fight some Heartless, and then a dark side that's all reflecty instead of just straight darkness. Defeating him grants us the fire and water spells, and we pop our first trophy for beginning our adventure. Our main cast in this game is setting off on a bunch of different objectives. Sora has lost his strength after the events of Dream Drop Distance, so he seeks to recover the power of waking. Riku and Mickey set off to search for Aqua in the Realm of Darkness. Then Kairi and Lee go off to have their training arc as they are fresh Keyblade wielders. The idea is still 7 lights versus 13 darknesses. Xehanort is trying to assemble the new and improved Organization 13, and also as a backup plan is looking into a new generation of 7 Princesses of Heart, just in case the 7 Keyblade wielders can't get their shit together. Sora and the gang takes off to the first world, which is Olympus, to visit our old pal Hercules. Naturally, Hades is making another attempt to destroy everything, so we make our way through the town of Thebes, saving citizens, defeating Heartless, and collecting chests along the way. For some reason, when I was recording this, I was so happy. It's like I was experiencing it for the first time again. Something about playing these games so close together really made me appreciate how this game feels. A lot of people complain about the floatiness of the combat, but I honestly think it feels fine. Anyway, as we make our way through Thebes, Maleficent and Pete are off chasing a third plot line searching for an item called the Black Box. The Black Box is said to hold important knowledge, and she's just seeking power and doesn't care at all about this whole Xehanort vs. Sora debacle. Also while we're here, Xigbar appears and taunts Sora, saying they'll make him a vessel if he doesn't get stronger. During a forced fight, we unlock the ability to use situation commands, which are the arrow things that turn into finishers from 0.2, but we also get form changes as well. Form changes are specific to the Keyblade that you have equipped and do a wide variety of things. You can have 3 different Keyblades equipped at the same time in this game to allow for 3 different form changes. Also, you can upgrade your Keyblades, making any Keyblade in the game viable, as opposed to just swapping it every time you get a new one. This was an awesome change and allows for so much player freedom. W-move developers. In the next fight, we unlock a very broken combat aspect called Attraction Flow. Upon defeating an enemy for the first time with it, we pop a trophy. Now you guys should know at this point that I'm a massive Disney theme parks fan, and when this game first came out, I really enjoyed enjoyed Attraction Flow, but honestly, they are insanely overpowered and broken, and it kinda makes it boring to use them. For now, we only have the ship from Pirates of the Caribbean. We'll need to experience all of them at least once for journal entries. Hercules has been demonstrating to Sora that strength is found by protecting the people you care about, not raw power. Something I thought Sora was pretty aware of by now, but I guess they have to have a reason for us being so weak. I mean, endgame Sora in Kingdom Hearts 2 was like literally insanely powerful. We fight our way up Mount Olympus, and there's this cool mechanic where you defeat these water heartless and then the river gets lower, which unveils a treasure chest. As you make our way up this mountain by literally running up the walls like a baller, we collect some chests and then are attacked by the Rock Titan. This next sequence was the first gameplay of Kingdom Hearts 3 I ever got to experience at a pop-up store in Disney Springs, so it's pretty iconic to me. We run up the walls to him, and when we get to him, I was shook by a detail I never noticed before. When you get to the feet to damage him, the music switches to the boss fight music from Kingdom Hearts 1. I know this music was used for more than the Rock Titan in Kingdom Hearts 1, but this was still a neat Easter egg. We finished the Rock Titan by riding Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, man what a sentence, and then make our way into Olympus proper. The music switches here as well to be the classic battle theme and the world theme. So far, this game has just felt like someone hugging me with the warmest blanket ever. We unlock shot locks after that first fight, which are great in this game but not nearly as good as previous games, but it's honestly a good thing. I would actually like to have to do some combat to some extent. As we explore this area, I hop on this rail and unlock an easy merit. This is one of the many objectives we need for the All-Rounder trophy, and to be honest, I didn't know that was going to happen here at all. We then dive down here and activate this forge by spinning the Mad Teacups and upgrade Goofy's shield, which was dope. Then we make our way up to the top of Mount Olympus using one of the best mechanics they added to this game called air stepping. With this, you aim the shot lock thing and press square to fly a long distance. This is often used to close the gap between you and an enemy, given the arenas in this game are usually massive. Once we reach the top, we fight the Ice Titan and Magma Titan? Lava Titan? I don't know what he's called. This is awesome because if you recall, Sora could barely handle the Ice Titan in Kingdom Hearts 1, and now he's taking on two at once. Once we take them down, we have a final fight with the Wind Titan where we get to use the air step technique to shoot around the arena and smack him a bunch. With him down, we pop the trophy for clearing the world and gain the Hero's Origin Keyblade. We then pivot over to Riku and Mickey in the Realm of Darkness searching for Aqua. In playing as Riku, we fight the Heartless Tower from 0.2, but Riku is insanely powerful, so he goes down without even breaking a sweat. We unlock the Link command, which is essentially summoning in this game, as well as the Gummy Phone, which serves as our equivalent to Jiminy's Journal. Sora gets a call from Ienzo over in Radiant Garden, who has claimed to now be on their side and plants a seed about Roxas's heart being inside Sora. Now clearly you can see we're in the Gummy Ship, and in this game the Gummy Ship is open world, which is pretty incredible, but also a bit slow if you just intend on hopping between worlds. There are a handful of things we need to do in the Gummy Ship, and you can do it all at the very end of the playthrough if you want. We need to get a bunch of treasures from getting a rank A on Heartless Skirmishes, which are fights that play similar to Kingdom Hearts 2's Gummy missions. We'll have to farm some synth stuff later by destroying asteroids. We need an Orichalcum Plus from the Omega Gummy Boss, and there's a trophy for beating the strongest Gummy Boss as well. I get distracted here for a bit collecting things, so I may try to do some of this grind between each world, but we'll see. Our next stop is another familiar world, Twilight Town. I also forgot to mention the loading screens in this game are insanely cringe. Like, who took this picture? #C? #Sky? It feels like someone who just opened Instagram for the first time was like, we have to put this in our video game immediately. Anyway, we get into a fight right away with nobodies and Heartless, which is cool, and then use the new Link command to link with a Meow Wow, bet you didn't think you'd see that guy again, which pops the trophy. We then end up fighting this Demon Tide thing again from the end of 0.2, and honestly, why did they love this enemy design so much and overuse it constantly? I don't understand. After he's down, we unlock Lucky Emblems and pop a trophy for snapping a picture of our first one. These are just hidden Mickeys in the game and are another type of collectible for us. Oh, and apparently we're in our new outfit. That must have happened in a cutscene. Whoops. Sora reunites with Hainer, Pence, and Omelette, and they all head to the old mansion together where Sora decides he's going to revive Roxas. If you recall, Roxas was created when Sora fucking died, so hopefully there's an alternative. After exiting the mansion and skipped cutscenes, we see Xemnas and Ansem pestering Sora about the notion of bringing back Roxas. This triggers three things that need to happen. First, Ventus's heart needs to be restored, which is still inside Sora. 2, Roxas needs a functional body. And 3, we have to prevent the organization from having said body as a vessel for Xehanort. After we return to town from the mansion, we are introduced to the restaurant, Remy's Bistro, where we can cook stuff with all the ingredients we've gathered so far. We also unlock classic Kingdom games, which are mini-games on our Gummy Phone, but we'll just do those later. Then we pop the trophy for finishing the world and snag the Star Seeker Keyblade as well. There are a number of different recipes in this game with a handful of different mini-games, and we have to get an excellent rating on every single dish for completion. We pop a trophy for getting an excellent rating for our first time, and then make a few other recipes before moving on. Bruh. I do want to mention that there's an easy code that you can turn on that will give you an excellent rating every single time that you cook, and it does not negate the trophy. As we head back out to our Gummy Ship, we're shown an alternate version of the world map, but it's much easier to navigate. After you've been to a world, you can just warp to it, which is great, as there are also other points in the map you can warp to as well. We head to the Gummy customization menu and bring the rebirth of the Donut Ship. I don't think this has any actual in-game usefulness, I just did it for the meme. We make our way over to the next world, and as we approach, we're confronted by a Gummy boss, but my ship has such a high offensive stat that he goes down in literally 15 seconds. Now we land in one of the best worlds in the series for my inner child, Toy Box. This world is based on Toy Story, obviously, and we're shrunk to the size of a toy and fight toy-sized Heartless. It's great. We clear out this initial wave of Heartless after skipping a cutscene where Rex is playing a game called Verum Rex, starring a protagonist named Yozora. With the Heartless out of the way, we run around Andy's room and collect chests and a lucky emblem and then head outside. This game does a great job having very few loading zones for massive areas. We run around outside and get more chests and emblems before heading to Galaxy Toys for our main objective. Upon arrival, we're immediately thrown into a fight inside a Gigas, which is the giant toy robot I'm in, and this game suddenly becomes a first-person shooter. After the extremely long fight, we're given the ability to roam around the area, which is where I guess I'll quickly summarize the story beats for this world. Toy Box is all about the power of hearts being formed by bonds, not biology, and young Xehanort is spotted here testing the ability to construct hearts. Sora gets pestered by one of the Organization 13 members in each of the worlds. He also continues to prod Sora about him having multiple hearts inside of him, and this spooks Sora a bit. The actual world story is pretty bare bones in that we just run around fighting bad toys that have fallen to darkness. There are some really unique chests that are hidden in this world, like this one for winning this game of Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which was pretty cool. This world was the first time I felt like I really wanted more traversal options, and maybe that's due to being spoiled by flow motion and Dream Drop Distance. But I also know that traversal is awesome later in the game, so I could save time by not hunting for chests and stuff now, but that's boring. We stumble upon the mini-boss for this world, which is hands down the creepiest boss in the series in my opinion. Yeah, it's literally like a horror movie possessed doll like Annabelle looking ass. Jesus Christ. With her down, we head over to find Rex in the video game store and get thrown into the Verum Rex game. Game within a game within a game stuff right here. Nomura was definitely Nomuraing. Once we finish it for the story, we do it again for a score of 12 million or higher to pop this trophy, which isn't as bad as it seems, just abuse traps. Then we go into this room and use a Gigas to move a bunch of blocks to form a path up to the final boss. I have to show this chest specifically in the ball pit because the devs were devious for this one. During our quest for building blocks, we pop the Knight trophy for defeating 1,000 enemies, so that's a big W. Once we form the Cactar and climb him, we fight the final boss, which is this really weird out-of-place giant UFO, which was not that interesting of a fight, so he goes down and we pop a trophy for completing the world and snag the favorite Deputy Keyblade, which is one of my favorites in the game. Because of its transformation and usefulness, though. This shit is ugly as hell. Now we gummy on over to the next world, Kingdom of Corona. This world is based on Disney's Tangled, and follows the story so closely that if I were to leave cutscenes in, I would get copywritten. No, I'm serious, that happened to me when I live streamed this the first time I played it back in 2019. It shut down my live stream because it thought I was streaming the movie. That is equally as impressive as it is annoying. Anyway, we start off with a Heartless fight and make our way over to this big tower, and before we approach it, we snap a photo of it for a synthesis photo mission. There's a lot of these, so I figured I would just start knocking them out now. We snag Rapunzel from her tower and head to follow the plot through the forest to go see the lanterns. We also snag a photo of this Chief Puff guy for a photo mission as well. I'm not sure I'll remember to call all of these out, but I'll do my best. On our way through, we run into Marluxia, the final boss from Chain of Memories, although it's probably his human form. I don't know what his name is though. Lorium, apparently? That's horrible, though. I'm sticking with Marluxia. Marluxia is here to evaluate Rapunzel as a Princess of Light candidate. As we platform through, swinging on Rapunzel's hair, we run into this horse mini-boss and summon Wreck-It Ralph, just for the journal entry, or gummy phone entry? No, journal feels better. Then once we make it to the town of Corona, we explore around, and I just have to again call out how beautiful this game is. They really killed it with the towns. There also feels like a fair amount of collectibles in towns versus other areas thus far. I could just be stupid and missing a bunch of chests, but it feels like the forest area here didn't really reward you all that much for exploring. We head up to see the town celebrate the return of their princess just like the movie and dance a bit with the townsfolk until the Night of Lanterns begins. During the fight following the DMCA skip, we take on a bunch of Marluxia-themed nobodies, and then the backdrop here is incredible with all the lanterns floating around and something I never noticed before at all. With the nobodies down, we now have to head back through the forest to rescue Rapunzel from her mom, Mother Gothel. After reaching the tower, we skip a few cutscenes and fight this giant tree Heartless just like the movie. Wow, this is so spot on. There was nothing crazy about this boss other than it feels like it has way too much health, but it still goes down pretty quick, so it's no big deal. Leaving the world, we pop a trophy and earn another Keyblade, and then check in on some other characters, including our boy Evan, as Isa, previously Syx, tries to convince him not to join this new organization, but Evan is obsessed with his replica research, so I'm assuming he does. I'm not sure, I skipped the cutscene. Now we head into our second set of worlds with the new galaxy to fly around and make our way to the next world and fight another super easy gummy boss. With him down, we get distracted for a few minutes, then finally land in Monstropolis. Based on Pixar's Monsters, Inc., Monstropolis takes place just after the film, where somehow Randall is just back and Boo is once again not where we left her after the most dramatic scene in the history of my childhood. We fight on Verst here alongside Heartless because Vanitas is lurking in this world and he attempts to extract Ventus out of Sora because he's got a thing for Ventus, but obviously fails. Oh, and that whole sequence takes place in cutscenes that we didn't watch because the boss fight would have made too much sense, I guess. We make our way through the Scare Factory and then end up in the door sliding minigame, which got me hyped for the coaster coming to Hollywood Studios. We then get trapped in this conveyor belt area where Randall just sits on a PA system and taunts us, which is very irritating. During this sequence of events, we snap a photo of a water core enemy for a synthesis photo mission, and a flame core enemy as well much later on. The factory is on fire, and apparently just beating enemies cures that somehow. We make our way to the boss fight against the Lump of Horror, and while he's not too difficult here, I have PTSD from this guy with pro codes, which you all get to see later on in the video. With him down, we return Boo home again and pop a trophy and obtain another great Keyblade that we'll be adding to our roster. Then we see Aqua sitting alongside Ansem the Wise in the Realm of Darkness, I would imagine after the blank point scene from Birth by Sleep, and she's hopeful someone will come rescue her. Back out in the galaxy, we do some shooties in our gummy ship and fight this glacier boss thing, which gives us a star underneath our level. And I don't know if that was a direct correlation or a result of my level, but who cares. Our next world we head towards is Arendelle, and oh boy do I have a bone to pick with this world. Listen, I used to enjoy Frozen. When it came out, I thought the soundtrack was solid, but Disney has driven this IP into the ground. This is by far the worst world in the game, because Disney micromanaged the shit out of Square Enix and removed anything fun about it at all. Now it's just very boring and empty, and don't even get me started on the fact that they somehow crammed the entire Let It Go sequence into this video game as almost a shot-for-shot remake. Like, how do we continue to milk this song? Anyway, as we make our way through the world, we fight a bunch of Heartless and figure out Larxene is after Elsa as another Princess of Heart. How thrilling. We get trapped in this ice labyrinth by Elsa, I think, and make our way through, and here's a great example of how this world is just completely lacking color and it's just not nice to look at. Once we escape from the ice labyrinth, we continue to climb the mountain to find Elsa and end up fighting the big snow dude from the movie. With him down, we once again continue climbing around, and I believe off-screen Hans takes Elsa. You know the plot of the movie, come on now. We head down the mountain now and do this weird wind minigame to waste time, and then before we go into the final fight, I quickly teleport back up top to snap a photo of the Ice Palace for a synth mission. Now we fight Hans, right? Nope, big ice doggo. This fight, like many of the fights, I'm not going to waste time on until we do the Bro Codes version. So with him down, Larxene tells us that they have all 13 of their vessels ready to go, and Sora's confused by that, so then we pop a trophy and exit the world. At this point, Sora is aware that Ventus is inside his heart as well, and wants to rescue Aqua himself, but can't because he still doesn't have the power of waking. On our way to the next world, we fight this worm gummy boss, and then enter what was probably my favorite world in the game, the Caribbean. That's right, Baby Jack is back, and I can't wait to take on the plot of the Dead Man's Chest with him. Oh wait, no? This happens at the beginning of the third movie. Yeah, so for some reason they just skipped over the second act of the Pirates trilogy and introduced a bunch of characters and concepts really quick to get to the third one. This was an odd decision for sure. Once we catch up to the Black Pearl, we end up outside and this is where the fun begins. This world is fully explorable and you get to sail around on a ship and blast other ships, and it's kind of like an Assassin's Creed 4 Lite, to be honest. Once again, we won't be doing a ton of exploring right now since we get better traversal abilities in a bit. Luxord is the organization member here, by the way. I don't know what his motivation is, to be honest. We end up racing Luxord to Port Royal and board a ship, and when I do, I use my first grand magic for this game, which pops us a trophy. We sail to Port Royal and then lose our ship and get a new one we have to upgrade using these crabs. A classic case of game logic. So we run around gathering a bunch of them and exploring the town area just a hair, and during that we pop a trophy for taking 50 photos. Yes, I took a picture of that flag for no reason, I just didn't know if it was a photo mission or not, leave me alone. Then this is the point where the map opens up to you, but we just beeline it straight for the final fight. They didn't put much beef into this world story-wise since it's intended to be so exploration heavy. We end up fighting a giant fleet of ships and then play out the events from the end of the third Pirates movie with the Kraken and the Whirlpool, which is absolute cinema. Once we destroy the Kraken, we actually get to fight Davy Jones as well, which is an incredible change of pace from all these random giant heartless final bosses we've had so far. This is just really cool to me and you can't take that away. With Davy down, we pop a trophy and snag another Keyblade, then head to the last Disney world for this game, which is still slightly upsetting, San Francisco. This world is based on quite possibly my favorite Disney animated movie, Big Hero 6.
You are to protect him at all costs.
The story of this world takes place after the events of the movie. We fight a bunch of Heartless alongside Baymax, then are introduced to a Flash Tracer course. These are obstacle courses that we have to do later on for a certain score for a trophy, but this one's just story related, so no stress yet. The world is all one loading zone besides Hero's Garage, which is really fun once we have movement, but for now it's a bit of a pain and they wait a long time to put quest markers on stuff, so I get lost a lot. We end up fighting this T-Rex guy who turns into a volcano, and then Saz from Final Fantasy XIII, before eventually fighting the Dark Cubes. These are intended to be Hero's microbots from the movie, I think. We can't damage them yet, so we run around the city saving the other members of the squad and then fight them properly. Something happens and we end up back in Hero's Garage and then back out into the city and fight a Dark Baymax while flying on the regular Baymax. The Dark Baymax is the Baymax from the movie that gets lost at the end of the void. Spoilers. Once he's down, Hero saves him and we pop a trophy and get a Keyblade, and now there's two Baymaxes, motherfuckers. Before we move on from here, we do a bit of cooking and I suck at it, and we pivot over to Riku and Mickey, who make another attempt at saving Aqua. We fight this demon tower again, and then for some reason finishing the fight gives the reaction command Sora, and then Sora appears, so I'd imagine this is Sora saving them. As Sora, we fight Dark Aqua, who feels like an absolute joke compared to the nightmare from the last video, and then with her save, she brings us back to Castle Oblivion and turns it back into the Land of Departure. This was actually really exciting the first time I played this game because it starts to feel like all the dots are connecting. I just wish this game didn't wait until the third act to rapidly draw out all the lines, but oh well, I guess. We head up to where Ventus is sleeping and Vanitas shows up and attacks. Aqua forces Sora out so she can 1v1, which is pretty baller, and we fight Vanitas as Aqua, which was hilariously easy, but somehow we still lost, I guess, and Ventus awakens from Sora reaching out to him and he saves Aqua. Now we've got all 7 Guardians of Light. Also, Sora and Kairi are shown on Destiny Islands, finally sharing a Papu fruit together, which is a really sweet closed circle moment from all the way back in Kingdom Hearts 1, but now it's time to head into the final segments. First we shoot a bunch of rocks in this last gummy area for some important synth stuff. Then we can land at the Keyblade Graveyard and immediately are thrown into this game's attempt at the 1000 Heartless fight, but it's still a lot more than 1000, but still somehow doesn't really feel as cool. This fight ends by us riding Big Thunder Mountain again and just hitting the Heartless with an AC 130 so we can move on. As we unlock the glide ability and catch up to our friends, a cutscene happens where a demon tide shows up and literally obliterates the entire squad, including Sora. We are forced into the final world, which is this beautiful sky-reflecty world from the beginning of the game, and meet a character named Chirithy, who is from the mobile games and is very important but couldn't tell you why despite having watched that 6-hour lore video at least twice. We gather up Sora clones so he can regain himself. This is a really interestingly long segment where we gather clones, and I just learned while writing this that if you gather 333, you get 2 more max HP increases, and I definitely did not do that. Now we go through all the Disney worlds of the game and fight this Lich enemy, which is essentially the Grim Reaper holding all of our friends' hearts hostage. During the Tangled one, we pop the Bishop trophy for defeating 3,000 enemies. Once we defeat him in the last world, we pop the No Matter What trophy for reuniting with Kairi. I think Sora basically time traveled here, because now we go back to the exact same way to our friends that are standing the exact same poses as they were before. This time we fight the Demon Tide ourselves, and yes, it's the same fight as 0.2, which is extremely underwhelming. As we reach the end, a guy named Ephemer shows up and saves us, and all I'll tell you about him is that Xehanort is his descendant because that's all I remember. He's also from a mobile game. Speaking of the mobile game, we now have to mash triangle as we're saved by all the usernames that were in the mobile game, except not all of them because mine's not here and I definitely played it. They did list Alex twice though, so fuck that guy. Then we switch and have to dodge stuff while mashing through more names, and this sequence seems cool, but it's also a bit cringe. Now we begin our final boss gauntlet. But first we tackle this battle gate because I was curious as to what this was. After the story, there will be a bunch of these in the game, and they're a great place to level and synth farm because they're infinitely repeatable. With that out of the way, we head out and are forced to choose between helping Mickey or Riku, so we choose Mickey. Riku's got it, I'm sure. With Mickey, we fight Luxord, Marluxia, and Larxene. After a bit, Luxord steals Mickey, and we have to find cards to beat him and get Mickey back. Then we take down Marluxia and Larxene shortly after. Fine, I guess we'll help Riku. We start the fight with Ansem, Dark Riku, and Xigbar, but Ansem bails like right away, so then we just fight the other two. Xigbar is the only one of all these fights that we don't physically see fade away, by the way, that's important later. Then we choose to help Kairi and Axel next. We start fighting Xion and Saïx, but Xion quickly comes to her senses and Roxas is revived, so the gang's all back together, and we fight a beefed up Psycho Saïx alongside Xion and Roxas with peak music. We then go help Aqua and Ven fight Terranort and Vanitas. We take down Terranort first, and then shotlock Vanitas as he annoyingly rides around on his Keyblade steed. Terra's lingering will takes his body back here, so yay, Terra's back, but please don't make me play as him. Now we get a fight that to me is peak Kingdom Hearts. We fight Ansem, Xemnas, and young Xehanort alongside Riku and Mickey. The music here mixes the boss themes of all 3 characters and is so good. We beat Ansem first, then Xemnas, then young Xehanort. Each character here has like a super weird sob story when they die, including all the previous fights we just did, and I'll never understand why the developers felt the need to have every villain just seem like misunderstood. Definitely a weird narrative choice for sure. Now Xehanort has his 12 Keyblades and his own, making 13, so he's ready to clash with the light and believes Sora needs motivation, so he kills Kairi. No, seriously, Kairi trained all that time and gets one shot. I don't really think Sora needed motivation, he probably would have fought you anyway, but talk your shit, Xehanort. Now Xehanort forges the Keyblade, not like a basic one though, the big one, it's just still called a Keyblade for no reason, remember? He opens up Kingdom Hearts and the team decides the only way to stop him will be to send him through time or something, and Sora volunteers to do that by himself while everyone else stays back to try to keep Kingdom Hearts closed or something. I'm not sure, I wasn't following this cutscene at all.
Sorry we took so long. Had a couple of plot points that needed ironing out.
Donald and Goofy come along with us, and I honestly love that it's the 3 of them going in together. It feels very nostalgic. We pop a trophy as we commence the final battle and are teleported to Scala ad Kylum, the city that was built on the ruins of Daybreak Town, which is another mobile game reference. We approach the town and are attacked by all 13 of Xehanort's vessels, except they're all him, which is terrifying and also really cool. They have a shared health bar also, which I enjoyed very much. This doesn't go on for 10 years. The next phase, we fight this sick version of Xehanort with his horned helmet on in various different arenas. The only arena that shocks me to this day is the underwater section. Like, the combat underwater is good in this game, but it's not nearly good enough to be including it in the final boss fight. Like, come on. Now we fight Xehanort himself with a Keyblade, not a regular one, but you know what I mean. This fight is incredible. The scenery is so epic and the phase changes are great. The first arena is just on top of the main building of Scala, and then we transition over to this epic backdrop of Kingdom Hearts in the background, and then Xehanort steals our light and we have to use Rage Form to get it back, and as we do, he comes up and the throne chairs all around us in the shadow version. We have to dodge lasers, and god, this is so well done. As we finish, we get a reaction command, and this happens.
It ends here and now.
I love how you cast Trinity there at the end to finish him off. We pop a trophy after skipping through the ending for finishing the game. The ending shows Xehanort rejoined by Ericus, and he also gets to die without everyone hating him, which is so weird to me. Then we see the whole gang together on Destiny Islands, and it pans over to Sora and Kairi, and Sora fades away. This is because Sora abused the power of waking in that sequence where we rescued everyone's hearts, so he's being punished for it by essentially dying, but more on that later. Now we're going to head back through all the worlds for a collectibles pass and do some minigames. We start first with Olympus Coliseum, or I guess just Olympus. We need to take photos of specific things, as well as snag all of our lucky emblems and treasure chests. I won't be skipping fights either, so we can limit the synth grinding we have to do later on. As we snag all our lucky emblems and treasure chests, I happen upon the first of the Flantastic 7. These are similar to the special Heartless and Mushrooms and other Kingdom Hearts games, with a bit more emphasis on fun rather than gouge your eyes out challenge. This first one, we just slide down the city aiming for a score of 20,000 or higher. You know you've reached the score you need if the Flan gives you an ability and 3 of their specific fruits. Now we head on over to Twilight Town, and after snagging our lucky emblem we were missing, I go into this battle gate and it ends up with a mini-boss fight against one of the sorcerer enemies from Kingdom Hearts 2, which was a cool callback. Then I don't know how I completely forgot about 100 Acre Wood in this game, but I did, so we head into that world, which is where I'm quickly reminded why I forgot about it. This has to be the most uninspired dogshit game design I have ever seen. You only have 3 mini-games, but here's the kicker. They're all exactly the same thing. It's essentially just bejeweled with vegetables, fruit, and flowers. So unbelievably disappointing. We pop a trophy on our way out and make our way to Toy Box for that cleanup. Similar thing here, I fly around until I run into the Flantastic 7 member, which has us stacking a bunch of flans aiming for 15,000 points. I also took photos for photo missions in all these worlds so far, but I don't remember what they were, so the prophecy from earlier in the video has been brought to fruition. Now we go over to Kingdom of Corona, and during my cleanup of this world, I turn on the easy code that makes you one-shot enemies just to make things go faster. There's no challenge here that I'm making easier, it just takes 1 Thundaga to kill stuff instead of 2 or 3, so feel free to rage in the comments about it. There's an easy code merit we go for here as well, for flying from the top of Rapunzel's tower all the way to the Kingdom of Corona without walking or touching the ground more than 5 times. This was deceptively difficult just due to this one area that I failed in a couple times. Once I got through that area though, it was smooth sailing when we completed that merit. Now we do the Flantastic 7 member for this area, and we have to take a bunch of pictures while flans do specific things. This was also weirdly deceptively difficult, just because you can't just take any pictures of the flans, you have to wait for them to do specific things, and even then you have to get the best flans or groups of flans for the highest score. I think you need somewhere around 23 to 26,000 for this one, but even the internet's unclear. Now we're going to fly around this area and take photos of constellations. I believe there are a total of 9 of these, 3 in each galaxy, so I'll try to knock them out as we finish our collectibles cleanup. With that done for now, we head over to Monstropolis for cleanup, and while we're here, we go ahead and activate the easy code that extends links and take on the Flantastic 7 member. With that activated, we can just jump around with Simba until the Link Challenge merit pops, and then get hit to end it, and we nailed it first try. Nice. Another easy merit while we're here is to defeat 10 enemies by throwing Mike Wazowski into them, so we just do that as well. Once we've wrapped up treasures and such, it's on to Arendelle. This world, as you might have guessed, has the worst cleanup in the game, and not just because everything looks the same, making guides incredibly confusing. As we make our way through, eventually finding the treasures and lucky emblems we were missing, we have to find Olaf a second time, and then I thought the minigame for this world happened by just talking to him again, but nope, you can just keep finding his body parts for no reason. What epic game design. We do eventually find the Frozen Slider minigame, and while we have a trophy to chase here, we also have to gather 10 different treasures that are not obtainable in a single run because fuck this world. After not following a great guide by one of the OG Kingdom Hearts speedrunners, BizKid047, we snag the trophy for the points we need and all 10 treasures, granting us an Orichalcum Plus. For the Flantastic 7 member here, I just run around spamming Thundaga because Ooga Booga Brain can't understand what they would want me to do instead. Before we move on to the other worlds in this galaxy, we're going to make a quick pit stop in the Keyblade Graveyard for some easy merits before they get even more annoying than they already are. First, we do the Icebreaker Challenge for freezing and shattering 30 enemies in a single battle, so we just spam Blizzard with a bunch of easy codes on. Then there's a more irritating one for getting 20 kills or something around 20 kills in Risk form. We have to get into Risk form first, and I waited forever for my health to get down and Donald just healed me. Never when it matters. So we can apparently just turn our friends into vegetables so that they will just stand there and get attacked, so we finally get into Risk form and snag this challenge. Heading back over to Olympus, we throw the survival easy code on as the only code and do this battle gate to snag the survival challenge. Then in Toy Box, we need to defeat 5 Gigas with a single attraction flow, so we do that and grab this one, which will be the last easy merit for a while, seeing as we only have 1 left and it's gummy related. We can now head into my favorite world cleanup in the Caribbean. This, as you can probably assume, is just sailing around to different islands to get treasures. In between islands, we want to destroy as many ships as possible to make progress towards the 200 total we need to sink for this trophy, and to max out our ship's level for this trophy. The only specific chest of note here is on Exile Island, where there's an Orichalcum Plus, which if I haven't mentioned already, we need 7 of to make the ultimate weapon. And there are only 7 in the game. Mr. Flantastic in this world is a cannons minigame that I was terrible at, and can't believe I hit the score goal on my first attempt. At some point during our exploration, we snap a photo of our 80th lucky emblem, which also gives us an Orichalcum Plus. Then we pop the trophy for maxing out our ship's level, which unlocks the black pearl for us to sail around on, and since the ship is quite literally tattooed on my body, this was pretty sweet. Using the pearl, we clean up our ship kills to pop this trophy and head out of this world over to San Francisco. Pretty soon after arriving, we pop the trophy for 5,000 total kills here, and then this cleanup is not too dissimilar from the Caribbean, and the collectibles would be hellacious without Vin Kerf and Bob Kahn. The last Fantastic 7 member is here, and we just bounce on a bunch of different flans, and then we're done, and we pop the Flan Meister trophy and snag an Orichalcum Plus for our troubles. Since the last area in the game has no lucky emblems, we finish those up here, popping the Hidden Kings trophy, and then start doing the Flash Tracer courses. That's hard to say. These are just 2 obstacle courses where we fly through rings and stuff. Getting an A rank on both pops this trophy. At this point I needed to figure out what ingredients I was missing, so once I head into the bistro to take a peek, we set off to collect the last couple, and once we snag a lobster in the Caribbean, we pop the Cornucopia trophy. Sadly, I also learned that we have to redo the 100 Acre Wood minigames for literally no reason, so we also do that, and this shit is still ass. Then after making all the recipes, I apparently still need 1 singular lobster to finish, so we go snag that in Corona and make our last one, popping the Master Chef trophy. Now I was trying to get the last few items I needed to make the Falcon Peak gummy ship for future things and opened up the Gummy Treasures tab, which popped the Salvager trophy and didn't give me the things I needed, rip bozo. The Keyblade Graveyard is our next cleanup where we snag our last couple chests and then head over to the final world for this chest, which pops the No Stone Unturned trophy and gives us another Orichalcum Plus. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and collect the clones again to get our last 2 health upgrades for getting 333 of them and head off for gummy ship cleanup. We first finished snapping photos of constellations to pop this trophy, and then I still couldn't quite make the Falcon Peak blueprint, so I decided to give my own ship 200 speed and head into this tornado in the second area to fight the Sharkgeist. That's not his name, but it's how he makes me feel. This boss fight is stupid, and not just because I don't have the patience to get a ship that wasn't a donut. We need to defeat this guy for a trophy, but we also need an A rank for the last easy merit. I'm not sure if I was just an idiot, probably, but this took me a million attempts. I was also on dad duty, so my frustrations were silent, which is like when you can't laugh, but you so desperately need to. The attempt that made it through, I did nothing differently, I just got lucky, but we did manage to get the A rank, so we popped the trophy for beating him, and the all-rounder trophy for finishing up the easy merits. Now the final gummy boss is in the last area, and I spent forever running around defeating the same enemy ships over and over. I thought this would eventually spawn the boss, but lo and behold there's a sneaky shark down under, so once he's down we fight this big giant pink pyramid thing which gives us Orichalcum Plus. Our last Orichalcum Plus is at a lottery, where we need to buy stuff from a Moogle shop to get postcards and mail them off until we eventually get it. Obviously, we make a save before doing this, and then when we reload the save, because as you know my RNG is atrocious always, we get this Proof of Promises item, which we can then trade for the Oathkeeper Keyblade. This Keyblade is DLC and doesn't count toward anything. Once we finally get the last Orichalcum Plus, we can finally synth the Ultima weapon, right?
Wrong!
Now we synth farm using the basic strat, where we write down all the stuff we need and head out to get it. This takes me, I think, about an hour and change without actually looking at the footage. During our farm, we hit the level 99, which pops the leveled out trophy, pretty insane that just happens naturally in this game. Then we can synth the Ultima weapon, which pops this trophy, and the Blade Master trophy for maxing out the level of a Keyblade since the Ultima weapon comes maxed out. We also synth our last few items and pop the Synthesis trophy. Now at this point I hadn't popped the trophy for having fought every enemy type, which was confusing to me until I remembered that there's actually a secret boss in the base game. This is far and beyond the least exciting secret boss in the entire series. Remember when we fought Sephiroth, and Xemnas in KH1, and Terra's Lingering Will in KH2? Well, let me introduce you to Random Heartless number 4, who is extremely boring and extremely easy since the Ultima weapon is busted. Beating him pops the Know Thine Enemy trophy, and now it's time for terrible minigames with Classic Kingdom. We first grab our last few off this poster in Twilight Town that I've walked by approximately 10,000 times in this playthrough, and then head into the Gummy Phone to play the games. All of these are pretty creative and also horribly boring. We have to get a high score on all of them, which basically means just doing the bare minimum. Once we do the first, we pop this trophy, and then slog our way through the other billion of them until eventually popping the Classically Trained trophy. Before we head into the DLC, we finish out getting all the shot locks we needed and then zip over to Remind. The DLC is a retelling of the final events of the game that fills in some of the gaps story-wise. We first refight Dark Inferno again, and he's even easier this time around for some reason. Then we fight Dark Aqua, where I feel like the devs just wanted a cool boss gauntlet vibe or something. She is followed by Terranort, and then we make our way through the boss gauntlet from the story again. We fight Luxord, Marluxia, and Larxene. Nothing is different, but then when we fight Xigbar and Dark Riku, we get to play as Riku, so that's cool, I guess. Once they're down, we pivot over to playing as Aqua to fight Terranort and Vanitas, which was pretty cool, but nothing crazy, but then we get to fight beefed up Syx again, this time as Roxas. It's really cool that you get to play as Roxas here, and I don't want to take away from that. But not having Axel playable has to be the fattest L of this generation. Then we fight Ansem, Young Xehanort, and Xemnas again, which leads us into the first major change of this DLC, which is an actual explorable Scala ad Kylum. It's bananas to me that the final world wasn't explorable at all originally in this game, despite it being huge, beautiful, and original. Our goal here is to find the 5 pieces of Kyrie's heart, which isn't too thrilling, but we still get to do some puzzle solving and fight Darkseid again, so that's pretty neat. We then fight the 13 replicas again, the same way we did in the base game, which takes us to the ultimate Kingdom Hearts fan event. This fight is super epic, where everyone teams up against the Xehanort replicas. You can't even do much here, it's mainly just cinematic. You just mash X and then do a finisher move to pan to the next character, but we get to play as Axel just briefly, so 10 out of 10 absolute cinema. The clones do end up beating us somehow, but luckily our Lord and Savior Mickey Mouse makes a final stand all on his own. This sequence is really cool, but pretty repetitive. Mickey is extremely powerful though, and this is the first time we get to really see that, so I'm glad they included this. Then, as Sora, we link a bunch of these keyholes together and enter the final boss fight against Xehanort, but this time we get to play as Kairi. I could have played as Sora here and absolutely smoked this guy, but I figured I would see how she plays, and honestly I was impressed given she trained for like 10 hours. Sora and Kairi can do this link attack where they hold hands, which is cute, and then we finish the fight, which pops the behind the curtain trophy. We also see a scene here between Xigbar and the Lost Masters, except Xigbar isn't Xigbar, he's this guy named Lushu from the mobile game, and none of that matters now, but leads into the next arc centered around some clown named the Master of Masters. I'm just gonna call him Mom. Now we can start the Limit Cut episode, which shows Riku looking for Sora after his disappearance on Destiny Islands, and his travels bring him to Radiant Garden, where we get our first and only appearance of our Final Fantasy friends. I would commit atrocities of the highest order to have an explorable Radiant Garden in these graphics. Anyway, the story is just a basic plot point to bring the data fights from Kingdom Hearts 2 back, but this time it's with the real Organization 13. We first take on young Xehanort, which is where I realize these fights on beginner while maxed out are pretty easy, so I won't show much until I come back to them with pro codes. With young Xehanort down, we pop a trophy for the first data fight and begin to make our way through the rest. Dark Riku we beat on our first try, Saïx as well, but it was much harder and sloppy. Larxene was extremely easy. Xigbar took a while, but we still got him. Ansem was such a cool fight, so I'm excited to have to learn that one later. Xemnas was super epic. Luxord I just barely beat because difficulty doesn't affect this minigame-driven fight very much. Marluxia actually got me with his Doom spell at the end of the fight, and even though I get him the next time, I'm not sure what I did differently. Terranort was super easy, and Vanitas actually got me as well, but on the second try I actually feel like I learned a lot, so that'll be helpful later. Finishing all those fights unlocks the fight with Xion. This is one of my favorite fights in the series because of the music, but it's also extremely difficult. She's very fast and can reduce your max HP, which is annoying, but eventually we do beat her. The last data fight is with Xehanort. This fight's really cool, and with him down we pop the Analysis Complete trophy and move on to the secret episode of the game. This shows Sora waking up unaware of where he is and meets a guy named Yozora who is seemingly in real-life Japan. Yozora was the main character of the Verum Rex game in the Toy Story world. He says he was told to save Sora, but doesn't believe that Sora is Sora, so he fights us. Or something. I'm not sure what happens here, to be honest. I get my shit rocked immediately, and I'm not sure if it's here or when you beat him where you get the secret ending, but that basically leads directly into Kingdom Hearts 4, where we get a bunch of confusing stuff and confirmation about the mom arc coming. Now we head back into that to fight him again, but with the option to retry now. This is the hardest fight in the entire series, and nothing you say will convince me otherwise. You have no choice here but to learn the fight, there's no cheese. It's also probably the fairest and most well-designed super boss I've ever fought in my life. It took me just over an hour to beat him, but it felt a lot longer than that. Here's the attempt that I finished.
You're done. Got this. You're done. There. Let's go. This'll do it. This'll do it. Nope. It's on. Now. No chance. There. There. Now. Nope. Shall we? Now. No chance. There. Break. Nice try. Got this. You're done. Got this. There. Let's go. This'll do it. This'll do it. Nope.
It's over.
Nice try. You're on. It's on. Got this. You are.
Over here.
What a pain. No chance.
There. Nope. There.
No chance.
Nope. There.
Take this.
Now. Come on. Ready for this? Let's go.
Heal.
Ready for this?
Back at you. Back off. Take this. Back off. Take this. Back off. Yeah. Here we go.
Nice try.
No.
Break.
There. It's over. Heal.
You're done. Got this. You're done. There. There. Now.
Take this!
This'll do it. No chance.
Nice!
Now. Now.
Nope. Back at you!
Shall we?
Heal! Try this!
Ready for this.
Back off! Take this! Back at you! Take this! Back at you! Back off! Back at you! See ya! There! So long! Yeah! Back off!
Break. You lost. This'll do it. There. There. Let's go. I don't think so.
Heal! There!
Now.
Back at you!
No chance. There. Nope. There. No chance.
Beating him pops a trophy and plays nearly a shot-for-shot remake of the Final Fantasy Versus 13 trailer because Nomura can't let it go, and Yuzora says I've been having these weird thoughts lately, like is any of this for real or not from Kingdom Hearts 1, so everything was probably a dream because they wrote themselves into a hole. You thought we were done? Oh, you sweet summer child, we're just getting started. Now we have to do a new playthrough on New Game Plus with pro codes on. Pro codes are modifiers that make everything a lot harder. When you do boss fights with pro codes, you get points, and we need 365,000 points to pop the Risk Taker trophy. It is possible to get all 365,000 points by having all codes on for all of Remind, the data fights, and Yuzora, but I am not nearly good enough at the game to try and attempt that. So the alternative is playing through the story again, keeping as many codes on as we can for the majority of the boss fights, that we can turn some of them off for the data fights, and if we do it correctly, we should only have to go through Xion, which is still awful. The pro codes are Default Status, which sets your stats to level 1, 0 Defense, pretty self-explanatory, HP and MP Slip, which is where your health and magic slowly drain all the time during combat, no Shot Lock, see name for description, no Cure, see above, no Battle Items, which combined with Cure means no heals basically, no Links, no Form Changes / Grand Magic, big sad because Ultimate Form Change is goated, no Attractions, honestly just nice to have on at all times, no Team Attacks, didn't even notice this when it was on, no Kupo Coins, haven't used them besides data fights, they revive you once for free, and Ability Limit, where you can only have 30 abilities equipped at once, including movement abilities. So yeah, some of these aren't so bad by themselves, but when you combine all of them, which we need to do for most fights, it's about as bare bones as Kingdom Hearts gets. There is one workaround to having all pro codes on and still being able to heal. With the Grand Chef Keyblade, there's an ability that gives you a chance to heal every time you cast magic, so that's the only other Keyblade we'll be using, besides Ultimate Weapon. The max amount of score you can get for all pro codes on for every single boss fight in the game and DLC is 530,000, so hence why we're going to try and stack as many points as possible as early as we can. Oh, and you don't need the codes on for anything except boss fights. The rest of the game is very, very easy. The first boss fight that counts is the Rock Titan. This fight goes about as well as it could have, and we snag 5,000 points on the first try. Then the Titan Trio fight I take a bit slower, but do manage to get through it on the first try as well, gaining another 10,000 points. We fly over to Twilight Town and fight the Demon Tide, which when you know it only attacks when its eyes are red, it's not so bad. There's another 5,000 out of the way. Toy Box is up next, and the Creepy Doll gives us our first death, basically just because she does a lot of damage with a single hit. The default status Pro Code removes your level up bonuses, but doesn't remove your armor and equipment bonuses or stat boost items, so hopefully we can snag some good stuff as we make our way through the game. Horror Movie Fuel Doll gives us another 5,000 points, and we move on to the final boss of Toy Box. The main UFO guy from Toy Box gets me once, but I was having issues with crackling in my headset, which was a bit distracting, so we'll blame that, but we still snag another 10,000 points. Over in Corona, we fight the horse guy, who is only annoying because he has 3 different phases, but still pretty easy, so 5,000 there. The Mother Gothel Tree bitch killed me 4 times and was so tanky, but still goes down and gives us another 10k. Now in Monstropolis is where you can really feel the default status codes starting to be miserable. It makes sense seeing as the farther you get away from where you're supposed to be level 1, the longer these fights take. Take this Lump of Horror fight for example. The damage I was doing here was next to nothing. The fight itself isn't even that hard, it just takes me a million years. Then when you die like me 5 different times, this ends up taking longer than it took me to beat Yozora, which is fabulous. With him down, we grab 10,000 points and move over to Arendelle, and I was definitely not in a great mental state at this point. I already hate this world, as I'm sure you remember from earlier, and everything up to this point I had done in a single play session, so I was cooked. When we fight the Snowman guy, I realize the moveset isn't that hard, so we do get him with all 13 codes for 5,000. But that brings us to Skull. This guy broke me. No. This guy's moveset really isn't that bad. It's the fact that the camera is dog shit and for no reason whatsoever he spawns ads, so when you're trying to locate him, you get hit by the ads. Then if you even make it a ways into the fight, there's 2 completely unnecessary cutscenes that you have to watch every single time, so then it wastes even more time. God, it's fucking infuriating. I couldn't do it, y'all. I couldn't. My head was throbbing from how locked in I'd been for several hours at this point, and I decided I was going to take default status off and deal with the consequences later. Once we do that, we take him out back and take him down like Winn-Dixie and snag 8,750 points. Thank God that's over. The day following this catastrophe, my wife and I took our daughter to Disney, and the entire time I was thinking about f***ing pro codes. I needed to know what I could get away with because the damage difference without default status was substantial. Turns out you only need 70% of the total stars for every fight in the game in order to hit the score requirement. So if I just plan on fighting Yozora again from this point forward, I may be able to get through this a bit quicker. Moving forward, I leave all the codes on for the lightning fish guy in the Caribbean because he only has like 3 attacks, so it's pretty easy for 5,000. Then Davy Jones without default status wasn't bad at all, so easy 8,750. On to San Francisco, where we fight the Dark Cubes, which is really easy at all, it just takes a bit with all the codes on for another 5,000. Then Dark Baymax, no default status for 8,750. The next fight that matters is the Demon Tide after all the story babble leading up to it, and without default status this is super easy as well, so 8,750 for us. None of the Triple Organization 13 fights count at all until the Ansem Xemnas Young Xehanort fight. I probably could have learned this fight for the full 10k, but every time you die you have to wait for the DM to finish, so it just would have taken too long. You get a checkpoint after each person you beat though, so that's good. With the 3 amigos toasted, we snag 8,750 and head into the final fights. The 13 replicas don't count, so I had codes off for that, but unfortunately the next fight starts right away, and that does count. So it took me forever to get to the point where he would kill me without Donald healing me so I could put the codes back on. Once they're on, you get a checkpoint at each phase change, so pretty easy 8,750. The final fight is decent practice for the data fight, and I think I got him here on my second try for 8,750 as well. Now we're going to level to 99 and go take on Dark Inferno before moving on. I just used this portal in Olympus to farm enemies with the ultimate weapon shot lock, which takes a bit, but trust me, it's worth it. We now go fight Dark Inferno again, which gave me some trouble, but he nets us 17,500 points. Since the entire Remind DLC only gives you points for the very last fight, I thought I could be clever here and just head into the data fights in Yozora, but nope, we have to play all of Remind for one boss fight. Once we get there and beat Armored Xehanort for another 8,750, we head into the data fights. Now I thought about showing all of these, but honestly my strategy ended up being pretty broken here. Also, this video is already pretty long. First off, we fight Luxord with every code on since his fight changes very little without them. It took me a lot of attempts to remember all the times that I could punish attacks and win his minigames, but he goes down for 25,000 points. Now after some quick math, I figured out that if I got 15,000 points on each of the remaining data fights, I would be set free from my purgatory. In order to achieve this, I took off default status, 0 defense, no battle items, and no form changes. Then I set a high potion to my cure shortcut and headed to the fights. We first take on Young Xehanort again, and although it's a bit more difficult without Kupo Coins or Leaf Bracer, we do insane damage in ultimate form, so he goes down for 15,000. Next up is Dark Riku, who didn't give me any trouble at all. I literally just spammed X most of the time for another 15,000. Syx was one of the hardest ones for me, once again, although at one point I died and had to stop playing for a bit to work on some real life stuff. I noticed this pro tip to use Blizzard on him while he's charging up. Apparently that was helpful because I beat him shortly after, 15,000. Larxine's next, and she was boring and easy. I just spammed again. Here's another 15k. Zigbar was virtually the same as my first attempt, additional 15k, followed by Vanitas for, well, you get it at this point. Then Terranort, Xemnas, and Ansem for 45k combined. I was honestly a bit sad I didn't end up needing to learn any of those fights, but at this point I was ready to be done. We now only have Xion and Xehanort remaining. Xion was the most difficult fight by far for me. I actually did have to learn the fight even with the big damage I was doing. She goes down and we head to the final fight with Xehanort, which feels appropriate. I know this video has been insanely long, but I'm leaving this in. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you indulging the end of my suffering with this fight.
Freeze! Enlighten me! Kingdom Heart! Give me power! More! Touchy! Nice! Take this! Freeze! Give me power! Back at you! Back off! Got him! Go! Take this! No chance! Nice! Enlighten me! Kingdom Heart! Yeah! Pathetic! Back off! Got him! No chance! Here we go! Give me power! Back at you! Shine!
And there we have it, Risk Taker. The hardest trophy we've earned on this channel by a long shot. Now all I have left in the base game trophies was to do the Corona dancing minigame, so let's go finish this. As you would expect, it's pretty easy to get 70,000 points in this, so here's the dance specific trophy followed by the all game records trophy. Where is it? What did I miss? I missed a shot lock? How? Okay, so apparently I missed a shot lock from Starseeker, so one more time with feeling, we hit that shot lock and pop the all game records trophy, followed by the most difficult platinum trophy on this channel so far and the final platinum for the Kingdom Hearts series. For now. It took me 39 hours, 12 minutes, and 14 seconds to platinum this game with our final dialogue penalty of 13 hours, 25 minutes, and 43 seconds, bringing our total time to 52 hours, 27 minutes, and 57 seconds, the longest in the series. That means it took me 232 hours, 19 minutes, and 44 seconds to platinum the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise, including dialogue penalties. But what about Melody of Mem? Will you leave me alone? We earned a total of 317 trophies in this series, not including the platinum, since we began this journey on Steam. This platinum brought me up 195,840 ranks globally and 63,498 ranks in the US, putting us at 2,228,275th place globally and 724,444th place in the US. Despite this being the hardest platinum we've done so far, only really because of the DLC trophies, I'm going to miss this series. I definitely think people are too hard on Kingdom Hearts 3. Even though I recognize the pacing issues and there's some stuff I would change story-wise, it still feels good to me. I hope you enjoyed these videos and could see some definite improvement from Kingdom Hearts 1 to this video. If there's any feedback you have or any changes you would make, feel free to let me know in the comments. Next week will be movie time for this series, followed by Bioshock 2, and then we rank these games and spin the wheel to see what series we'll tackle next. I seriously appreciate you all so much for making it this far if you did, and I promise I didn't make this video long intentionally, there was just a ton to cover. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye!